Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Set to Six. And today we have got the next episode of the Big Seven, which is the series where I get your favourite Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Remake content creators and ask them 7 questions about Final Fantasy VII. It's pretty simple, does what it says on the tin. And this week's guest, we've got someone who has absolutely ripped the bare bones of Final Fantasy VII apart over the years. We have got the amazing Suna. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell everyone what it is that you do.
What's going on, guys? My name's Suna. Predominantly, I create mods for the original PC version of Final Fantasy VII. The whole wide variety things. I've built an entire community and team, which is named Suna Mods. Me myself being just Suna, and our team between all of us, we're voice acting the game. We've done upscales of all of the original textures to make it actually not pixelated. I'm
Yes.
I'm currently replacing all of the 3D models in the game with the remake ones. We've redone the music, we've done the magic textures, just about everything. You name it, we've replaced it. Uh, that's my main thing. We're also working on Final Fantasy VIII a little bit, and hopefully Final Fantasy 9 at some point. But I've been in the code of FF7. I've seen everything, all the behind the scenes stuff, all the deleted scenes, and all that shit. So
The good stuff, the
yeah,
juicy stuff.
yeah. I'm assuming swearing's okay,
Oh
right?
yeah, just go for it. Go for it.
It's not like any under 18s are listening to things about the original Final Fantasy VII
Nah,
anyway.
I think we're good. I think we're good. I think we're good. I'll descend into swearing at some point anyway.
Fair,
It
fair.
always happens. But no, if you're going to be looking at Final Fantasy IX soon, you're probably going to have some competition from Square Enix, it might be.
I know that's going to be interesting because we're looking to voice act 9. Nine's actually, believe it or not, the amount of stuff I do in my entire career and full-time job is based on 7. 9 is actually my favorite one, so
Ooh, nice. I like
yeah.
that. That's a nice little bit of information there. See, I think there's a few acceptable answers for like which is your favourite, and it tends to be 6, 7, and 9.
Yeah,
10,
yeah.
10 maybe on the fringes.
It,
10
it usually
maybe.
depends on which one you played first. That tends to
Definitely.
be the one you prefer, but I started on 7 and then I did a bit of 8. Interestingly enough, the story with me playing 8 is we went on, well, I lived in England at the time. We came on holiday here to Ireland
Yeah.
and my cousin had FF8 and I didn't know there was an FF8. I thought Final Fantasy 7 was just
But
the
what's
game.
this?
And my cousin showed it to me. We played the first 15 minutes. I was addicted to it. And then he
Yes.
wouldn't let me play it anymore. And then we went home. And I was asking my dad, I was like, Dad, you got to get me that Final Fantasy VIII for Christmas. And he was like, well, about that. And he pulled out disc 1 from his pocket. And he was like, I may have stole this from your cousin. And I was over the moon. But then I finished disc 1. I was like, Dad,
There's a
where,
flaw. There's a flaw to this plan.
where are the other discs?
See, this is where you get a whole ransom situation going, where you get back in touch and you say, I've got this one. You send me this two, and you can have this one back."
Yeah, we'll just keep swapping. Yeah.
We'll get there eventually.
I played disc 1 like 4 times.
Yes.
And like it was really good. I really enjoyed disc
Yeah.
1 of FF8. Then it goes off the rails a little bit, but
Yeah, it gets a bit crazy. It gets a bit crazy. We all know why. It's because Squall's dead, regardless of
ah,
what any of the developers say.
yeah,
Forget
it's
them.
definitely a good theory. I
Yeah.
like it.
We have spoken about this a little bit earlier, and yes, Final Fantasy VIII, Squall is dead.
I would be curious though, if Squall was to actually die,
Here
who
we
would
go.
take over as party leader? Do you think it'd be Quistis? I'm assuming.
Zell would try and fail. Yeah,
Yeah,
it'd
yeah.
probably be Questis. It probably would be Questis. I was thinking Irvine might try, but he'd probably fail as well. Yeah, I think
I think
Questis.
I think Irvine might do all right at it because he's a bit more grown up about everything. Quistis, I
Yeah,
think, would be voted as the leader. She'd
because
gain
she
that
was
bit of
the instructor.
confidence.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she'd gain that bit of confidence and then she'd fail at something and then decide, I'm backing down, I'm no
Done.
good for this. And then Irvine would
Probably
probably
when they
take
try
over.
and fly the garden, that would probably be where Questis' head melted. Like, shit, what's going on?
Yeah,
I
fair
do
enough.
love it. It does go crazy, though.
Hmm.
It's got the
I
best
agree.
airship, though, the Ragnarok.
It might do. There's
Yeah.
this interesting story about that actually. Random
Here
fact
we
that people
go.
may not
This is
know.
why he's here. Come on.
So, when I think it's during your player's Laguna and the group at this point in time, and he learns about the Ragnarok, and he's like, Ragnarok, huh? That's a really cool name.
Yeah,
And that's kind of out of like just out of the blue. Like,
yeah.
why would he say that? So, if I'm remembering correctly, the in in Japanese, they pronounce it like Ragnaröku or something,
Yeah.
which is I think it's a very similar translation to Laguna's name in Japanese or something. Or Ragnaröku means Laguna or something,
No
and he
way.
recognizes that thing's named after me. That's a really cool name, and it's very in Laguna's character to be that way
Right.
too.
But in the English, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, yeah. There's a whole lot actually. FF8's a lot deeper than you think it is.
There's
Like
a
all
lot
the
of things like that
characters.
with old games anyway, just in general, isn't there? Like the
Yeah,
translation, so
yeah.
much gets lost.
It's like when you look at Seven, just the color of their outfits is
Yeah,
actually all planned down to a T. Like Barrett is mostly like green and brown because he represents the Earth because he's
yeah.
fighting for Gaia. Eight went really hard with that. Like I think Kineas, like Irvine Kineas, his last name is the name of a tribe, like a real tribe that forever ago that did something, and it associates with brown quite a lot. And I don't know. I don't remember most
Oh.
of them. Like if you got Crane on at some point, the director of EchoS, like he would sit and talk for hours and tell you all these really interesting facts about FF8
Oh, well, we might have to make that happen at some
and
stage.
even the symbology of Squall and Cipher being black and white, yin
Yeah.
and yang. Like it's so deep with eight. I
It
don't
does.
think they've put that much effort into any of the others.
It does. There is a lot of stuff there. I didn't know that though. That's really interesting. So his surname kind of refers to a tribe that's related to like the brown colour that he
Yeah,
wears, basically.
it's something along those lines anyway, yeah. And I
That's
think
maybe.
they're probably Southern. Random guess, because you know Irvine has a very well, at least I think he does. He's been voiced in something, right? He's got
Oh,
a
I don't
Southern
know.
twang to him, surely.
Oh, I
I know
don't
we're
know
doing that
actually.
for Echo S, but I don't know if that was a decision that Crane
He's not that
decided to just
look about him.
but
He's
he kind
definitely
of
got
does,
that look
yeah.
about him, I would say, because
It's
he's got
yeah,
like the
the
whole hat and
cowboy.
everything. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna. Oh, this is going to be me digging deep into Final Fantasy VIII now because I've never really done it. I've always enjoyed it as a game, but it's never been one that I've proper gone under the surface with, and tried to find out
Yeah.
as much as I can. Save that for seven. It's too
It's so
much.
symbolic. Like Crane's taught me so many things. Like even 10. I know they're going off the rails a little bit here, but
That's what we
I
do. That is what we
like
do.
see with 10, have you ever really considered 10, 10 all about going on a pilgrimage, doing all this stuff. It's religion in a nutshell.
Yeah,
You're fighting sin. And like, it is just like the Bible in a way.
yeah,
It's like you're literally fighting sin and like I don't know, Crane would be able to tell you in such a better way. Like it's a long time ago when he told me these things, so my
yeah.
memories are a little fuzzy of the conversations. But like, and how like Tidus is moon or sun and Yuna is moon.
Yeah,
Like
because
that's
this
the
feeds into the
translations.
sigils as well, doesn't it? Because I think they're
Yeah, the moon
sigils
crest
and
and the sun
crests.
crest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
and
there's
that's why
something to do with
that
his ultimate weapon as well, Coward I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
so.
that
Yeah,
translates
yeah.
into something that relates. See, I know a little bit, but I've not really like dived into it with literally anything other than seven, to be honest. But yeah, there is a lot of symbology going on in ten, like with the crest and the sigils and things like
Yeah.
that.
And
Hundred
that's
percent.
I hate it, but that's why it's so important that his name is Tidus and not Tidus, because that is the translation
I'm
from the
I'm I'm gonna
sun
be, I'm gonna be
and
honest.
the
I'm a
cow.
Tidus person.
Yeah, same as.
I'm
And it's
sorry.
like, well, whenever we get around to voicing FF9 eventually, we have to say Zidane. And I'm like,
Oh
oh, it
God.
was always Zidane to me, but we've got to do it right.
Oh God. Eight's
Mm.
eight's actually not that bad for the names, really. Now that I think about it.
Nah, they're all like exact,
Yeah,
except for
eight's pretty nice.
I think there's
Cipher,
one.
Cipher.
Yeah, I think pretty much everyone says Cypher.
Yeah.
There was definitely one that we all cringed at when we were saying it. I don't remember what it was right now though. It'll pop back to me randomly later when we keep talking about something else.
I'll edit it. I'll edit it.
Yeah, that works.
Oh, love it. Right, so there you go. There's the first few questions in now. But no, what we're going to do is we're going to jump straight into the questions, and thank you so much for being on. We're going to have a little chat at the midway point as well about the things that you've got going on a bit more in depth, so keep an eye out for that. But let's get straight into the Final Fantasy VII questions. So the first one is, what was your first experience with Final Fantasy VII? Like I think you said before, it was the first one that you'd played.
It was, yeah. So I know that everybody in their own right has their interesting story, but I feel like, honestly, I know it's my own story, so I'm supposed to like it, but I feel like my story kind of tops a lot of other people's. In
Nice.
the FF7 wasn't just my first Final Fantasy, it was my first ever game, full stop.
Oh,
And well, it came out in 97.
yeah.
I was born in 92, so I was 5. So I hadn't grasped reading yet. So
Yes.
anytime that I wanted to play it, I had to wait for my dad to finish work, and he would come home and play it with me, and he would read it to me. And then my dad changed jobs and he got a night shift and he couldn't play with me anymore. But I wanted to play this game. So I forced myself to learn how to read. And
Through
I was
Final
like,
Fantasy VII.
yeah, I was like 3 levels ahead of my entire class. Cause like there I was like, I want to play this game. I got to learn how to read. I was staying after school. I was like, I need extra lessons. I need to learn how to read just so I could play this game.
That's meant.
And it was crazy. Like at the time, my parents weren't very like technical. They
Yeah.
didn't really understand computers, PlayStations, or anything. They were
The
like,
80s, the 90s, it was very
yeah,
much on the up at that time, but it wasn't
yeah,
like it is now. It's everywhere now. There's
yeah,
nothing
exactly.
like it is now.
Like my friends had PlayStations, and my mum and dad had met my friends, and they had like Game Boys, were playing Pokemon and stuff. And my mum was like, child, go play football. I prefer you
Yes.
being active, you know."
Run around, touch
And
grass.
yeah, exactly. And then out of nowhere, one Christmas, a package came from my granddad, who was like working in America for a few years, and it had like the American PlayStation 1. None of my friends had seen this special PlayStation before, because I think in England we had the little white ones, right?
Yeah, so there was a few different versions. So I had the old grey one, like the chunky boy grey one, but by the
Mhm.
time you will have probably been getting into it, yeah, the PS1 will have been about, which was like the smaller. Did it have like more
Yeah,
rounded corners?
yeah, it was a bit
Yeah,
more
yeah, the
rounded.
PS1.
I know it was one or the other. Like I either got the little rounded one and no one had seen it before, or I got the chunky grey one and
There
no
was
one had seen
another
it
one as
before.
well, which was the same as the chunky grey one, but it was black. It was like a gunmetal black grey kind of thing, and that was like a
Oh,
developer's one. So you could, if you owned that, it was called the Euros, I think it was, and if you owned
nice.
that, you could dev PS1 games at home.
Oh wow,
Crazy,
I did not know that actually.
crazy
Yeah,
console. I wanted one, but it
package.
was expensive.
Oh, I'd say so.
Yeah,
Developer version, yeah, that'd be rare too.
yeah. I've never seen one. Like I've still not physically seen one like in
Mhm.
person before. But yeah,
Yeah,
it was like a little developer system for the PS1 that you could get. But yeah, you're probably talking the PS1 with like the rounded. It was a bit thinner as well, I think. That was
yeah,
like the
yeah.
tippy top version of the PS1.
Mhm. Yeah, it came through the door one day as a parcel, and it contained Final Fantasy VII, and Dad set it up for me, and he was like, "Oh, I wonder what this is." We started playing. I remember like dying, like me and Dad dying to the Guard Scorpion like 10 times. It's the easiest thing in the world to do, but
Because you hit it when the tail goes up, because it tells you to hit it when the tail goes up. It
yeah.
literally tells you to get
And
dead.
interesting fact there that I honestly think 95% of FF7 players will have never seen this and never knew it existed. But if Cloud is dead before the tail goes up, Barrett says something instead when the tail goes up. Normally Cloud says don't attack while its tail's up, or then
No
it'll
way.
counterattack. But Barrett will say something like, "Oh shit, this doesn't look good. Cloud, get the fuck up." And it's like, how did I never notice this before?
That's madness. That is
It's
absolute
stupid
madness. Yeah, I
game.
don't think I've ever seen. I might have seen it and just not noticed that I've seen it potentially, because at that point, like you've played it that many times, it's just like I know everything that's being said right now. I barely
Just
need to read.
that, and you don't die at that point, like at
Right.
all.
Yeah,
Like you
you
should
shouldn't.
get a clip of that and show it like
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the
I'm gonna
cast.
have
Like
to.
show the
I'm gonna try and
viewers who's
find
new.
that. That's
Like viewers,
crazy.
when you see this clip, like leave a comment, let us know if you've seen that or if you knew that Barrett did that or not. Because
Yeah,
like
because I don't
I'd
think.
be curious.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know. There's a possibility that I may have seen it and just ghosted past it without even realizing it. It's
Essentially,
crazy. You are
Mhm.
speaking to someone here who actually got stuck. Do you know where the Midgar Zolom is? Well, you obviously know where the Midgar Zolom
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
But I didn't change my camera angle, so I didn't see the cave for about a
Okay.
month and a half.
No.
I actually restarted the run and everything, and I was just running around in
Wow.
that proper camera angle, and I looked, and I was like, "Oh, there's a cave there."
Uh,
It was a vital JRPG lesson that I needed to learn, and I'm glad.
yeah, actually look around.
Yeah, yeah. Change the camera, have a look. There might be things. We're not just going to make you run across this bleeding snake-infested field for no reason whatsoever. Maybe look
Yeah, just
about.
sightseeing.
Very stupid move. Very stupid move. So, I mean, the follow-up question was going to be, was it your first JRPG? But obviously it was your first JRPG. It was your first game.
Yeah, very much so.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is a
You
good
know,
origin story though. That I think you are right. That is peak origin story.
yeah. I like how much it circles round to like first ever game taught me to read, so it helped me with school. I honestly believe the Final Fantasy franchise as a whole made me a better person too, because it taught
Yeah,
you about friendship and caring about
yeah.
other people, and that shaped my personality to not be a dick. You know? Sure, there are Final Fantasy fans that are dicks, but you know, and
Come
yeah,
to
like
terms with it over the years.
but I think it's so amazing. I remember being in primary school and acting out the scenes with my friends, like pretending we were the characters, doing all this other stuff, and like it's unbelievable.
That is
And I
brilliant.
remember too, you know, it's not FF7, but
Yeah,
the first time I ever completed FF9, I
yeah.
was, you know, a bit older at that point. Um, I was watching the FMV at the end of the video. So I'd already completed the game. I was just watching the final video.
Yeah.
And my dad came in and he was like, all right, it's time to go to bed because it was a school night. And I was like, yeah,
No.
I'll go in just a minute. Like, I completed the game. I'm just watching this video. And he's like, right, you've got 30 seconds. And he left. And then kid me was like, all right, cool. Got comfortable again. He comes back in 30 seconds later. He's like, right, brush your teeth. I'm like, no, it's not finished yet. Power button. And I was like, oh, oh. Yeah. You go to school the next day and you tell all your friends, and you're like, that's not true. What are the odds that that would happen?
That's horrific.
'Cause it's not like you could just go on YouTube at that point either. You
Well,
know?
this is it. It didn't exist. There was nothing like that. So
Yeah.
you were stumped. That was it.
And
We were just like, no, we're not
breeding a
doing it again.
gold, breeding a gold chocobo without the internet, never again. No, at least not for the first time. Obviously, we can't ever do that for the first time again.
So painful.
And remake maybe, but
It was so painful.
oh,
See, one of my mates had the official walkthrough. So
mhm.
after the first couple of times of playing through it, he was like, "Oh, yeah, I've got this walkthrough," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll borrow that." He never got it back. I think I've
Seven's
still,
walkthrough was actually good
yep.
too. Like if you've seen Nines, it's the
Oh
worst
my
thing I've ever
God,
seen.
with the play online thing all the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Why buy a book if every single bit of information is like, oh well, if you want to know this, go on the internet. It's like,
I get what they
what?
were trying, but they just failed miserably. It was
It's as
so
bad
bad.
as that was as bad as Windows back then. Whenever like it had a problem and it was you're trying to troubleshoot the fact you can't connect to the internet, and
Connect to
it's
the
like okay,
internet, like
troubleshoot. Oh, if you'd like answers, connect to the internet. It's like you boot up Windows. It's like keyboard not detected. Press F12 to continue.
the little paperclip guy just there mocking you.
Yeah.
Why don't you go online, mate? Fix that internet.
Even if you did have the internet, it'd take half an hour for the dial-up to go through.
Oh, you get a phone call halfway through and it just disconnects. Like, what? What?
Oh man!
Oh, good old
If
days.
there are any under 18s watching this now, they're like, "What the fuck are they talking
I
about?"
know. What, dial up? What's this? Oh shit, man. This is where it all started. That's where it all started. It is crazy though. Like the only resource that you really had back then was Game FAQs was up and running back then. I think in the late '90s, like the
Oh
late
yeah.
'90s. And yeah, I remember once I wanted a guide for Final Fantasy VIII, and like we didn't have any. Well, we did have ink in the printer, but not much at home. So I
Mhm.
printed it out in school. The entire Final Fantasy VIII game FAQs walkthrough.
Oh,
I got in
damn.
trouble.
Say so.
It's like that thick. Got me through though. Got me through.
Your
Got me
teacher would be
through.
like, "What's this for?" It's like, "That's my next essay. Like, this is the topic."
Well, and it was the triple triad. I needed to know where all of the rare cards were. It had reached a point. I'd completed the game, and it's like, right, I need everything now. Where are all these cards?
Yeah.
Give me these
I,
cards.
I've I've never gone to that extent with 8. Never got that little gold star in the menu. No.
The only it really pissed me off that we didn't get. Remember the pocket station?
Yeah.
Because the I think it was the Chocobo summon,
Oh
the
yeah.
GF was locked behind the pocket station. You had to do like a
Unbelievable.
Tamagotchi thing with it for so ever
Yeah.
many hours, and then you got the GF.
No, I see speedrunners that have that running on the side at the same time, like
Yeah,
emulated, and they use it to help their speedrun in 8.
yeah,
And I
because you can
still
get pretty rare items out of it. There's some pretty
mm,
crazy items in it. I think now with the remastered version, they've all been worked into the game in some capacity.
it makes
But
sense.
yeah, you had to do this pocket station Tamagotchi thing but it never came out in Europe, I don't think. I think Japan got it. I think America might have got it, but we never got it.
Sucks.
Fuming. Furious.
I don't know why they haven't released Triple Triad as its own game yet. I think Triple Triad's better than FF8 is, honestly.
You know, I want to argue with you and disagree, but I can't. Oh, like especially when you compare it to Tetramaster from 9, that
Oh
was so
god.
so bad. And
If Tetramaster didn't have so much RNG in it, like I like the idea of Tetramaster, and you know I'm biased towards
the
FF9, but I
brackets are too
still,
big. That's the only issue with it. If the brackets were smaller for what the RNG could be, it'd probably be
yeah.
all right.
Like, I've seen, you know, I've put my first card down. They've put their first card down and initiated a fight with my first card. Sure, my first card has 37 HP. I win. And then another card gets put down and fights the same card that I know has 37 HP, but this time it has 7.
Yeah,
And I'm like, what? How? Is it injured from the previous fight or something? And then it
and
would, like, I'd lose, and then I'd be like, all right, well, I'm just going to take it back then. Now it's got 112.
I'm going to turn off the PlayStation and go punch a wall. No, this
It's
is
bad
it.
enough
It's
to,
literally
like,
the only reason that I've never completed, like, you know, got all the cards and everything like that. Like,
yeah.
you can complete the story for, well, it's not a story, but the side quest for Tetramaster, but you don't get all the cards still. And yeah, I've
Yeah,
never, ever, ever even
It's
considered it.
it's unfortunate too, though. Like, sure, 8, Triple Triad is a total side game. You can do the whole game without playing it if you chose to.
Exactly.
9, yeah,
You have to
it's a
do it
main
twice in it?
story. I mean, sure, you can lose the first one and move
Yeah.
on, but I think there's 3 rounds.
Yeah.
There's 2 initiation ones and then the final one, and then you win. But
So much
why
save
why did
scumming.
they
So
why did they
much
mess
save
it up?
scumming for that.
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
has.
accepting that result. I'm going to reload.
You can't even follow a guide to make sure you win all the
No.
time. You just can't do it.
Yeah, because your awesomely powerful card could just fall to shit
Yeah,
immediately. I do
yeah.
like the aspect of leveling the card up, though. I'm a big fan
Yes,
of that. Yeah,
that's really
big.
cool.
It got so much right, and it just got that wrong. If those RNG
Yeah.
brackets were smaller, it'd
Mhm.
probably be better than Triple
No, you know
Triad.
what?
Yeah,
That's my next mod right there.
there we
A
go.
fair
There
triple
we
triad.
go. Oh, I love it. If you did serious, like it'd do well.
It probably
And it
would.
probably wouldn't even take a monstrous amount of effort compared to what you've done, because all you probably have to do is go in and change the RNG tables.
Yeah, just make it smaller. Yeah, should be easy.
There we go. There we go.
Theoretically.
Yes. So the next question is kind of that was your first experience with FF7, but and we kind of touched on it in that first question. But how would you say? Well, what would you say is the biggest way that FF7's influenced you going forwards? I mean, helping teach you how to read is a pretty monumental one, in fairness.
It is, it is. I mean, I was quite a smart ass as a kid already,
Yeah.
and I was the type of kid that enjoyed being smart
Yes.
and let others know.
Yeah, yeah,
So
I know that feeling.
when I could read really well and my friends could, like, I wasn't a pure asshole about it.
But
Like,
it
if my
was the
friend
occasional flex. Yeah,
yeah, if my friend struggled with their reading homework, I'd be like, "Ah, sure, I can help you with that, no problem."
I've got you.
But I'd make sure to make sure they knew that I was better at it than them.
Yes.
I wasn't a great kid,
Yes.
but I
Oh,
do, as I mentioned earlier, I do love that everything came first full circle.
yeah.
The first ever game taught me to read, did all that stuff at school, made amazing friends, and now it's my job.
I
Like,
mean, this is it. Like the current arc is quite massive, really, isn't it?
yeah, because like a little bit of a deeper version of the story here, but as I said, like my granddad sent that to me from America,
Yeah.
and my granddad was a very working man, typical Irish dude. Grew his own potatoes, grew everything in his
Yes.
garden, built his own house,
Yeah. Very
hands the size
hands-on.
of cranes. Could lift anything. You'd rub his
Shovels.
yeah, you'd rub his skin and you'd be like, ow, because it was so rough.
Yeah.
And then he wanted my dad, his son, to be the same way, and he wanted all of us to grow up and follow in his footsteps.
Yeah.
There's me now addicted to video games and not going outside because of what he sent me. And then when I moved over here at 17, and I lived with him for a while,
Yeah.
and he was like getting me out in the garden and stuff, and I was like, no, I can't be out all the time because I've got to be doing this other stuff. and he passed away a few years back, but it always makes me think then is like you started this and you witnessed me like saying I don't want to go outside because I want to do this, and then before it became my job, he passed at that point when it was still a hobby for me.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, does he look down and be like, well, I did something right after all,
Oh, that's pretty good then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it is massive, the work that you're doing on Final Fantasy VII at the minute, and
hmm
we'll definitely go into it soon. But
Yeah,
Jesus,
like it's mad to me just in itself that like I know that Square Enix are watching us,
yeah,
and like that's mad. Even the remake actors, like we've met a few of the remake actors. Well, we've been in calls with them,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's not the same as meeting, but in a way it is.
The
And
world we live in these days, it's probably as good as it's getting.
yeah, and we've put up videos of live recording sessions with the director coaching some of the other voices. Like we put one up of Barrett and Dine's scene. It's beautiful. Just watching the video really pulls at the heartstrings. And one of our viewers tweeted it at John Eric Bentley,
Yeah,
who plays Barrett for anyone in the audience that doesn't know.
I think everyone's
And
seen John
he,
by now.
more than likely, but he himself liked the tweet with the video of, our voice actor playing Barrett. And like it's just so mind-boggling.
You know what the crazy thing is as well? He's probably recorded that scene already.
He might have done. He
There is
might
a
have done.
solid chance that he will have recorded that scene because I'm pretty certain we will reach Coral in part two.
I'd say so.
So yeah, I'm a lot of general consensus between a lot of us at the minute seems to be Nibelheim. That's the gem because it feels like a good ending point. You can start the
Yeah,
game in Nibelheim with the flashback and end it with
yeah.
something going down in Nibelheim. It'll be a change, of course, but yeah, there's every chance that he had recorded that scene, or maybe he knew he was on the brink of recording that scene. So you might have influenced his performance in
Oh,
some way.
right.
Do you know what I mean?
And we don't even know what the remake Dine sounds like,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
Dine. Everybody that's heard Dine so far has been like, yeah, that's perfect for Dine.
yes,
I wouldn't be surprised if he got an email at some point
do
saying,
this.
come be Dine, and he hasn't said anything to me because if he does, he'll get sued for millions under that NDA.
Yeah, you've got to watch out for them NDAs. You've got to watch out.
Yeah.
But I mean, it
I don't
depends
know.
what they do with the Dine and Barrett scene because it is really dark the way that scene pans out. Like, I would not be surprised if they tweaked how it ended slightly. For
Yeah, if
those
they
who
were
know,
worried
you
about
know.
Jenova, if they
Yeah,
were worried about the blood in Jenova, then jumping off a cliff,
no, it's going to be
getting
a
shot
bit.
in the arm falling off,
It's a really big scene as well. I'm so hopeful for what we get with Barrett. I've just dropped a video in the last couple of days, which is looking at Barrett's story throughout the entire compilation and trying to
Mm,
use it to predict where his character arc in Remake goes. And
right, right.
there's so much potential there for him, like with the whole Avalanche and Wutai War thing going on. Because he's in a really weird position, Barrett, in Remake at the minute. Like in the OG, he was Avalanche, whereas now
Yeah,
he's kind of like a
yeah.
little
Yeah, it's a little piece of it.
tolerated side sept of
If
Avalanche.
anything, he's the misbehaving child that Avalanche kicked out,
Exactly, like you
and
go and
now
do
he's
your
rebelling.
thing. Yeah. So it's going to be, there's a lot of potential there as well. And like we were talking earlier about like new threat mod and things like that. And I know that there's a lot in that with Barrett on the way to Coral. As he gets closer to the area, he kind of gets more
Yeah,
nervous, more
before you
trepidation.
get on the tram,
Yeah,
to Good Sorceries, yeah.
I'm looking forward to a lot more of that in Remake as well, hopefully. But,
Mhm.
oof. Well, no, anyway, we were talking about all the voice actors and everything.
It
Oh,
is. It's so cool. I'm hoping one day that, like, technically I wouldn't have to be there, but I would
yeah.
want to be there anyway. But I'd be there, and our main characters would be there in this phone call with the remake actors, and we would have like a Cloud off, a Barrett off, a Tifa
Oh,
off,
that'd be
and just
amazing.
have them go at each other in character, and it would be so cool.
Oh, we need to
Like,
make that happen. Mix the teams up as well. Yes.
yeah, yeah, it'd be so unreal. Like,
Is
I,
this remake or Echo S Barrett?
yeah, like, how cool would that be?
Make it interactive. Ask the audience. Get them to like vote on it.
Yeah, like
There
make
you
it a Twitch
go.
stream.
Yeah,
It'd
yeah, because you can
blow.
do that, can't you? You can do the voting thing on Twitch.
Yeah, yeah, it
Oh
would
yeah, there
blow
you
up.
go.
1,000 viewers easy.
Well, I think we have to make that happen at some point then.
It'd be so good.
Oh no, I absolutely
And then,
love it.
I'd just be in the call there for no reason at all. Just
Just lurking.
yeah.
Yes.
but I can't not be there. I can't miss that opportunity.
Yeah, damn right, damn right. You got to be involved. You've got to be involved.
Mm.
So,
I'm really hoping at some point, like, you know, some big name somewhere in the industry is going to play EchoS to get to the credits at the end to see the names, and they're like, right, I'm gonna Google that name and email them. Like, that's my end goal, really.
yeah.
Get as many people out there as I can, because my
Well,
actors are so talented.
yeah, I've heard some bits of it, and yeah, what I've
Mm.
heard so far is absolutely phenomenal. Cannot wait to get involved with it because, like I say, I mean, it's the remake we didn't get. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It is the closest probably that we're going to get to a remake of the original game now. Because, like, I mean, we'll dive into this more later, but it's definitely giving off sequel vibes to me at the minute. It's giving off
Yeah.
strong sequel vibes. So,
Yeah. A lot to discuss about that a little later
oh
on.
yes, oh yes. Now we were just talking about the characters, so Cloud, Barrett, everything like that. Which character in the compilation would you say is your favourite character?
So what's interesting is I think my opinion changes whenever, since remakes came out. Like, since Remake came out,
Yeah.
Yuffie hands down. Like,
Yes.
Yuffie's an unbelievable character. I already loved Yuffie in the original, but I think I may or may not have liked Red over Yuffie in the original,
Yeah.
because I don't think Yuffie really spoke that much. Because, she was a side character. I feel like, I mean, I'm sort of guessing here. I've been in the code a lot and I've seen a lot of the missed stuff, but Yuffie, I believe, was not supposed to exist at all, and she was wrote in at some point.
Yeah.
It's either that or she was planned to be a permanent character and they ran out of time and couldn't code everything. So she has very little dialogue throughout all of the
Well,
scenes.
my recollection on Yuffie's like original plan was that she was going to sort of be like a bounty hunter that chased after the party and Sephiroth. So she was kind of
Yeah,
at the
right.
back of the train chasing after everybody. I think that was the initial concept.
I think that comes from the original story,
Yeah,
like when FF7 wasn't FF7 and it
yeah,
was
yeah.
about
When it was
New
Parasite
York.
Eve, basically.
Yeah. I don't know how they got to where they are from where they were at that point. It's supposed to be about a murder mystery or something in New
Yeah,
York.
and there were going to be detectives in New York, like a New
Yeah.
York-esque kind of setting.
And there's artwork of like Vincent,
Yeah,
his original character holding a scythe and stuff, and it's like, I'd still like to see this. It'd be
yeah, yeah.
interesting.
I think there's still scope for that to happen. Hopefully, drop
Never
the
know.
guns, get a sign. Who knows? We'll get another
Yeah.
game out of it.
Yeah,
It'd
potentially.
probably be better than Dirge.
Mm. But I do think that, or at least originally, I preferred Red over Yuffie.
Yeah,
I suppose mostly because he spoke more, also because talking dog.
it is a
So
good point. He has a really good story as well. Like you don't get much of it
yeah.
throughout the game, but when you do get it, it hits really hard. That story.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Also, I definitely picked up on the fact that he was a lot more intelligent than the rest of the group.
yeah,
Like the way he speaks, like hell, it wasn't even until recently. Now, granted, I am gonna point towards EchoS a bit from time to time because
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
in the code and doing stuff because of that. But there's a line after you rescue Aerith from Hojo's lab,
yeah.
and Red jumps out, he attacks Hojo's face, and they say something to Aerith like, "Are you okay?" or whatever. Tifa's like, "Yeah, she seems okay now." Which is no indication to what Red's next line is, but he hops over the banister and he says, I don't really like two-legged things either, and
Yeah.
I have the right to choose two.
Yes.
It's like, what was he supposed to mean when he said, I have a right to choose two? And it's the fact that it's like they insinuated to Aerith, you were about to have
Do the
circumstances you
things.
didn't want. And
Yes.
Red's there like, I wasn't gonna do that either. I'm allowed, I like to make my own choices too. It wasn't even an option.
You don't have enough legs for me to be interested in Aerith. Go away.
Yeah.
Arms don't count.
Mhm.
But you're saying
And
Yuffie now.
yeah, it's definitely Yuffie now. Like even when I go back to the original game now,
Yeah,
despite the remake, it's just built into me now. Like I love how boisterous Yuffie is.
yeah,
Like she's got such a personality on her. It's great.
yeah.
I feel like
I'm a big fan of what they've done for her in Remake as well. Like the expansion of the character in Remake compared to the original game, because like you say, she was just a side thread. She is just thrown in at the last minute almost.
yeah, yeah. It's I don't know, it's just really interesting. Like, I would have loved to have seen the process of when they decided we don't have enough time to actually complete this.
Yes.
And like, was there a team of people that all sat in a room and spoke and came up with ideas, or did four people just go off and do things and then smash them together? Like with Vincent too, it's the same
Yeah.
scenario.
It's
However, I
crazy as
don't.
well though because there's such important characters when you think about it. Like Yuffie was in,
Yeah.
she was in Crisis Core, she was in the OG. She was. Does she show up in Dirge of Cerberus? I can't remember.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty sure she does.
I think she's pretty prevalent in Dirge actually.
Vincent's been everywhere. Vincent is literally at every single point of Final Fantasy VII
Mhm.
story, except for when Jenova crash lands.
I think that one of the big differences, though, is like sure, Yuffie's in all of the expansions as
Yeah,
well, but when they created the original FF7, they only had the original FF7 in mind. So
yeah.
if you take Crisis Core and Dirge and everything out of the story here, Yuffie doesn't have any expansion in the
No,
original, whereas Vincent's a major plotline to everything. He knew about Lucrezia giving birth to Sephiroth and
you have to go
like
and look for it a little
past.
bit, but it's there.
Yeah, and the fact
Yeah,
he was a Turk, that's all in the original game. So
yeah,
that tells me he wasn't rushed.
yeah.
But Yuffie was.
Yeah, it's weird as well because there's a lot of potential there, and the Wu Tai side story and all that sort of thing. Like, there's
Yeah,
so
no,
much
yeah.
potential in that narrative thread. It is a shame that we didn't, they didn't have an extra year or 6 months or something like that to work it out. It is a shame.
Well, sure, back then they'd bang a new game out every Christmas.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Every Christmas. It was like, I don't care what the hell is under the tree as long as this year's Final Fantasy is there.
Yes. Well, this is
Oh,
it. I
and
think
then 10
nine came out, and then I think it was within 6 months or 9 months, 10 was out.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
9. I feel like 9 goes really unappreciated because it came out right before the PS2 did.
Yep.
So everybody just skipped
Everyone
it.
moved.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, why'd you do that?
It's a shame as well because it's easily in the
Amazing.
top three for me.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. Like
I don't understand how they let it happen to begin with, because you can tell how much heart they put into 9, because 9 is their love letter to the
yeah,
fans. It's 1 through 8 combined
yeah.
to make 9, and it's like, how did you let this get overseen? I don't get it.
Maybe I mean, I don't know. Speculating. Potentially they got delayed a little bit. And
Could
maybe they ended up just creeping up on that PS2 release date just a bit too much. But it is weird because, yeah, like you say, they smashed games out at a stupid rate back then. It was insane. I mean, a few of the guests have spoke about it. Like, imagine if it was still like it was then. And to be fair,
Oh man,
it kind
we've
of
got
is
Final
getting
Fantasy
that way.
XXX now.
Well, it is kind of getting that way a little bit at the minute with, I mean, we've got 7 Remake going up, we've got 16 on the brink of dropping, we've got 14, we've got Stranger of Paradise. So, I mean, there is like 4 or 5 different Final Fantasy games
Yeah,
on the horizon at the minute.
yeah, that's a fair point.
It's nice. It is nice.
Sure.
But how good those games are going to be?
As well as
Different.
that shit, there's Ever Crisis, there's First Soldier too.
This is it, yeah. So there is 5 or 6. The quality remains to be seen, but they exist.
Yeah. I'm going to be interested in seeing how Ever Crisis goes, because
Yeah.
technically, Ever Crisis is my threat right now. Like, that's my
Well,
competition.
yeah, this is it. Direct competition.
But it is mobile only, right?
It's going to be full of gacha. They're like, I can already smell the gacha coming off it. Like, I can smell it in the air.
As
I'm
long as
pretty
it
sure
stays
they've
mobile
confirmed.
only, it won't be a threat to
Yeah,
me.
I don't think it'll be a threat. Like, I mean, it's obviously going to do numbers because it's a Final Fantasy mobile game, and everyone will just be like, "Oh my god, go download it!" And yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
like
I
I'm
don't
not a
think it's voiced either, actually.
do what? Sorry,
I don't think it's voice acted, is it?
I think it is in cutscenes, but not throughout the entire process. It's going to be interesting to see how it works out because I don't know. I think a lot of people are getting the expectation that it is going to be an actual remake of the original versions of these games, and it isn't. It's going to be a mobile game that's got the narratives of these original games woven
They
into it.
couldn't possibly hope to remake the game on a mobile at
No,
least.
no,
In that
there's
graphics,
no.
you'd need a 256 gig phone to
Yeah,
hold this game.
yeah,
There's no way.
no. It's like I'll give it a go. I'll have to give it a go at some point,
Oh
but.
yeah, absolutely.
Optimism wise, like First Soldier's looking like it's going to be more interesting. The main thing I want from Ever Crisis is Before Crisis because we
Yeah,
just never got it.
yeah.
Like we just never got
And
it.
There's a lot of interesting stuff in Before Crisis that
Yeah,
we never
the Rufus stuff, the
played.
Avalanche stuff. There's so much crazy stuff
Yeah,
that goes on. Like
I
I
know.
can't believe they didn't release it anywhere but Japan.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
like I know a good bit about it because I have a team inside, like a small branch inside Suna Mods that
Yeah,
is rebuilding Before Crisis themselves using RPG Maker,
I
and
think
they're
I've
using
heard
their own
about
voice
this.
actors
Yeah, I
to
think I've
make
heard
all
about this. I've
the
not checked it out yet. I mean, where's it at? Is it done or?
I think they've just started chapter 5, if I'm not
Oh, so
mistaken.
they're quite early in the process then.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
had to learn how to use RPG Maker to begin with to even start doing this.
Yeah, I
So
remember I toyed about with one of the old versions of that. I think it was like the 2013 version or something like that, and it's just a bit it's weird to get your head around, really, isn't it?
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's all upscaled too. It's all AI upscaled, so it looks nice.
No, I'll definitely check that out at some point because, like, it is the only information that I have on Before Crisis is either watching a playthrough on YouTube or just reading
Mhm.
the plot synopsis for it, which is
Yeah,
what I've had
yeah.
to do basically.
Yeah, there's so much in there that people need to know about. Like, everybody watched Advent Children,
Yeah,
or even just the end bit after the credits of the original game where you see Red 13 running. He's got 3 kids with him. Everyone's like, "The fuck did they come from?"
yeah.
Like,
What's happened here?
is Red 13 just one of those mammals that can self-breed? But no, the mother of those children is in Before
Yep,
Crisis.
and that's just information nobody knows about pretty much because we never
Yeah,
got it.
yeah.
You couldn't imagine something like that happening these days. Like it is just a sign of the times that we were in then.
Mhm.
The only thing I can assume is that they expected that if they did release it in the West, it was going to flop. So let's not
Yeah,
bother.
yeah, that's definitely how they felt.
Yeah,
It wasn't worth paying a translator and then recoding it, do all this
especially
stuff.
with it being episodic as well, because I think it's like 19 episodes, I believe, something like
Something
that.
like that.
Yeah, somewhere around there. So yeah, I can see why they did it, but it's such a shame. Such a shame.
Even the fact that like Jade Weapon exists,
Yeah,
that's really cool. The world was already nearly destroyed once, and the Turks saved the planet.
yeah.
And then in FF7 original, they're instantly the bad guys. It's like, well, where did that shit go?
It is crazy because you do get a lot of additional story because you learn about like everything that goes down in Coral with the attack on Coral and Avalanche kind of occupying the build site of the reactor and things like that.
Yeah.
And like this is crucial world building, and I really hope we see a lot of it woven into not just Ever Crisis but Remake as well going forwards.
I I'm definitely thinking something will. Like one thing in particular, I won't go too heavy into it because that is a topic we'll discuss later anyway.
Oh,
But
yes, it is.
there's a materia in Before Crisis, which is kind of like scan materia,
Yeah,
but it's not scan as in like FF9 you have Libra where it scans the enemy
yeah.
or Sense in FF7. It's like a scan materia where it works like an ID for yourself. It's like us having like an age card or an ID or a passport or
Oh,
something. It takes all your data down, puts it in, and I think you can clone it or something. I'm not entirely sure, but it opens this realm of possibilities for technology and materia in the
that's
remake that
pretty
I'd love
crazy though.
to explore a bit more. Because I was pretty sure there was a door that was locked that you needed the right credentials inside your scan materia to get through.
So you had to use that on someone else's
Mhm.
like ID material basically, and then it would let you do
Yeah.
that.
I think it sort of
Oh,
ties into the summons because the whole thing about the summons being the ancients and they
yeah, yeah.
materia and stuff, and it's like materia has memory. That's the point I'm getting to here. Materia has storage space and memory.
Yes.
It's like that's interesting.
Well, we spoke about this a little bit earlier as well, only briefly, but that is kind of like the angle that a certain Sleep Easy is working on at the minute. So I'm looking forwards to that video because it is becoming it's a massive theme throughout the entire compilation now, the whole theme of memory. And like
Hmm.
one thing that I've been thinking is like a lot of the changes that we see in Remake could potentially because of that memory being incorrect because people remember things wrong all the time.
Oh, it could, yeah.
And I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities going on at the minute. We need part two badly. Like once we
We
get
really
part two,
do.
we'll understand a bit more. I think.
Oh, I'd say so.
Yeah,
We'll understand more, but we'll have more questions than we started
yeah.
out with.
There'll be replacement questions definitely.
Yeah, remake part two is going to end in such a way we're going to be like, well, what do we do now? But I think it'd be interesting if, like, if materia does have memory and
Yeah.
all this other stuff, maybe it can get viruses too. You could corrupt the materia and rewrite stuff. I don't know.
That's it kind of feeds in as well to this whole system in Crisis Core where you fuse materia and you can upgrade materia and things like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
They've got to do something. They've got to do something because I mean,
Yeah,
you've got all this
I'm
materia as well from Remake that it's surely going to get underpowered now. You know,
oh, it
scaling
will.
surely going to make that materia useless. So what do you do with it?
We're already what, level 50 when we leave remake or something? If you grinded it.
Well, yeah, this is it. I mean, everyone. There's a lot of people who think we're going to suffer a reset, and it's going to be that when the I've completely forgot what it's called. The singularity, when that explodes at the end of the game, it kind of
Right.
resets everything, so you're going to lose your levels, lose your materia. I really wouldn't like that. I don't know.
At least that would make sense,
It would make
I
some
guess.
narrative sense, at least. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I like all my shiny stuff.
Yeah. The better thing for them to do is just make the level cap like 200 or something.
I think we are probably going to end up looking at something like that because, I mean, it's probably going to be 3 or 4 games. That's pretty much guaranteed now. So, yeah, we probably are looking at crazy scales of levels. Or there's got to be a wipe or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
That is one of the things, that is one of the big questions that kind of concerns me for the future. Like, what are they going to do? But they are infinitely smarter and better at this than I am. So I'm just going to leave it to them
I don't know, man.
and
I'm
judge them
pretty sure.
harshly afterwards.
I'm pretty sure a lot of companies, and I wouldn't hold it against Square either, that watch people do theory crafting and podcasts and stuff like this,
Well,
and they're like, "That's actually a good idea. Note that down."
yes.
Wouldn't
It
surprise
wouldn't surprise me. Honestly, it would not surprise me in the slightest. Like these days, at the very least,
There's
because
a lot of them too.
yeah. Oh,
It's just free.
so Square, if you're watching, check in the post, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Send us some of them royalties.
Preferably 5, 6 digits.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. On a monthly
Not the decimal
basis.
points.
Yeah, yeah. But well, we've strayed into remake territory here. So, how do you feel about remake so far? Where are you at with it? What's your thoughts?
So I feel like my opinion here differs from a lot of other people's too, but for a very good reason. In that I really enjoyed the remake,
Yeah,
despite me being somebody who does my very best to protect the original.
yeah,
I really like the remake in the sense that I know that if my job is literally to preserve the original and make it the best I can and make the remake that all those people really wanted, which is kind of why I'm not that bothered about what the remake does.
yeah.
Because, I'm in control of that remake, so they can do whatever the fuck they want.
I'm just going to go for the
But
ride.
yeah, yeah. And at the same time, I'm actually hoping, a lot of people will hate me for this, but my opinion, whatever.
Do it.
I'm
Just,
actually hoping that they fuck with the remake as much as they want, change as much as they want, but for a very good reason.
yeah,
In that, when you think about anything you ever experience in your life, the first time you do something ever, that's the only time you'll ever do that for the first time.
yeah.
Because you can't do something for the second time a first time, if that makes sense. But with
We could
FF7
get one of the
Remake,
Men in Black memory flashes. Poof.
that could work.
That was my dry ice moment. There's no smoke without fire. Dry ice.
But with the remake, we're actually getting to play Final Fantasy VII for the first time ever a second time.
Yep.
And that's interesting to me. When
Yes.
Barrett, I mean, are we doing spoilers here? People have played the
Oh yeah,
remake.
I expect that everyone has at least
Right.
played and understood every part of the compilation. If you haven't, just get out.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, fair enough.
No, don't get out,
Like
please. Stay.
Barrett dying
Yep.
had me like, what the
What?
fuck?
Yeah.
And supposedly Wedge and Jesse and Biggs being alive had me like, what the fuck? So
Maybe.
many different things. I'm like, what? I really enjoyed this. I
Yeah.
love the fact, Deep Ground is underneath Sector 7. Like all these things that they've drastically changed. I'm excited by them because it's the same game that I know and love, and I'm expecting to play through this game and be like, the not excited by anything because I
Yeah.
know what's coming, but that's not the case at
You
all.
don't. Yeah, this is it. See, one of the big things for me was I was very much the same as you. Like, oh my god, what's going on? What have they done? What?
Yeah.
How have we reached this point? This is no longer Final Fantasy VII. And it
Mhm.
took me a few days of kind of processing that. And like for me, it's a sequel 100% in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree.
And based on that, they can do what they want with it because they're not changing Final Fantasy VII. They're making a sequel to Final Fantasy
Yeah.
VII.
I'm pretty
So
sure they actually said it's the fourth installment of the
fifth,
compilation.
yeah, they
Or
flat out said it's the fifth part of the compilation that they wanted to do about 10 years ago, something like that, but they couldn't get everything together at the time.
yeah,
Basically, that was just the way it went. But yeah, they have said it's the fifth part of the compilation, and it takes the pressure off it because it can be a remake and not a remake at the same time. We're still going to see all
yeah,
the same places, we're still going to
it does.
see all the same characters, but it's going to be through a different lens and with a different context and things like that.
I'm hoping they bring back so much stuff. You know, like
The cut
Indigo
stuff,
and was it Indigo and Cobalt?
Cobalt,
Oh, I want to know.
yes,
I want to know all about that, and
that'd be
I want to know more
crazy.
about the Turks. I want to know more like Vincent when he was in the Turks.
Yep.
I'd love to know what President Shinra's first name was.
Yeah, come on, he does.
Who is Rufus's mother? I've got theories, but
There's lots of
actually,
theories.
my theory, to be fair, is Pez's theory. Pez's
Yeah.
theory is so good that it became my theory, where Rufus came from.
I think we've reached the point where all theories are now Pez's theories, haven't we? I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure we've
yeah,
reached that stage. Perception.
yeah, yeah. And like, I mean, how many people picked up that Lazard from Crisis Core is Rufus's half brother? I think that's only in Before Crisis, right? Or does that say in Crisis Core?
I think it does say it in Crisis Core, but you could kind of gloss past it quite easily. Do you know what I mean? And not
Right,
pick it
right.
up. I'm pretty sure it's kind of. I'm struggling because Crisis Core was a long time ago. And
A lot of
with
stuff to do with it.
like with Final Fantasy VII, I replay that game. I try to replay Seven at least once a year, just because I
Yeah,
love Final Fantasy VII. I don't really do that with the rest of the compilation, to be honest. I really should replay Crisis Core again though, because I think it's going to have a lot of bearing going forwards with
yeah,
Remake,
I'd say so.
especially with Zack and things like that. So yeah, probably should force myself through that. And Dirge. Oh,
And
Dirge.
I feel like they are going to put sort of everything in it. I think Dirge will be in the remake. I think
Yeah.
Advent Children will be in the remake.
Oh,
And
100%.
I'm really hoping, believe it or not, so many people don't know this exists either. The On the Way to a Smile books.
Where's my copy? Oh,
Unbelievable
it's over
story.
there. I've literally reread it recently because it was brought to my attention that there was a few points of it that I wasn't 100% on, so I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm just gonna reread it then.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
I've never in the books, I've never sat and actually read the books.
it's
I
so good.
listened to the livestream.net. They did audiobook
Yes.
versions. They're incredible. Like I know so many people wonder, like, how did Rufus survive whenever Weapon attacked the? I know how he survived.
Yeah.
I
We
don't.
d-
I won't drop spoiler. I mean, unless we're allowed to
Oh
drop
no, go
spoiler.
mad. It's the shooting. He ends up falling through a
Yeah,
chute, if I remember right.
yeah.
Yeah.
When Rufus was a kid, they were in like a ballroom or
Mm.
something. I think they were a bit more fancy in Shinra back in the day. They were
Yes.
in a ballroom and he was talking to his dad, and they were building the Shinra Tower at that time. And Rufus was worried about his dad. He was like, "What if we get attacked? You need an escape route."
Yeah.
And the President Shinra was like, "I'm at the top of the floor. Nobody's going to get in. We have the most powerful company in the world. It's not going to happen. But I'll put an escape route in for you when you take over." And he put an L on the button for loser. So if Rufus ever had to use it, he'd feel like shit. And it's underneath the desk. He hits it. He shoots down into this safe room. There's a there's a little keypad on the door,
Yeah.
and I think he had to think about it for ages, like what the password was. He put his dad's birthday, his mum's birthday, loads of different dates, and then he realized it was his own birthday or something. And like I don't know, it's just so interesting.
And there's a lot of information in there as well, like the whole thing with Barrett, because that was the main reason why I've reread it recently, because I was doing that Barrett
Yeah,
video. And like the whole scene with him going to see Sakaki about a prosthesis and then bumping
mhm.
into Sid and going and finding oil, and it's like, Jesus Christ, they're going to do it again. Stop, stop. I was
Yeah,
literally.
because in Advent Children, I think the first line Barrett has in the entire movie, which is reasonably close to the start, is like
It's on
it's a
the phone
voicemail.
in it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
voicemail to Cloud while he's going up to the Healing Lodge, and
Yeah,
he's like, "We did it, Cloud! Oil! We found oil,
yeah.
and I'll come and see Marlene soon." And sure, in the movie, you just take that as it is, but there's a story
Yeah.
behind that in the On the Way to a Smile. And like
Yes.
Denzel's a way bigger part of the story than Advent
The
Children makes it. And even just
Revelation as well. Like that
yeah,
proper. So, like I picked it up about first time I read it about three quarters of the way through the story. It kind of twigged with me like, oh. Oh, that's his mom.
Yeah.
Oh,
And those same people, Reeve's parents, are in the Honeybee Inn.
yep.
Like, in the original game, you can peek through the keyhole and you can hear them talking.
It's so.
And like that's I don't know his name, but I know her name's Ruby.
Yeah, her name was Ruby. I'm not sure about his. I don't think it actually gets mentioned. I don't know why I'm looking at the book as if it's going to teleport the fucking knowledge to me, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not too sure about. It's definitely Ruby's his mom, 100%.
yeah.
But it is crazy, and that's before you even touch the live stream chapters with Aerith and Sephiroth.
Mhm.
There's so
Yeah.
much stuff in that book, and yeah, there's got to
Get to
be. It's
get to
got to be.
talk to Dine and Hojo and Avalanche on the live
Yeah,
stream. Like, it's massive. Like Dine actually went through his revelation arc and actually got to. Well, in our world, we
yeah,
say ghosts are here because they haven't done their purpose and been able to move on. The live stream's the same. They
yeah.
have their form, they get stuck there if they feel like they haven't fulfilled their purpose while they were alive. Aerith helped him move on, and he's gone now to see what was his wife's name?
Mern,
Myrna was Barrett's
Myrna's
wife's name.
Barrett. Oh,
No, it's not Elmira.
El
It's
Eleanor,
That's it. Yeah, Eleanor. Yeah.
Eleanor. So Elmira would proper twig that for me. Then, thank you.
And
I
that's
needed
really
that.
cool. Like, I have theories about that stuff too. Elmira or Eleanor.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Marlene's an ancient.
that is.
I sort of have evidence for it too.
There is a
Like,
little bit, isn't there? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't personally. I will say this: there's not enough to say that she isn't. You
yes,
can't. You can't flat out say she isn't. Like it is a possibility, 100%. So,
the
and that
latest
connection
discovery.
between the two of them in Remake, between Aerith and Marlene, it definitely does feed into that. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's a
Like
weird
she's.
one.
It's like they're designed after the same character. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
See.
But my most recent discovery, because as I mentioned earlier, with what I do, I import the remake models into the original game.
Yes.
While I was doing that, and I was working on Barrett, I thought, you know what? I've never actually looked at his dog
The
tags
dog
before.
tag. Yeah, I
Let's
remember
check out his
this.
dog tags. And on the back of his dog tags, Barrett's, he's got two. So he's got one for himself and one for Marlene.
Yep.
Barrett's dog tag says, Barrett Wallace. It has an actual date of birth, it has his blood type, and it has loads of information about him. But Marlene's, it has Marlene Wallace, but then instead of a date of birth, it says unknown/unknown, blood type unknown, and all the other details just say unknown or XXX. And it's like, Barrett would know Marlene's date of birth.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's basically her uncle. You know how best friends, when one of them has a kid, the best friend
Yeah.
becomes uncle to that kid, even
Yeah.
though they're not related? It's,
Like on the video that I did the other day, like one of the viewers posted a theory in the comments about it where they kind of suggested what if Barrett and Eleanor are brother and sister potentially? You know, like his
yeah,
best friend married his sister, sort of thing, something like that. So they were definitely extremely close, and I would be amazed if Barrett did not know that information. Like
yeah.
genuinely
'Cause
amazed.
Marlene, at least in the original, I
Yeah,
think she's 4 in the original.
something
She
like that.
wouldn't
Yeah.
be old enough to know her own
No.
birthday. So it would be on Barrett to know.
Yeah.
Did they just not celebrate it? Did they make one up? Like,
But this is it. Even if you didn't know, surely you would have reached the point of like, right, well, I know roughly what year she was born. I know what month she was born. So let's say it's the first of that month,
yeah, right.
something
They
like
know how
that.
old she is, so they know what year she was born for sure.
Exactly. So, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that Square Enix have gone, oh, there's a theory going on. Shall we feed them a little bit? Yes, let's feed them something.
Yeah.
It definitely would not be the first time that they've done that.
I mean, even in the remake, they put Shinra in there from FF10.
Yep. Oh, fuck that. And I was equal part like, oh, it's Shinra. And then it was like, oh, it's Shinra. What are they doing? But
It makes
I
sense
don't
though.
want them to link the games. And this has
No,
become a worry of mine recently
it
with
has to
that.
stay an Easter egg.
Well, this Stranger of Paradise or whatever it is becoming a worry to me because it's obviously heavily linked to Final Fantasy 1. That's fine.
Right,
But there's
right.
also been links to 13, and the devs, one of the devs has said something along the lines of, these aren't the only worlds that we know that we'll see in this game, and it worries me so much.
Pulling a bit of a Dissidia there.
Yeah, this is what I mean. It concerns me. Like, it's fine having sequels, it's fine having compilations. Do you know what I mean? Build on the world, obviously, because if you've got more
Yeah.
stories to tell, we're fucking here to listen to these stories and play these stories. That's what we want.
For
But
sure.
forcing links, I don't know. It worries me because that game looks like it's just going to be a meme anyway. So it does scare me a little bit.
But, interestingly, out of all the characters in the remake,
Yeah,
I think the person I enjoyed the most because they were already an interesting character, but they went from this tiny little part. I
yeah,
think they have all of like nine lines in the whole game or something. Scarlet. She
yes.
had such a glow up in her character. She's so much
Especially in
more important
intermission as
now.
well. Like in
Yeah,
intermission, she's
yeah.
and
She's going to be a great
well, this
character.
is it. Her and Heidegger. I mean, when you look at the Shinra group, Reeve is obviously the one who's got his shit together the most from that entire group. Palmer, Heidegger, and Scarlet all kind of come off as a joke, really. Whereas, obviously, we're keeping Palmer as a joke because that's what we have to
Yeah.
do. Like, we have to do that. But Scarlet and Heidegger are they're looking so good. Like, even
Oh,
Heidegger, he looks really good character wise. Like, he's just coming off as a much more serious and much more threatening character, whereas he was just a bit of a goof in the original, wasn't it?
yeah. But I do have
Jahaha and Quahaha.
yeah. I do have a bit of a prediction revolving around those two as well. I know that's a later topic, but I
Oh,
know I'll forget it by then.
go for
But
it. Just fire it out.
there's the part in the original after Diamond Weapon attacks and they all think Rufus is dead for a little while
Yep.
because he's away doing something else for a bit. And you're on the high wind, and Cait Sith's like, "Hey, something's going on. Like, do you wanna spy on them in the meeting room right now?"
Yes.
And they're both there, like, "The president is dead. Now this company is mine." I actually think that, in the game, you go to Midgar, they have like 3 extra lines, you fight Proud Claw, they die.
Yeah.
Assuming they die anyway. I
Yeah. We
actually,
don't see him again, so yeah.
yeah, I want to see a new arc where they actually do
Try to
own
keep it running.
Shinra
Yeah.
and like they're just power hungry. They want to take over the whole world. They send out armies everywhere and it'd be so cool. I want to see that. That's when the full scale war would go between Shinra and
Yeah,
Wutai.
because that would be Shinra going. Because President Shinra, he's quite he's dominant, but he's smart about it as well. So he'll
Yeah.
subjugate people, but he'll do it when it needs to be done.
I'd say he's
Rufus,
actually pretty tame in comparison to
yeah,
what they would be.
yeah, exactly. This is what I mean. Like Rufus is kind of the same but sneakier. It's more background power for Rufus and pulling the strings and things like that. Whereas when you get to Heidegger and Scarlet, it would literally be the final arc of Shinra, and it'd be all out destruction and chaos because I think that's all they've got in them, really.
Yeah.
Like them two and Hojo would be frightening. That
Oh, yeah, they definitely would.
would
And
be
I'm
a
just I'm
frightening group.
hoping that if they do decide to kill them off,
Yeah,
which they probably will,
yeah,
they'll
probably.
make a big scene about it because it's going to be important. You're finally defeating the last people of Shinra. It's going to be a big scene.
Yeah.
The last thing I want is that, you're stood over their bodies after you've defeated them. They have their last lines before they die. I don't want it to be, "I've realized how much wrong I've done, and I'm sorry, and I hope I can die
We don't
peacefully."
want redemption. We don't
I
want
want
redemption.
Scarlet's last line to be "fuck you" and spit a cloud of smoke, and then she dies. She's like, "I'm getting the last laugh. That's
Yes. Yeah, she's got like
that's
one last little trick up her sleeve and blows some shit up or something like
yeah."
that. Goes
And
out in a
Heidegger's
blaze of glory.
yeah, exactly. And
Yes.
Heidegger's gonna die laughing.
His face just
That's
gets redder and redder with each laugh.
yeah, that's what I'm expecting. He's gonna be laughing at himself, like maybe he miscalculated something.
Yeah.
It probably will be the Proud Claude thing. They built Proud Claude. He's head of weapons division, or she's head of weapons
I've
division,
just
isn't
had a
she?
really weird thought. Like, I apologise for jumping in on this, but what if they did something with like Nero in the way that he kind of corrupts people and kind of absorbs them and uses them as puppets? What if something goes on, like Deep Ground kind of breaks
Mm.
free basically at the end of
Oh
Remake with all the
no,
chaos? And we
they
end
could.
up literally with a crazy Heidegger going Joker style in the background laughing himself to death. It's not going to happen, but I would pay for that. I would pay good hard money for that.
I mean, that would be cool. They could take it levels with that,
Yeah.
though. Who's to say they can't reanimate people?
Well, this is it. I mean, there's a big talk that's we have not seen the last of Sona from intermission. That is a big thought that
Yeah, there's no
he's
way.
going to be whipped out at the very least as like a puppet to manipulate Yuffie at some stage. See, that's one of the
Yeah,
ones that I don't say right. Yuffie. I've always been a Yuffie guy.
I started with that too. Took me
Yeah,
years to get over that.
it's an ongoing struggle.
Chocobo.
Chocobo. No, it's Big Turkey. Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, love him. Now, we've reached the midway point. We've talked about remake. So I think the natural conversation point here is to talk about the remake that you're working on, which is
Yeah,
Echo
yeah.
S. We've touched on it a little bit, but I mean, we're kind of going to be time traveling a little bit now because this episode's going to be dropping after the demo. So I mean, what can you tell us about the demo so far, and like where we're going, what the roadmap for the future is for Echo
Yeah,
S?
for sure.
Just go mad,
So the demo, as you said, yeah, the demo would have already been released by the time you're watching this, but it
go
hasn't
play.
been our time.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely go
I can't
play it.
play it
It's
yet.
everywhere. It's everywhere. You'll have no problem finding it. Just Google it. You'll find
It'll
it.
be in the description of this video, so
Yeah,
click.
there you go. There you go. But yeah, we've voiced every character. So not just the main characters, the minor characters. No, we did all the NPCs. Everyone is voiced. Now, granted, I'll tell you all in advance, all the NPCs aren't amazing. You know, the main cast, the minor cast, you know, they're professional level quality and they're great actors. The NPCs are voiced by my community. Like I'm a
Yes.
full-time Twitch streamer, and I pull a reasonable amount of viewers to the point where it pays the bills. You know,
Yeah.
and the people in my stream come in, and then I bring them into a Discord call with me. I coach them in voice acting. We assign them a character, and we'll do our lines together. And I love that for so many different
Yeah.
reasons. First of all, being able to pull my community into a phone call, make small talk with them, do something really cool with them, I get to know my viewers, and it's
Yes.
really nice. And it kind of solidifies that they'll stay consistent viewers too, because they kind of know me a little bit too,
Well,
which is
yeah,
always
this is
nice.
it. There's a connection there. It's not just a random guy that
Yeah.
they're watching. It's someone that they've spoken to and had interactions with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really cool. And I also like the idea that we're building this mod as a team. You know, it's the community is building this mod together.
They'll be able to
And
play it and hear themselves in the game. That's
yeah,
so good.
yeah, it's big. And yeah, even if you're watching this now, the demo's already out. You might be sat there now thinking, "Oh, I'd have loved to have been an NPC in this." Well, you still can. Just get in
Yes.
touch with me. We've only done Midgar. The demo is Midgar, and it has a few secrets, and you can do stuff, but you'll find that out yourself
Yes.
if you play it or watch somebody else play it. Either way. But yeah, we have the rest of the game to voice. So if you want to be inside FF7, you still can. You don't need amazing quality. You don't need to have ever acted before, because I will personally teach you how to act. As long as your quality is not like, you know, a garbage ass Xbox 360 headset mic.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think when it comes to quality, there's a slight line. If your character directly interacts with a main character, you have a back and forward with them.
Yeah,
If you're terrible and really bad quality, and then Cloud replies to you, it's gonna make you sound even worse.
because it'll be crisp.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So they contradict each other.
yeah,
So we do have regulations we put in place there. But to be fair, most NPCs don't actually communicate with Cloud. They just talk to him,
yeah.
and then he walks away. So yeah. But we've done our best to get as many different people as we possibly can to voice, because the example I always use here is Skyrim.
Yeah.
We don't want to pull a Skyrim because I'm fairly sure 8 people voiced that whole game. And
You
it
can hear them
showed.
get gradually more and more depressed about it as well, the deeper into the game you get.
That one guy is in every town you visit. You know,
Yeah.
we don't want that.
No, no.
So yeah, we're getting as many people as we can. Like our Discord has like 2,500 members in it or something, and loads of them come in and out and they do NPCs with us. It's so awesome. Different accents from all over the world. It's fantastic. But there's a few other features inside EchoS as well that are all totally optional. Everything I'm going to talk about is totally optional. You can build your own version of the game
Yeah,
using
because I
these
mean,
mods.
I think I've used your branch of Seventh Heaven. I believe it
Mhm.
is that I've used. And is it
Yeah.
the same sort of thing with like when you boot the game up, you've got that UI and you can kind of toggle
Yeah,
things on and off and pick your preferences?
yeah, exactly.
That's really
But
good.
EchoS also has some of these features built into it. So
Mm,
even if you only use the EchoS mod, the EchoS mod comes with a day and night system slash calendar system, because it knows what date it is and what year it is and stuff. In the world, it
yeah,
doesn't read like system time and actually know it's 10:15 in the afternoon. You know, it has its own time. It's optional. When you click new game, it'll ask you what you want to have.
yeah,
There's the time system. There's a day and or a weather system. Um, and there's a soundtrack, which I'll expand upon in a minute. But you can also, like, if you choose yes to all these options because you think, oh, I want to play this mod for everything it has, you play it for an hour and decide, I don't actually like those features. You can just turn them off at the save points. So you don't have to start
Oh,
again.
so you can
Fill it
change
up.
it in game as well as you're going through. You can kind of,
Yeah,
oh, that's
yeah.
brilliant.
They're just variables that you can toggle on and off in the code. It's really helpful.
That's so good.
Yeah. And we remade the entire soundtrack. The soundtrack is named Echoes of the Planet,
Yeah.
which was nice because echoes, echo S,
Mm,
kind of.
it works. It
But
works.
we didn't just remake the soundtrack. People have done that before. Loads of composers have done that for fun. But what we did is because Echo S is voiced, and we found a way to make the text in the game automatic, so you don't have to sit there and spam confirm every time they finish talking.
Yeah.
Every time a voice line finishes, the text box closes itself and moves on to the next one. So it's like cutscenes. Because of that, we know how long it takes you to get through a scene.
Right.
So we can time the music to be impactful when it needs to be based on how
Right.
far through the conversation you are, assuming you're not spamming through. You are still allowed to close the text boxes as your own free will,
Yeah.
but we're going to create the soundtrack on the assumption that you aren't.
Right.
So,
So you'd be
it's
better off if you are playing through it. Let the
yeah,
text box do its thing. Let the dialogue go ahead as it at its
yeah.
own pace, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the big key points with all of that is when you're doing the flashback, because we have already got the flashback voice ready for the future,
Yeah.
and whenever Sephiroth goes through his little break, like his mental break, and you go to see him in the basement, and he starts walking towards a camera and he's like, "Out of my way! I'm going to see my mother." Every bit of the music before then is just the heartbeat, and like that's it. But then it like whenever he says that, it like drops and you hear like all of the other stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we've been able to enhance that a whole bunch because of the timing. And like it's great. And we know that Aerith's death scene, like
Same
that's
sort of
really
deal.
gonna hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the story, like I swear, when this game is voiced, it gives you these different feelings and different emotions that you never thought FF7 could give you.
Yeah.
Like, there's plenty of examples that are less obvious, but a big one, I've voiced this is way further in the future, but whenever you get past the Icicle Inn, and you're going to climb up the Gaia Cliffs,
Yeah.
and there is Holzoff in the hut at the bottom of that cliff. And anytime I'd been there before, other than maybe the first time when I actually read the text, he's like, "If you got time to listen to an old man's stories before you head up,"
It's a
and
sad story.
it's a really sad
It's a
story.
really sad story.
So many people have no idea what that story is. If
You're just
anybody,
blasting through it at that point.
yeah, if anybody in the comments, like, pause the video now, tell me in the comments, what does it say? What does he tell you in his story? Chances are you'll have no idea. But now you'll have unpaused the video and I'll tell you. But he talks to you about how him and his friend tried to climb the cliff like many, many years ago. His friend slipped. They had ropes tied around them, and Holzoff's friend was tied to Holzoff. Holzoff was tied to the cliff.
Yeah.
He slipped, so they were dangling, and Holzoff didn't realize that his friend cut his own rope, knowing that the rope couldn't hold the weight of both of them, and he did that to save Holzoff's life. In a text box, when you
Crazy.
read that, it's like, oh, that's kind of sad. When it's voice acted,
Yep.
get the tissues out, because you'll need them.
We're about to get
Uh,
emotional.
yeah, it's
Well, this is it though
crazy.
with the music, because if I remember right, when he's telling you that story, the music doesn't change up or anything at all in the original. It just
Not at
plays
all.
the Gaia's Cliff. It's just like the
Yeah,
wind, isn't it? Really, if I remember
pretty
correctly.
much.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It's so impactful. Like even in Midgar, one that you will see soon enough. Whenever you go back to Aerith's house
yeah.
after she's been kidnapped, and you have to tell her mum that she'd been kidnapped, Aerith's theme plays, which is already pretty hitting, and she tells you the story about how Aerith was a kid and she heard these voices and some came for her and all
Yeah.
this other stuff, and her husband dying at war. It's when it's voice acted, man, it hurts. It brings this whole. I actually think, and this is a high claim,
Here
I
we go.
actually think we did that scene better than the remake did. Genuinely,
Ooh.
it's
Well,
it's
hopefully by this point, by the time you're watching this, I will have already reached that stage. We'll see. We'll see how quick I can
yeah.
get through it. Because yeah, well, it's out now.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be out now.
It will be
That's
out now.
that's
How does
weird.
that make you feel?
I know. know, it's weird. Like, I'm going to watch this video when it comes out
Yeah,
because, I want to see how it turned out and whatnot. And I
yeah.
was on it. And it's gonna be weird. Like, I'm gonna be watching this, being like, yeah, I just spent the last 5 days watching other people play the demo and enjoy it, and I've got all these opinions, and people are begging me now, like, get part 2 done. Like,
Yeah, part two when?
yeah,
That's just
but
going to be a wall of messages now.
yeah, like, I decided that, I should release a demo at some point
Yeah,
because when it's something playable and people are looking forward to, I released a video on my own YouTube channel where we showed the voices of all the main and minor cast.
yeah,
Sure, that's one thing. You listen to it, it's like, oh, that's really cool. But it could sound shite in the game for all you know. So it makes sense. Like, for you to be dedicated to this project, you need a demo of it to decide, is this
yes.
worth waiting for? Or hell, if you wanted to take it the step further, you sign up to Patreon or whatever, and you get early access to all that
You
stuff.
want to know what you're backing, what you're getting into.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, get invested in it. And, some people have played a bit of the demo already. As I said,
yeah.
my patrons have access to
I think there's
a lot of
beta
the stuff.
testing that you did, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
plenty of beta testing going on. Make sure I didn't get any spelling mistakes because I have to change the script up too
yeah.
to make it sound a bit more human. Because in a text box, the messages sound fine. You say them out loud, and you're like, no, this isn't a real life line that somebody would say.
Yeah, it doesn't, you wouldn't have this conversation ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it's a lot more human sounding when you play through it, so it doesn't kill the vibe at all. Um, so the scenes definitely hit a lot more hard, like a lot more. They're just so much more impactful,
Well, I
and at the
remember
same
another
time,
thing you were talking about was the ambient noises as well as the music.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. They aren't built directly into Echo S per se. There's another mod from our team named Cosmo Memory, which you can
Oh,
use in tangent with Echo S,
right.
and it's beautiful. I can't play the game without it anymore.
Seriously.
Yeah, it gives so much like once you've played with Echo S and Cosmo Memory, and then you turn it off, you're like, wow, this game was so quiet because it only ever had music.
Yeah.
With Cosmo Memory on, you'll be running through the reactor and you'll hear reactors like sounds humming in the
Yeah.
background, the machines. You'll hear the pipes like sucking up the liquids. Whenever the characters are talking inside Echo S, they'll have the reverb and the tinny sound on their voice because you're actually surrounded by big metal machines and pipes and
Yeah,
stuff.
there'd be echo, things like that.
Yeah, we had the environmental effects and it sounds really good.
See, it's
And
crazy
like,
as well because, like, with the amount of times that I've played Seven personally, like most times when I play it now, I've probably got the sound off and I've got something on YouTube or something like that in the
yeah,
background.
you
So it's
don't
going to be
need it.
really nice to have a reason to play it.
Mhm.
Get the sound going, get the music going, just get
Yeah.
immersed in it completely again.
Yeah. And
Um,
like when you walk into a busy bar, you'll hear all the NPCs just sort of chatting. You won't hear real words; it'll just be muffled sort
yeah,
of voice. But until you go talk to somebody, and it's just so good. And like with Echo S as well, we voiced the battle stuff.
yeah,
So currently, we were unable to voice, like with the guard scorpion when Cloud says like "Don't attack while its tail's up." We have no way to hook into that message to attach a sound file to it, unfortunately.
yeah.
But the attack sound effects, so when Cloud runs up and slashes, he will say "Kya" when he attacks.
Yes.
But we took it to the next level a little bit here, which was really difficult for us to do.
Yeah.
So imagine, you use Omni Slash, that's like 8 strikes, one after the other, really quick succession. If we have Cloud say "Hya," then he's going to run up and he's going to go "Hya, hya, hya, hya," and it's going to be the same thing 8 times, and you're like, ugh,
It's
that
going to
was
sound a bit,
annoying.
yeah.
We managed to get it so that we can have a set of sound effects, and the game will randomly choose between them and cycle them in and out, so they're different every time you hit, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, that's
And
nice.
it adds so much to the game.
I mean, like the main thing that I can think is just the absolute levels of immersion that it's going to add to the
Mhm.
game. Like,
Yeah,
you are going to be able to immerse yourself in Final Fantasy VII like you never have before, or at least the
yeah,
original game.
absolutely. And I think as well, a lot of people still have a lot of mistranslation. You've missed a bit of the game's story.
Yeah.
Like for example, my prime example here, the voice in Cloud's head. Who do you think the voice in Cloud's head is? Because
I would
there's so
argue
many.
that it's kind of an amalgamation of a couple of things because Cloud's kind of got two or three different personas going on inside him at that point for me. He's kind of got that boy who grew up in Nibelheim, the original Cloud. He's got the
Yeah.
person that he wants to be, which is It's basically Zack. That is the person that he aspires to be like.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, it's Sephiroth. But Zack becomes that kind of
Mhm.
intermediary almost, and then you've got whatever twisted personality the Genova's corrupted cells kind of put on top of him. So I
Yeah.
kind of feel like it is Cloud, but it's also not the real Cloud, if you know what I mean. It's kind of this
Right.
corrupted Cloud. That's where
Yeah.
I'm at with it, sort of.
Oh, that's a fair assumption. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, you're pretty damn close.
Yeah,
But you'll ask the public, and you'll get so many people say, "I think it's Zack. I think it's Jenova. I
yeah,
think it's Sephiroth." But no, it's the real Cloud.
yeah.
The Cloud we play the game with is Zack Persona Cloud,
And he's trying to
and
break out.
yeah, the
Yeah,
voice you hear in your head is the real Cloud trying to break through that persona. Because whenever you beat Airbus or you fall down, you land in the church.
yeah,
Before you actually talk to Aerith, you're in your head for a minute,
yeah.
and it's like, "Are you okay? Can you move?" Back then, you only grazed your knees. Yeah, that's Cloud saying
Nibelheim, yeah,
we didn't
that
used to get
original Cloud.
yeah, we
Yes.
used to get that injured whenever we fell over and hurt ourselves. It's original Cloud trying to break through the persona.
Yeah.
But we did have a bit of a struggle with this in EchoS because it's a plot twist. And if that plot twist
Yes.
is voiced, it suddenly isn't a plot twist
Because it's the
anymore.
same voice.
So what we've actually done is we actually have that voice voiced by Zack, but as you go through the game, Cloud and Zack, both their actors, are going to voice it
Interchangeable.
exactly the same, and we're going to start merging their voices together. It's going to fade from Zack's voice to Cloud's voice as you get further and start learning the truth,
Love that.
which I think is a pretty interesting way
Yeah,
to
I
do
like
it.
that. That's nice.
And I had to
And you're right as well, though, because there's a lot of things like that in the original game where it kind of gets lost in translation pretty much. Not
yeah,
only the translation itself, but you kind of had to make a lot of the leaps yourself with those kind of games back in the day.
oh
Like
yeah,
they couldn't put everything in there for you. I think Sakaguchi referred to it as negative space, where they kind of leave it up to your mind to fill in the blanks, so to speak. And
hmm
yeah, I think that is definitely one of those things where the whole Zack Cloud is Cloud kind of thing. Because a lot of
yeah,
people do feel like he has Zack's memories or something like that, and I'm
yeah.
not there. But it is starting to seem like, from what devs have said and from interviews, it's starting to seem more and more likely that that could be an angle they're going with now. So
Potentially.
I
See,
don't
I've always
know.
thought that during the time that Cloud had Marco poisoning and
Yep.
Zack sort of didn't, Zack's a very talkative, boisterous, outgoing dude,
Yes.
and he's carrying Cloud around the entire time.
And they're
Think about
alone.
it. Like, what is
Yep.
he gonna do? He's not just gonna be in silence carrying this half dead guy around with him.
Exactly.
He's gonna be telling Cloud every story he's ever had, and
Yep.
that's where Cloud gets his memories from.
Yep.
He unconsciously heard or subconsciously heard all the stories that Zack told him.
But Jenova could be actively absorbing those memories at that moment in
Yeah,
time. Like, oh, this is something for me.
absolutely.
Because that's the whole thing with Jenova. It mimics the loved ones of the people that it fights. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And another huge misconception that people don't know. You ask anybody, when is the first time in the game that you see Sephiroth? 90% of the time you get the wrong answer.
are we talking Sephiroth, or
Yeah,
Jenova
yeah.
Sephiroth?
The real Sephiroth,
Oh,
yeah.
North Crater.
Yeah, the North Crater.
Yeah, because,
Because
and even that technically isn't real Seth, because he's rebuilding his body using Jenova's cells,
yeah,
isn't there? So, I mean,
but
even that,
it's his identity.
yeah, he's
It's
occupying that space,
yeah.
shall we
Because
say.
so many people, you'd be like, oh,
On the
Sephiroth killed
boat.
Aerith. Sephiroth killed Aerith. You'd be like, actually, he didn't.
Yeah.
Jenova did. Jenova is a shape-shifting alien.
Yep.
She broke out. She killed President Shinra. She killed Aerith. When
Now,
you
there is
get
a
on the boat,
conversation to be had about is Sephiroth controlling the actions of this Jenova, and I would argue to a degree he is.
to a degree, probably.
Yeah, I think there's a back and forth there, and I think Sephiroth definitely supersedes Jenova eventually. Like,
Yeah,
especially now in Remake, we've definitely reached that point where Jenova is a tool now for Sephiroth almost. That's
yeah,
whereas originally it seemed like it was the other way around,
hmm
and Sephiroth was the tool for Jenova almost.
yeah.
It's an interesting one, but
I can't even imagine, like, if Sephiroth had nothing to do with it at all. Let's just assume Jenova came here, she worked out the most powerful being on this planet was Sephiroth, so I'm going to take his form,
yep,
and I'm going to cause a ruckus. I actually I can expand on that a little as to why I think she does this.
yeah,
But you get to Sephiroth at some point, he's suddenly being blamed for Aerith's death and Shinra's death and causing all this mayhem and doing all this shit, and he's like, "What? I didn't do any of that."
I'm just chilling, bro.
Been stuck in this icicle crystallizing for ages. Like, what are you talking about?
But I mean, if that does turn, I mean, if that is the case as well, it makes sense that she'd go for Aerith because she has a war against the ancients.
Yeah.
The only ancient in existence, probably, is Aerith. So,
See, my big theory about Jenova is, in Dirge you fight Omega Weapon, right?
yeah.
That's that one, yeah. And I don't remember where it's written down, but it is canon that Omega Weapon's existence is for a reason,
Oh, yeah,
in
yeah.
which whenever the planet is
It
beyond
gathers the live
saving,
stream,
yeah, it takes what it can and it goes and finds a new home. I think Jenova is Omega Weapon from another planet.
but it got
Their planet
corrupted.
got destroyed, it came here, and that's why it took on the form of Sephiroth, the strongest being, to ruin this planet, so their Cetra could move here. That could be how Final Fantasy X.
Oh, no, no! But no, that would make sense because we don't know anything about Jenova background wise, but if Jenova's an alien that's travelled the cosmos and come to Gaia, and Gaia has an emergency escape system, so to speak, which is gather up the live stream and go somewhere else,
Yeah,
that's a pretty strong link between those two things.
yeah.
I mean, you could argue, what if that planet that Jenova came from got corrupted in some way, and that's why Jenova is how Jenova is, because of the corruption to the live stream, and now
Absolutely
that
could be.
corruption's spreading throughout, because they've kind of hinted towards, well, I mean, they flat out said that there is a cosmological live stream, so to speak, like the whole universe has a live stream, and Gaia will eventually rejoin that live stream.
Yeah,
So it could be that it's just a virus spreading through the system.
it could be, yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of it, and this is the thing with Final Fantasy VII. There's so many layers of depth you can go to with it,
Oh,
and
there.
you will always find something to get a hold of, and I love it.
Yeah. And at least all of the actual true points of the actual story confirmed in the original game, you'll be
Yes,
able to understand better when you play Echo S because
yes,
we've
there will be no crazy translations.
yeah. Because we're actually we built Echo S on top of another mod called the Reunion,
Yeah,
which is a full retranslation of the original PlayStation 1 Japanese game into today's modern English. And
right. So it's
we
used the original Japanese as the base point rather
yeah.
than the already translated.
Yeah,
Right.
from a fluent Japanese English speaker that was able to
Ooh.
directly translate it, and then we just tweaked it a little to sound it more actual. I spoke this out loud sentences. Because I think we just did one like the other day. Actually, we had an NPC night,
Yeah,
and it was for Costa del Sol. And there's the guy that sells you the villa, right?
yeah.
And he lies on top of his bed, and he's like, "Oh, this bed is so fluffy." And it's like a grown man wouldn't really say that. A kid maybe.
Oh,
But like
look
we
how
changed it.
comfortable I am.
Yes, we changed it. It was like, "Oh, this bed's just so comfortable. I never want to leave," or something along those
Yeah,
lines.
made it
Just
a
kind of
sales pitch rather than nonsense.
yeah, yeah. I couldn't imagine ever sitting on something and being like, "It's so fluffy," unless it was designed to be, like a fluffy
Unless it
beanbag
was just
truck.
fluff.
Yeah, yeah.
Giant
Oh,
fluff ball.
this fluff is so fluffy.
This is the fluffiest ball I've ever seen. Oh, nah. There are a lot of moments like that as well. And it is just purely because of the difficulties that they had localizing things back in the day, I'm going to assume. Because
Yeah, much.
it can be a pain now. So I can imagine what it was like in the 90s for them.
Yeah, I think some of it suffered because they did direct translations.
Yeah.
Japanese doesn't always directly
No.
translate into English. You'll end up with this broken sentence. It's like
Yeah.
Google Translate, it's something that just something that you might find interesting. When it came to getting the cast for Echo
Yeah.
S, the remake didn't exist when we did that. So it was very difficult for us to decide at the point, like, what are we going to do with these voices? Like, how closely are we going to try and match?
Yeah.
Is the remake going to be a threat? Like, if we have a Vincent that sounds like this, and then the remake comes out and he sounds nothing like that,
Yeah.
is everyone going to be like, you sound nothing like the remake? It's like, yeah, but we did it first. Shut up.
Plus, this isn't the remake. This is the
Yeah, plus it's not
remake.
the remake. But interestingly enough, like granted, we had Advent Children,
Yeah.
and at the time we thought that was a safe bet until we found out they recast everybody.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're pretty close anyway
Yeah.
to the way we thought they were going to sound. But we actually managed to nail the way that they sounded. Like, we only just well, I say recently, COVID makes everything feel
Yeah,
recently.
it's a blur.
But yeah, like when we voiced Yuffie, we've had our Yuffie voice actor for a year and a half now
Yeah.
or something. And
Also,
she
there was
sounds,
there was
yeah,
no
no,
intermission
no,
DLC or anything like that.
yeah, nothing at all. She sounds exactly like the remake Yuffie, and we were like, oh, that's just perfect.
Smashed it.
Like it was hard to do. We figured, we may as well copy what's there for safety reasons, because people are going to find reasons to dislike anything. Let's give
Yeah.
them as few as we can.
I mean, in the same way that some purists have hated Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'm sure some purists will probably be like, oh, you've made it voice acted. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Oh, they'll
You
definitely
will
hate it.
get people like that. And it's their opinion. Just go away.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting when we get around to 8. Now, granted, we've already cast FF8's OS as well, and so many people have said they really enjoyed the cast for FF8.
Yeah.
But it was an entirely different experience because FF8 characters hadn't been voiced.
Ever, yeah,
There's a
yeah.
couple. There was a couple that have been in Dissidia or Kingdom Hearts. We didn't take Kingdom Hearts. We were like, nah, they're just nah.
Oh, that's
So
Leon.
like
That's a different guy, yeah.
that we took Score from Dissidia like pretty, like we wanted to copy that as best as we could because
Yeah.
people that's what they hear.
Yeah, because that's
The
kind
rest
of
of the
been
cast,
canonized as how he signed.
yeah,
Yeah.
the rest of the cast we didn't matter too much. We was like, we'll just we'll get something that fits the personality, it fits the way they look,
Yeah.
do our best for it. But what was really interesting about it is that we know that every person that's ever played FF8 has a voice for every character in
Oh,
their head.
100%.
And we had to do our best to bring the character out of their head and into reality. So every comment on that YouTube video would be, this is exactly what
Wow.
I had in my head all
Yeah.
these years. And we thought it would be more difficult because there's so much more we could get wrong. We don't have something to copy.
Yeah.
But surprisingly enough, so many people were like, yeah, all these voices are fantastic.
That's
Some
brilliant.
people are a bit iffy with Laguna. I think Laguna's really good just because he's very ditzy.
Yeah.
We made him very ditzy sounding. I think it's mainly females that didn't like it because they were like, but Laguna needs to sound hot.
Well,
And we
no,
were
he
like, no,
doesn't.
we went ditzy.
That's the thing though. He is hot, but he's also a complete clown, and that's the
Yeah,
point with him. Like he's just not. He's not on it. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
I'm looking forward to that as well because, and you're right about the voices, but I think it's potentially it's a bit of a testament to how well SquareSoft did with conveying those characters to us through those text boxes. You know what I mean? Through the visuals and through what they say and how it comes across. Like if we were all kind of coming up with similar voices in our heads for those characters, then yeah, that's a good job
Yeah,
that they did there.
yeah. And what's going to be nice too is our job actually gets easier as we go through the games.
Yeah,
But not just because we've done a game already, so now we sort of know what we're doing.
we're
So it makes it easier.
practiced. Yeah,
It's FF7. When you think about FF7, like the blocky models and how bad the animations and stuff were, we have to overact FF7 so much because they don't have facial expressions, they
yeah,
don't have good animations, they have no way as a 3D model to convey their emotions. So the voice actors have to do it.
it's all there. Yeah,
Yeah, so we have to like 3 times overact the entire scene. When we get to FF8, it's a bit easier because they do have faces
yeah,
and their animations. Like when Squall's pissed and he does this shit, like you can tell he's pissed. The voice actor doesn't have to work as hard.
yeah,
And then nine's going to be just comical because everything's kind of already just built in.
yeah.
It's going to be great. I can't wait to do 9. Like Quina going around. Oh man.
Oh no.
And you should hear our Cait Sith for 7 though.
Oh no. Is it the most
have-
Scottish person
We
ever?
have, yeah, we've gone full Scottish with it.
MJ Gallagher.
No, but
Not that Scottish, oh, fair enough. Fair enough. I actually had
What
someone
a-
comment on our episode of this that they had to put the subtitles, and I was like, "You cheeky bastard!"
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't
man-
think ours is that bad.
Yeah, a man can a Scot, I suppose.
But what I think I love, when we were casting for Cait Sith,
Yeah.
there was something we needed to keep in mind, and that was, like, I'm probably overestimating a little here, but I'm going to say 90% of people don't use Cait Sith. They hate Cait Sith.
Hate that
He's
shit.
a very, very hated character.
Yeah.
And
Not
it
a
would
fan.
suck. The voice actor for Cait Sith never gets used. So we had to put in so much extra effort to find the perfect voice for him that would compensate for how bad of a character he is,
Yeah,
so that you'd want to use him
yeah.
anyway. And we nailed it.
Oh,
His
look.
accent, the way he talks, he goes from, like when your voice breaks
Yeah.
by accident, you're in mid-sentence, your voice breaks, and you're like, oh
Ah.
God, that was embarrassing. This guy utilizes it perfectly. And
Oh,
like he can go high pitch, he can do all this other stuff. He makes jokes, he's cracking like all the time. And the Scottish accent just makes it even funnier.
it does. It does. It lends itself to humor. It's such a good
Yeah.
accent. Such a good
I
accent.
feel like when EchoS is done, people are going to play their first playthrough with their favorite characters.
Yeah.
They might swap up from time to time and get a mix of all the characters as they go through.
Yeah.
But then they're going to play it again and have only the characters they didn't use so they can get all the dialogue.
Yeah.
And I think Cait Sith is going to get used a lot more because of
Well, I mean, if
EchoS.
you think about it, I'm trying to think of like the forced conversational scenes that involve Cait Sith. You've got the first time that you meet Cait Sith, obviously at the Gold Saucer. You've got the Temple of the Ancients. You've got the scene at the start of Disc 2 with Barrett and Tifa with the execution that's about to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah,
And then you've got that scene on the airship that we were talking about earlier where Reeves, like, you might want to listen to what's happening in
yeah.
Midgar right now. I don't think there's
It's
much
about
more than that.
yeah, because I don't even think he's not involved that much when you're getting like the key to the City of the
No.
Ancients.
Unless you have him in your party, no?
Yeah, it's all just
And to be
conditional.
fair, the big issue for me with Cait Sith was not even a character issue for the most part. It was a mechanics issue because I refuse to have a character who can game over me in the party. I'm just not doing it. It's no.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's the only reason. Like the limit breaks were just so bad, and it was just like, you're an alright character, but I'm not going to use you.
Mm-hmm.
Go with the
No, like
usual Barrett Cloud Sid for the limit breaks, or Yuffie with Bloodlust, is it?
mm-hmm.
The one where she just goes
Actually, I think
crazy.
that's the best limit in the game. I
It's
think
one
if
of.
you're
It might not be
hitting max
Bloodlust.
damage.
It might be. She's got another one that's got a weird name, like Fury of the Dead or something like that. It's like a.
Yeah,
It's that,
yeah,
and yeah, she does like 13 strikes.
yeah. It's more than anybody
It's
else
insane. Like she is probably the most useful character
for
mechanically
sure.
when you factor in the morph glitch, because
Combined with long range too, just built into
yeah,
her.
it's just
Mm.
ludicrous the amount of stuff. Unless you overflow characters, that's the only way that you beat Yuffie's usefulness is if you overflow.
Yeah,
Because you can do it
yeah.
with Barrett and Vincent, can't you? I think you can
Yes.
overflow their weapons so that they just do like
Yeah.
minus squiggle, squiggle, squiggle
Barrett,
damage.
Barrett with stupid amount of AP, and I think with Vincent you have to kill like nearly a million things with his
Yeah, it's his
weapons.
weapon that gets stronger per kill, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, and you just have to overflow that, which I've never done, I'll be honest. I know it exists, but
Too much time, too much
yeah.
effort.
Like, I'll do some silly things in Final Fantasy VII, but some of them, it's like there's certain things, like, I have never, ever, ever in Final Fantasy X dodged all the lightning bolts. Never. Refuse to do it. Not doing it.
Same as,
Just
yeah,
not doing
not
it.
worth.
I've never done all of the skipping in 9 either. Not doing
No.
it. Although I have done the hip all racing one, which is
Yeah,
a
I did that one.
yeah, yeah, I can tolerate that, but the skipping can just go away.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier, we were just going through the characters here,
Oh
but
yeah,
Sid is another one that we had to really focus on a little
I
bit.
love
So
Sid.
if anybody watching this now in the future is, like we have video, like I have a video on my channel of all the main cast and stuff. You may or may not go watch that at some point. Know in advance the Sid that you hear in that video is no longer our Sid. They
Yeah,
had to drop out unfortunately because of real life, and we're
it,
unpaid, so
pesky
it
real
happens.
life.
Yeah. But both Sids did an incredible
Yeah.
job. The old Sid is still in our team, he still does NPCs and stuff with us,
Oh,
there's no
nice.
bad blood or anything, just work got in the
Yeah, it's
way.
just not having the time, unfortunately.
Yeah. But Sid was another really interesting character we had to focus on a lot because
Yeah,
people are expecting Sid to be like, fuck this, fuck that, god shit, damn it, whatever. And granted, Barrett kind of had a similar thing,
yeah,
but we actually had to change the script up a little bit in the sense that he's not swearing every 2 lines
yeah.
because the more you swear, the less power those swears
Yeah, it takes
have.
the efficacy
You
of
know?
it away. It's just gone. It
Yeah.
becomes meaningless after a few words.
Mhm. Like we want Sid to sound like typical 40-year-old, smoked forever, swears a lot, bad attitude, but he also but he also needs to have that compassionate side of him. You know, when you're in the rocket and that thing falls on his leg and he thinks he's gonna die, you gotta really get that emotion through.
Yeah.
You gotta feel it. You're like, damn, this is Sid, but this is not
Yeah,
Sid.
this is different, Sid.
We've got to be able to have that transformation because even from then, he does have little break points where he shows a bit more of his character to you.
Yeah,
He's
because
not
it starts
just
to come through after that. He kind of realizes, and it's funny that you mentioned Barrett as well, because I think Barrett and Sid probably have two of the best journeys. You know, outside of the main cast, like
yeah,
you,
yeah,
Cloud, Aerith, like outside of them, I think Barrett and Sid probably do have the best character arcs in the game. Red 13 as well. Like those
yeah.
three characters, they get a lot of focus on them earlier on in the game. And yeah, I'm a big fan of it. Like I love Sid because he is that brash, horrible bastard, basically. But he learns as well, and he really, it's not all he is. And he realizes that he was wrong to be that. And it's nice to see him kind of come back from that. And same with Barrett and the guilt that he feels about North Coral. It's good to see him come
Yeah,
back from
yeah,
that and get over that to a certain degree. No,
yeah. It's gonna be really cool.
yeah,
And Red 13 as well
yes,
has a little bit. There's going to be a bit of a change. I don't think many people would have noticed. But whenever you leave Midgar, and you know, like Barrett says, like we'll meet at Calm.
yeah,
Red has a specific line he says, or it might be in. I think it's there. It might be in Shinra. I don't know. But he says like, "I'll go with you as far as my hometown,
yeah.
and that's it."
Yeah, yeah,
Because Red
he's staying until then. That was always my understanding
Yeah.
of it. Yeah,
Red 13 had no interest in you. He didn't care about you at all.
yeah.
You are a means to an end. He uses you to fight off all the shit and get him home, and then he's like, "Yep, don't care about you anymore. See you
Peace.
later."
Yeah,
So we've got to make sure we take that into account with the voice acting
yeah.
too. He's going to be a bit of a dick. He's going to be quite brash. He's not going to
Aloof.
put much
Yeah,
emotion in his lines. And then you get home, he goes through his story arc. He realizes like his grandpa Bugenhagen's like, yeah, you should go with these. These are really good people. And you start to make friends, and he opens up a bit to you,
yes.
which is something I don't think a lot of people ever noticed about him. Is that he's actually quite a dick up until that point,
Yeah,
or he's supposed to be.
yeah. He's very much in it for himself. Like he's got his goal. It's like, yeah, I'll help you if you help
Yeah,
me, but
yeah. I
beyond
think
that,
I think until I mean I know he knows a lot about humans, and granted, Cosmic Canyon's full of humans, but I don't think he really knows any of them that well. And I wouldn't
yeah,
even consider Bugenhagen to be a human.
yeah,
I won't go as far as to say he's an ancient. He might be, he probably is, but I don't think
it's
he's human
possible.
anyway.
See, this is the thing. I think there's going to be certain people that, while they might not be an ancient, they've got a connection to the ancient. So, you know, maybe the
Yeah,
DNA is so diluted that it doesn't give them any kind of powers or anything like that. But Bugenhagen's definitely got a stronger connection to the planet than
yeah,
anybody
totally.
else in Final Fantasy VII.
He lives far longer than a normal human being.
Yeah, he's
So
like 100 and... I'm sure it says he's like 100 and something.
yeah,
103, something
I,
like that.
I'm not even sure exactly, but
I'm sure I've seen that. That could be complete bollocks, so I apologise if it is.
uh,
But
yeah,
there's
we took.
definitely something. There's definitely something going on with Bugenhagen,
Oh,
100%. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
And
But
I'm looking
we
forward
took
to
a
him
lot
in
of
Remake because he's going to
that.
have answers.
Yeah, for sure. And we had to take a lot of that into account too. That we're kind of guessing, call it creative methods we're using. I guess it's our project. We're
Yeah,
allowed to do what we want. To be fair,
exactly. Yeah.
that I'm under the assumption that Red 13 probably doesn't have a great relationship with humans
Yeah.
because he doesn't spend that much time with them. He sounds, from some of the words he says, he sounds like he looks down on humans.
Yeah.
I'm I'm a superior being to you are.
Given the way
I'm
Shinra treat him as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'm intelligent. I live longer than you. I'm better than you. All
Yeah.
this other stuff. So he is going to talk down to the party a little bit from time to time. And granted, sometimes he tolerates it. Like whenever he's in Costa del Sol and there's a little girl kicking a ball at his tail. And in the original game, you'll go up and you'll talk to him and it'll just be a sound effect of him barking at the
Yeah.
girl. But we haven't done this yet. I'm just spouting ideas right now.
Yeah.
But we'll probably add a dialogue box there where he's just complaining. He's like, a pathetic little girl or something. Like, tell her to fucking leave me alone, you know? I don't know yet, but it's in his character to complain about that little girl and
Yeah.
talk down about her. Like, she
Yeah,
has no
because
right to be.
I think Bugenhagen points out as well that equivalent wise, he's only 17.
Yeah.
So he's got quite an immature outlook in that capacity as well. He's got that aloofness and that superiority complex because he's not
Mhm.
as experienced as he could be, so to speak.
Yeah, it's very typical of a 17-year-old to think they're a 25-year-old.
I know
Mature.
everything. Yeah, 17-year-old me knew everything.
Yeah.
110%. Yeah.
I remember telling myself plenty of times growing up, it's like, "I'm an adult, I can do this," and then looking back a few years, like, I was not an adult.
Yes, I was not. I'm still not.
Yeah, exactly. I've looked back on the times I've looked back and be like, "I wasn't an adult then either."
Who am I to judge me?
Yeah. And I know we spoke about it before. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna reiterate here. The memes in FF7. I know I've said we've got the retranslation, we're fixing a lot of stuff, we're making it all better. This guy R6 stays.
Just been thinking about other beautiful ones as well, though, like Red 13 in a Shinra outfit. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good.
Sailor
Yeah,
Barrett.
the memes absolutely stay. In fact, here's a little thing that the public don't know yet, but I'll
Oh,
disclose this. Here's
oh,
exclusive stuff right
come
here.
on.
So there's been, whenever voice actors record their lines, they
Yeah.
usually hit record and they'll leave it on for an hour when they do loads of lines. They fuck up a lot. They mess up their lines, they stutter, they'll go blah 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 blah, whatever, voice actor things. Occasionally you get outtakes, and they're
Yes.
really, really funny because they just go off script. Now, we're not going to change the game up in such a way where these outtakes make sense and
Yeah.
we swap the original lines with them. However, we're going to put conditionals in. So the little RNG dice that's built inside FF7, whenever there's a funny outtake line, that RNG dice is going to roll and you'll have a 1 in 256 chance of getting the outtake line playing instead.
That's
And
brilliant.
one that I'll tell you about, there's,
Oh.
there's a lot of them, but
Yeah, I can
one that I'll
imagine.
tell you about is whenever you get outside Shinra, you get to the roof of
Yeah.
Shinra building. Rufus is there. Palmer runs away, gets on the helicopter, whatever. And Rufus is like, "So, who am I looking at? Like, what is this group of
Yeah.
people?" Cloud, ex-soldier, first class. Barrett, I'm the head of Avalanche. Tifa, me too. Aerith, I sell flowers in the slums, motherfucker. And it's so good. Everybody's gonna laugh when they hear that line. I'm looking forward to seeing Twitch clips, YouTube videos, people
Oh,
resetting
it's
constantly
such a
to get
weird
these
scene.
outtake
It's a funny
lines.
scene already just because of the list.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's brilliant. I
yeah.
love that idea because I mean, with the videos that I make, I have it quite often where I'll be saying something and it'll just trail off into blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
And
It
it's like I've
happens.
used it once or twice, so yeah, I can imagine that there are some phenomenal outtakes coming.
Oh yeah, like there's one. I'll send you this one when we finish, so you can hear it yourself because you have to hear it. But
Brill.
so there's plenty of other conditionals, a bit more of information about Echo S here as
Yes.
well. With the time system and the weather system being built in, I can actually code events or things to happen based on what time it is in your game or what the weather is. And like most mod devs, I am going to be putting something in that I'm expecting nobody to find ever. For an
Yes.
example, you got to press start L2 in triangle at the same time at 10 past 7 p.m. in calm if it's raining.
You do
You know,
realise that I am going to try and do exactly what you've just said when I
like,
eventually get my hands on it. I'm
it,
keeping
it
this.
it won't be that, but I
Damn.
am going to make something ludicrous. And, we'll just see if in 20 years somebody happens to find it. But I asked our Rufus, I was like, can I get an outtake line from you? And I want it to be, um, because I think Cloud or Barrett says something, Rufus says something to Barrett, and Barrett replies with, the old fool's still warm and you're already doing this. And he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it's such a shame, whatever. Anyway. And I said, all right, I want an outtake line from Rufus where he says, yes, even the sky weeps for my father's death, which I thought was a really good line.
Yeah.
And that line will only play if it's raining when you get out there.
Nice.
I asked for that line and he sent me a 2-minute file. And I was like, why is this file 2 minutes? Even if you did 3 takes of that line, which we usually
It's like
recommend,
30 seconds.
it's like 30 seconds. What the
Yeah.
fuck else did he do? The lines are, and I quote as best as I possibly can, I
Oh, here
could be
we go.
slightly off. Is like, move over, fangirls. I'll step on you when I get to you. And he's like, I am motherfucking Rufus Shinra.
Just goes off on a monologue then, basically.
Yeah, he just goes off on a tangent, and then he starts being like, only available on Sunamods OS, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I need these in the game
Fourth wall
somewhere.
broken.
I don't know how I'm getting them in the game, but I'm gonna do it somehow.
Blooper
My
reel. So when the
idea,
credits roll at the end of the game,
I could.
when the credits roll right at the end of the game, you could even sneak a few in at the end of the demo. Have a little credits reel at the end of the demo and have a few in.
I could do, yeah.
It's a bit short
One
notice. Well, technically, actually, it's not even short notice. The demo's out, so yeah, forget that.
yeah, it's late notice. One idea I do have though, some pointless part of the game that a lot of people actually probably never realized existed. When you're in Shinra Tower again, you're on the
Yeah,
first floor, you haven't gone up the elevator or done anything yet. You go up the stairs, there's a shop.
yep,
You go into the shop. There's two NPCs stood next to the TV. You talk to them, they panic because you're avalanche, they run away. You can talk to the TV and it plays an FMV of a new motor
yep,
car that they've been building. Now, that's technically pointless. Like,
yeah.
it's why is it there? Who cares?
It's just fluff.
Yeah. So I've decided that at some point, this might not be in the demo, I might not have time. Demo releases in a few days
Was
from when we're actually recording this, but yeah,
yeah. We're like 6 days out. So yeah,
stays out. So I might not have time to actually do this. But I want to make hot swappable FMVs. So the more that you talk to that TV
you get
that plays
different.
adverts, you get different ones. The first one, Sephiroth L'Oreal hair commercial.
Yes, yes.
Second one is going to be, I don't know, it could be Genesis just selling the car for
Oh, that's where you get some of your outtakes in as well, like the "I'm Rufus Shinra,
exactly.
motherfucker."
Yeah. Rufus like having his speech to be like, stick with Shinra. I know I'm not my dad, but stick with me, keep
That's
faith. I
such
don't
a
know,
good idea.
whatever.
That is
But the
such a good idea.
Sephiroth L'Oreal commercial actually already exists. We have got that voiced already, and it's
Yes,
great. And then I don't know, we'll have Parma try and sell you cheese, or well, lard would make more
lad.
sense.
Yeah,
You know,
butter.
Scarlet trying to sell high heels or a perfume.
You could have a small up and coming flower seller from the slums.
Yeah, I could have. I could have. There's so much
Oh,
potential. And then I can just have I could even put a Sunamods advert in there. I could do whatever.
yeah, literally, you could just completely shatter the fourth wall just for that screen.
I
Because
could.
it's not something that you need. You have to go out of your way specifically to interact with it, and there's nothing of any use or anything attached to it. Why not have some fun with it?
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of the FMVs as well, I don't know if chances are nobody who's watching this right now has had this thought, but
Yeah.
as soon as I mention it, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's a good point. But day and night system, FMVs, how's that gonna
Ooh.
work? You know, you're
Ooh.
running around at midnight, the pillar gets blown up, you're flying away. Like the FMVs are all daytime.
Yeah.
We have 5 different sets of all the FMVs that have been edited to match the fade of what time of day it is. And
What?
the game's actually better when you play it at night, honestly. It just is for some reason. It gives a much better
That's crazy.
feel. Yeah, like
So how
whenever
have you done that? Have you just because I mean it's a pre-rendered FMV, so all you've got is the FMV itself, haven't
yeah.
you?
So I stuck the FMV
Chroma keying.
into
Uh,
After Effects. Now the way the day and night system.
did you hear
Yeah,
that? Could you hear that?
yeah. It's 11 p.m. Come on.
Manchester.
But the way that the game works with the day and night system is it effectively holds a colored piece of paper in front of the screen that you can see through.
Yeah.
And it uses when you're using Photoshop and you have layers and there's different layer types. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
have like multiply, divide,
Yeah,
whatever
all
you
the
want.
blending options.
Yeah, the blending options,
Yeah.
that's it. So I found the same one that the game uses, which I forget the name of right now, and I just did the same thing. I just stuck a sheet of paper over the top of the FMV, changed the blend, and it worked. But there was a pretty big downside at first, and I'll take the pillar falling as an example. There's a lot
Yeah.
of explosions. You put a purple piece of paper over an explosion, the explosion's purple, it kind of looks shit.
Yeah.
So we went in and we edited everything to really make the pop of any red/orange and yellow colors
Actually stand out.
actually stand out. So the
Yeah.
explosions look so much better in the night movies. And if you combine it with Cosmo Memory, the other mod that adds the ambient sounds,
Yeah.
they also replaced the sound. Every sound effect in the game is replaced, and they're incredible. But he also redid the FMVs. And I took his FMVs because we work in the same team, we all
Yeah.
help each other. So I took his stuff, brought it into EchoS, attached the day and night system to them, and now they're just beautiful.
So are the FMVs upscaled as well and everything like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think they're 3 times upscaled from the original. It's so beautiful, and some of them are voiced too. Yeah, my best one, oh man, I like it's no secret because I've streamed all this stuff anyway.
By the way, the
My
Big Seven episode's done now. We're just talking about EchoS forever, like literally. Because
I
I'm
have
so
no
interested about all this. It's so good.
one of my favorite bits about anything we've done so far, and it came to me the top of my head. Crane, our director,
Yeah.
voiced. He got all the clips from the voice cast, and he took the motorbike scene where you escape from Shinra,
Yeah.
and he voiced it, and he sent it back. And I listened to it, and I was like, "Yeah, this is really good, but it's missing one thing." And he was like, "Okay, what is it?" I was like, "This is ludicrous, and you're gonna laugh, and you're gonna be like, I'm not doing that, but you got to do it." And he was like, "Fine, what is it? You're the boss. I'll do what you want to do." And I was like, "So Barrett's a really big guy, and that truck has 3 wheels, and you drive up a staircase. So I want you to record lines for Barrett where when it goes up the stairs, you go." And he did it, and it's beautiful.
Oh no.
The funniest thing ever. I'm in stitches every time I see it. It's
But this
so
is what I
good.
love though, because like the original game had all of those quirky moments. Like it was serious, but it was also
Yeah.
funny. It had all of those moments, and it sounds like you're absolutely nailing, like not only preserving the funny moments that exist, but adding in your own funny moments in the process. And yeah, I'm up for that. That's yeah,
There's so many things I want to do to it too. Once I get time, like
yeah.
right now, my main focus has been get demo done, and then we can patch it at any point. So just
Well, yeah.
whatever.
These days you can just send an
Yeah,
update patch, bam, done.
that's that's one of the joys. Like it took Crane so long to realize we're not limited by anything because
Yeah,
Crane's entire career up till this point, joining the Suna mods team, was doing fan dubs, putting videos on YouTube.
yeah,
If you mess something up on YouTube or something changes or an actor quits and you get a new one, you can't redo those episodes.
yeah.
Those
They're
episodes
up.
have views, they
Yeah,
have likes. You don't want to take them down. We don't have that problem. If Aerith quit tomorrow and said to me, "No, take me out of that mod. I don't want to be in that mod anymore,"
okay.
I can do that.
Yeah,
I can do that. I can erase her
you'd
from
rather
history.
not, but you
I'd
can.
rather not, but yeah, it's something I can do.
Yeah.
So it took him a while to get used to that. But
Yeah, because it's a
one
very
thing,
permanent thing. Once you put a video out there, it's done. That's it.
yeah,
There's no
yeah,
tweaking
exactly,
it. You can release an
exactly.
apology video, maybe, but that's about
Yeah.
it.
Like I watched the full. There's an FF9 fan dub that
Yeah.
came out, and sure, the first 70 episodes are. I mean, they're great, but they're old, so the quality wasn't amazing. They're amazing for when they came out, but I think like Freya's original voice actress was Irish, like thick Irish, like
Yeah.
potato, that Irish.
I'd like to apologise to no.
I'm Irish. I'm
Yeah, he's
allowed.
allowed. He gets a pass. He gets a pass. I'm not allowed.
I just don't have the accent, unfortunately. But but yeah, then you get later on in the voice change, it takes you ages to get used to it, and we just don't have that problem, which is nice. But once the demo's out and we're able to just start patching things, that's when I start want to like add in some fun things. For example, the one that I've been really wanting to do for ages, when the 3 of you have to press the button at the same time in the second reactor to open the door. Now, currently, you get it wrong. Tifa goes, "Shake it off. We'll try again."
Yeah.
Now, that button's actually really hard to press. In the original game, you could time it because you close the dialog box when you press confirm, and then you count to 2, and then you go bang.
Right. Yeah.
EchoS has automatic text. That box closes itself. You can't count anymore.
Oh
So
no.
you get, yeah, you fail like 20 times. You just get her going, "Shake it off. Let's try again." The same line
Oh
over
no, she
and
has
over.
to start swearing at us.
Yeah. I want to have her get slowly more and more
Yeah.
pissed off as you fail more and more, to the point where she'll probably come round and punch you,
Yes.
And she'll punch you, you'll fall down, she'll be like, "Barrett, go around there, do that one, I've got these two,"
He's out. He's not a part of this anymore.
Yeah, Cloud's useless. And then the airbuster explode, and she'll be like, "Oh, thank God,
Yes.
she's gone."
If you'd pressed the button faster, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. so much potential that we can do with it.
Oh shit! Yeah,
We wanna keep it the original FF7, but we wanna make it our FF7 too.
this is the thing as well. Like from what you were saying earlier, it sounds like you can like toggle a lot of this on and off. So if you want to just go in and have an experience where you've only got certain parts of it on, you can do that. You can personalize it to whatever your preference is, which is
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that. Big fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I'm a weird person. I love the blocky models. Like I just love them. I just see them and it brings joy to my heart. So
Yeah.
I have modded FF7 a bit recently, but I've still never used different models.
No,
So
that's fair enough.
I'm
That's
looking
fair enough.
forward to giving the remake
There's
ones a go.
there's still a mod for the purists of FF7 as
Oh,
well. We managed to create, and this is going to be hard to believe because this game was made in 1997 on a PlayStation 1. We managed to create a real-time lighting engine inside FF7.
what?
Yeah, you can run around, Cloud will have a shadow, and it will actually animate. It's not just a circle that follows you. It
Yeah,
animates Cloud's movements. And because there's light, his model has materials so that his shoulder pad will reflect a bit more light than his jumper would because it's metal, his jumper isn't. And it has actual lighting characteristics and it brings out the models were already 3D, but
yeah.
they look so much more 3D with this real-time lighting. It's
That's
so good. And even in battles, like the arena will give off shadows. Like if there's a lamppost in your arena, it will have a shadow that like goes across, and your characters will have shadows and stuff like that. And I can't wait to fine tweak it a little bit so
yeah.
it works with the day-night system too. Because currently it's
Oh, so
just
you've
there's
got
light
like the
everywhere.
shadows moving as the
Mhm.
oh.
Yeah, yeah. And we've actually been able to implement it into FMVs a little bit too. That doesn't exist in the public yet, but
It's a work in
it
progress.
it's successful. It can be done. The hard part about it, honestly, is we're training an AI ourselves. We
Yeah,
already had to do that once for the upscale. You know,
yeah.
we didn't just run it through. You didn't just download Gigapixel, run it through, and be like, yeah, that looks good, stick it back in.
No.
But Satsuki, the guy that made the upscales, the SYW mod, he physically had to teach this AI what wood was, what concrete was, what metal was, and understand the texture it should have when it upscales.
Well, that is one of the ones that I've used as well, the SYW one, and yeah, it's very
Yeah,
good.
it's insane.
Very
And then he
good.
went through and manually touched up every layer of every screen. There's like 20,000 different PNG images he went through.
My
And we're
God.
currently training an AI now to assume what is behind a character model in an FMV. We're able to remove the models from the FMV. It will redraw the
Fill it in.
background. And
Oh.
then we can animate like the remake models or any other models on top of it in their place.
Yeah, because you still in the FMVs, even though you go in with the remake models in game, when you get to the FMVs, you're still going to have that issue of it being the
Yeah.
represent like the slightly higher def representation of those blocky characters. So yeah. Oh, that's
Exactly. And
insane.
we're using that same system to put real-time lighting in as well.
Oh,
Mhm.
I love it. So yeah, that is Echo S, and it is going to be an experience. Like by now, I will hopefully have already streamed it and be playing it. There's definitely going to be a video coming about it. There's potentially going to be a follow-up to this conversation as well, where we look at the mod and things like that. So yeah,
Mhm.
keep an eye out for much more Echo S because eventually it's going to come out and it's going to be pretty special. It's going to be a completely new way to experience Final Fantasy VII, and
You
the,
won't be able to go back to playing without it.
yeah,
I'm
I
telling you
mean.
now. I ruined FF7.
Oh, I
It's
love
so
that.
quiet without the voice acting now. But what's weird is like obviously I've played it so many times because I've had to beta test and put the lines in
Yeah,
and do all that stuff. When I play it without the voices now, I still hear the voices in my head.
because you, yeah, yeah.
Even in areas that we haven't voiced yet, I know how those lines will sound because I know the characters' voices so well.
Yeah, you've already heard the performances in other areas and things like that.
Yeah,
I love
it's
that.
been really interesting, and
So,
like even with the add-ons and stuff too.
yeah,
Like I mentioned to you before we started recording,
yes,
but they don't know yet the difficulty
yes.
portion that we're going to be
This is good.
implementing at
This
some
is
point.
good.
Obviously, it'll be optional,
Yeah.
but if you find the game too easy and you want to change it up a little bit and you want to still use Echo S, we're going to make a difficulty mod. I don't remember exactly what it was going to be called, but it had a really cool name. It'll come to me later randomly.
Just
Probably
throw it out there
nightmare.
when it does. Just
I don't know. But if
if
you
you remember, I'll
travel,
flash it up on screen.
yeah, yeah.
There we go.
It's probably something along the lines of Nightmare, but it's in my DMs with the guy that's going to be making it.
Yeah.
So, um, if you travel at night, specifically with the day and night system on, then your battles are going to be substantially more difficult, but the rewards will be a lot better. And to pass the time, you can either go AFK and let time pass, or you can sleep at an inn, specifically for no longer than 10 hours, because more than 10 hours sleep is bad for you. So it
Yes.
coded it that way. um,
Wake up all
and
confused and dishevelled.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's going to be very interesting, and it'll also go in with the weather system. So if it's
Yes.
raining, you'll get different enemies that have affinity to water, and maybe their elements have just changed. The dogs could the same calm fangs could appear,
Yeah.
but they're just weak to lightning because they're wet now. But you might also get enemies that aren't in that area originally at all. I'll bring them from different areas of the game
Yeah,
because
they
they're
stray
not
into that
home
area
or
because the element suits them at that moment in time.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. And there's a few other things I'll be bringing in as well. When it comes to the day and night system, I'm coding it so that NPCs go home at night and lock their doors, so you can't raid
Yes.
their houses while they're sleeping. But
Oh.
I think they'll probably go home about 8 p.m. maybe.
Okay.
The bars are going to close at midnight because I think that usually, unless you're a nightclub, your license states you have to close at
Yeah.
midnight. I think.
Yeah, pretty
Uh,
much.
but the shops will close at 6 or 5, 9 to 5, typical job sort of thing. So they'll close. You'll have to go to the inn and sleep to pass time to wake everything
So it's
to
going to add
actually.
a complete new layer of gameplay mechanics to the game then,
Yeah,
where you're going to have to change your play style up to suit that style, the changes that have been made.
yeah, and like scenes could be entirely different based on the time of day and stuff as well. Like when you get to the Mithril Mines, this
Yes.
isn't a thing that exists. I'm just spouting ideas here. You get to the Mithril Mines, you walk in, Root stood there waiting for you.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's nighttime, he's be like, "Fucking finally!" I've been here all day.
Wakes
So
up
I'll let
like,
them
oh
know.
shit.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm also going to. This is way in the future because it's a lot of effort, but
Yeah.
I'm also going to try and code it so that I have different versions of every chibi model in the game. So if it's raining, some will just go home. Maybe some will go home and put a raincoat on, or they'll get an umbrella and come back out.
Right.
Their dialogues will change based on the time of day and the weather. Maybe somebody complains that it never stops raining, or some people are going to be like, "I really like the stars tonight,"
Yeah.
whatever.
Right. Yeah. Just change it up a little bit.
And we can take it so far. Like the possibilities are literally endless.
Yeah.
I spoke to one of our artists way back when. I was like, "How would you feel about taking every town and covering it in snow?" And they were like, "Why would I do that?" I was like, "Well,
It
Christmas
snows.
decorations, snow. The game has a calendar system. Maybe when it's December, all the decorations come up and it's got snow everywhere. Maybe when it's Halloween, I'll have all the kids walking around in Tomberry outfits and the parents are going trick or treating with them. You know,
Yes.
I can
Yes.
do that. Whether I will or not is a different story,
Yeah.
but I can.
It's how much of a time effort it's going to be and what the result's going to be. I suppose it's finding that balance of, am I going to put 4 months of work into this to get a little tiny bit of an improvement?
And they'll be optional as well. So if you
Yeah.
don't want any of that stuff, you just don't use it.
I love the difficulty stuff because, I mean, it, Seven isn't a difficult game in the first place. It's got difficult challenges within it, such as Ruby and Emerald and things like that. But on the whole,
Mhm.
it's quite an easy game to get through, especially once you've played through it once or twice. So
Yeah.
adding those additional difficulty levels, but without it being because there's other mods, there's like the randomizer and things like that, isn't there? That change things
Yeah,
up and
yeah.
new threat that make everything. So it'll be nice to be able to play the base version of the game, but with an increased difficulty and increased
Mhm.
more layers to it, like the night and day cycle. So you can, if you need to find a specific item, you might have to go out hunting at night when it's raining, that
Yeah,
sort
the
of
items,
thing.
the steals, the morphs, everything can be different. It's gonna be
And is
super
that
cool.
something that you're looking at doing, changing up the morphs and things like
Yeah,
that? Because
absolutely.
it can be a bit of a pain just moving into the Gelnica for a few dozen
Yeah,
hours,
yeah,
morphing
exactly.
all those sources. Not that you
Like
need to.
I'm thinking now, something I didn't even consider before, but like Ruby and Emerald weapon at night.
God,
Uh,
shadow versions of those.
yeah, I could do like Dark Aeons,
Oh my God. So, I mean, You're going to add bad things, aren't you? You're going to add bad things.
Probably.
I mean, do you have the scope to do that potentially, to add like an additional super boss in?
If it's not on the world map, I think I can. We don't
So if
currently
it's
have
in an
a
instanced area, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we don't currently have a script editor for the world map, so I can't voice the world map either. So
Eh,
when like Emerald Weapon, or not Emerald, when Diamond Weapon appears, you ram into
yes.
him with the high wind, and Sid's like, "Ah, what the fuck are you doing?" Whatever.
Yeah.
I can't voice it and
That's a
stuff like
shame.
that. I mean, for now at least. I mean, I'm hoping that whenever the demo comes out, it gets traction. More coders are like, "Oh, this is really interesting. I'd love to be a part of this." They help. And we make those features.
That'd be
It could
interesting.
happen.
That'd be
Yeah.
interesting. People modding the mod. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that.
I'm predicting too that some people, if they've got the patience to do so, because you will just be able to take EchoS apart
Yeah.
and you'll be able to go in the files, you could take any of the voice lines out, use them as alerts on your stream, do whatever. But I'm predicting there's going to be people that be like, you know what, I really wish I played Cloud in this mod. And they'll just replace all of Cloud's lines with their own and
Yeah, you would
upload
be
it.
able to do that because yeah, it's just a case of replacing the files.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah. It's so easy to do.
It's
It'd be cool to see.
crazy. It is
Like
absolutely crazy.
I'm definitely predicting at some point our old voice actor for Sid will probably do that for his own little version
Yeah,
when he gets the time
when
in
he's
the
got
thing.
time, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
It could be an optional download patch. Pick which SID you want.
Yeah, I'm totally down to do that. Absolutely.
Oh, that'd be so cool. It is literally mind blowing the amount of stuff that you're doing and changing with the game. Like, it's unimaginable to me. Like randomizers and things like that, they're one thing, but this is it's a completely different level of modding. Like you are essentially rebuilding the game.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If
Uh,
you use everything from our team combined,
Yeah,
there's practically nothing vanilla left. You're still playing the vanilla game,
it's
like it
just the
is the
code. Yeah,
game.
yeah. The vanilla code's there telling it what to do at what point and things like that. I'm guessing for the most
Yeah.
part, but
Yeah,
beyond
the
that,
translation's different, the graphics are different, there's upscaled everything, the movies are different, the models are, just everything is different. But it's the same game,
that's madness.
it's like a re-release. It's like we went from PS1 to PS3,
Yeah.
basically. If you're using the right mods, of course.
Oh, it's yes. As you can
It's
tell, I'm a little bit hyped for this, and yeah, I think everyone should be. See, the tough thing is, it's people. It's because it's PC only. Like, not everyone will play it on a PC. Like, even myself, even though I've had PCs up until a year or so ago, I had not played Final Fantasy VII on PC, and hopefully
yeah,
this encourages more people to do that.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, it goes on sale on Steam like all the time.
Even when
It's
it's not, what is it? Is it like £9.99 in pounds? I
yeah, it's
think.
about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really. Mm.
For what you get, for the game that you get, and especially what you get with the modding community and the work that you and the guys have been doing.
I'm
Sorry, go.
hoping at some point. I mean, I'm not expecting it to happen. It'd be cool if it did.
Yeah,
But whenever EchoS is eventually finished, and let's assume that sales for FF7 Steam go through the roof because everyone's like, I'm hearing about this EchoS mod, I want to play it. I want
send
to get
them
an
an
email from
email.
Square being like, so
Yes.
we've made a lot of money from you. Here's a bit of it.
Yeah, they ain't gonna do that, sadly. They should, but they won't, unfortunately. In an ideal world.
Maybe
Although you never know because they do watch. Like, they do
yeah,
watch. And I'm gonna guess they're probably watching what you're doing with a little bit of interest because, I mean, let's be fair, they're probably gonna want to make sure that you aren't stealing the stuff and things like that. But at the same time, if they're watching it for that reason, they're gonna see what it is and
mhm,
appreciate what it is, hopefully. And you
yeah,
never know. You could find yourself in a really positive situation with Square Enix, like whenever the mod
totally,
drops.
totally. Like I know, I mean, they'll be aware if they're watching, if they're keeping an eye on me now already. They'll know that we plan to do EchoS 8,
Yeah,
which we haven't started yet. We've got the cast, but we haven't started yet. We have
yeah,
to go
you're
through
very
the
much in the
entire script.
storyboarding kind of phase where you're
Yeah,
setting everything up.
we've got to do the same thing as we did for Seven. We've got to go through the script, make it human sounding, speakable, all that stuff, and find any translation errors, what have yous. Which is going to take a while.
Yeah.
Um, we're going to have a separate team sort of work on 8 at the same time.
Oh, I think I've lost you.
I'll type to you.
Hey, no, there you go. You're back. You're back. You're back. You're back.
Oh, okay, there we go.
There we go.
I
That
could
was
still see it.
crazy. You just kind of went. Square Enix are listening. They heard you talking about Echo 8 and they just nailed it.
done.
Oh, he's taking
I
the
was never
piss
seen
now. He's
again.
taking the piss.
Camera comes back on. I'm not here anymore, and I'm never seen ever again.
Nomura's just there like nothing has happened here.
Yeah. But yeah, like I'd love, they see the sales go up and they're
Yeah.
like, all right, I want you to do 7. And let's say we haven't found a way to do 9 at that point. They're like, we want you to do 9. Like, what's stopping you doing 9? And we're like, well, it's not possible yet. We haven't found a way to do it. They're like, all right, we're on it. And then they move to their other games like Chrono Trigger. I think that's a Square
Oh,
game, right?
and that game needs. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of torn. It needs a remake to bring it into the modern age, so more people experience that story. But at the same time, I'm scared.
So many people have said to us, like, once you've done with like Final Fantasy, you gotta do Chrono Trigger, you gotta do Legend of Dragoon, you gotta do all
Oh
these
my
other ones.
god,
We're like, if we can,
Chrono Trigger would be crazy.
but if it's not a PC game, we can't do
Can
it
yeah.
because disk space. Uh, and we'd
Uh,
technically be selling the game if we did that too.
well, yeah, this is it because it wouldn't be a mod. It'd be a re. It'd be like a. It would be similar to like the repro cartridges that you used to get back in the day, where you kind of go in there and mess about with the code. So yeah.
Yeah. There was only one mod ever for FF7 that got a cease and desist, and that was on emulated ISOs. They couldn't they couldn't release it because if they released it, you were getting the entire game for free,
Yeah.
and they got a C and D. But it was such a good looking mod too. Like I got so much inspiration from that mod.
Yeah.
They were the first ones ever to make a day and night system. And I was like, I couldn't get into it to work out their code and sort of
But
get ideas
just
of how it
seeing it,
worked.
yeah.
But yeah, just seeing it, I was like, I need to do this. I need that feature. It's just dumb.
Just wrapping up on oh.
The
Wrapping up
outtake
on yeah, wrapping up on Echo S for a minute. I mean, I think we've covered a lot of the features. Are there any other features in there that you
there.
might have missed? I mean, we did the weather, we did the night and day, we did the
No,
voice acting, the ambient audio.
I mean, as you play through it, you'll come across a couple of cameos that I don't think I've mentioned since we've hit record.
Oh,
Um,
yes,
I'm I'm
yes.
in the game. You'll find me pretty early on. I'll
Okay.
just straight tell you that I'm in the
Hey, it's
training
me.
room. Yeah,
The
I'm in the training room in Sector 7. I'm the one that gives you the alt materia now.
beginner's room, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Initially, I just didn't want to do that room because there was so much dialogue in there, and I was like,
It's
I
heavy. Yeah,
yeah.
it's real heavy.
But then I came to the conclusion of there was no point doing that room anyway because that room teaches you how to play the game, and if you're playing FF7, you know how to play the
Yeah,
game.
if you've reached the point where you're playing a complete modded overhaul of Final Fantasy
Yeah,
VII, you've
yeah,
probably played Final Fantasy VII.
yeah. You don't need to know how limit breaks work and how to
Yeah.
use magic and all that crap. You just don't need it. So I got rid of every NPC there, and I'm stood in there as my own chibi model that I designed myself.
Yes.
And I teach you about Echo S instead, which I thought was quite fitting for it.
Right, so
So
you kind of introduce all of the features that are in Echo S, so like
yeah,
the night and day cycle, the time. Right, oh, that's nice that, because the room still fits its original purpose.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then some of the, I think 2 of the team members have cameos in as well. There will be
Nice.
more as we go along. I
Yeah,
just don't want to fill Midgar with cameos and
I've nothing left for the
too
rest of the
much.
world. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. There's going to be a few YouTubers and people that help me out a
yeah,
lot. Like Blitz has helped me out a ton.
yeah.
Always, like anytime I've been on a live stream somewhere else, he's tweeted out. He's like, "Yeah, everybody, like get over there."
Go
When
there.
he's
Yes.
going to stream it. Great guy, helped me out a bunch. So he has a cameo.
Nice.
I think Soldier First Class and Night Sky Prince might get one eventually. We'll see what happens,
Nice.
really.
See where they fit in. See where they fit in.
Yeah, and I mean, if Maximilian dude plays Echo S in front of his 3K plus audience
Well,
and messages me at any point being like, you know what, I want to be a character in yeah, yeah,
yes,
do
immediately, yes.
it. Absolutely.
Work him into the Gold Saucer or Costa del Sol. I kind of feel like they'd be Max Dude locations.
Yeah. And me in particular, I'm going to be a recurring NPC, kind of like Johnny kind of is in FF7
Well, like we said, a whacker in
yeah.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep appearing, and I don't know what I'm gonna say yet, but
It'll be something
maybe
insightful, I'm sure.
like I'm gonna be hiding secrets throughout the game too that you can go and get.
Yes.
Maybe my character will like my dialogue will probably change depending on how many of those secrets you've picked up, you know.
Ooh.
In fact, I released a demo years back, actually, because I've been working on EchoS for a long,
Yeah.
long time. But I think it was like 2017 when I started.
Oof.
But the reason that we're still here in 2021 and we're still only putting out a Midgar demo is because, like, the code changed. Like, the method in which we coded it changed a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
The reunion script kept updating, and he kept saying, yeah, we've changed entire scenes. Voice actors would quit or they'd decide they weren't interested anymore.
Yeah.
And it was only just shy of a year now when I met Crane, who is an actual director, and he decided he was gonna. Well, I invited him to join the team. We recast everyone. We started again.
Yeah, brought everything together.
Yeah. So when people ask me how long has EchoS been going on for, technically about 2017, but realistically,
About a year.
it started about a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Um, I don't remember where I was going with that.
The joys of the Big Seven. This
Yeah.
is what
Yeah.
we do.
I know I was talking about secrets and finding secrets and me being a recurring character, but I don't remember how I got onto that topic.
It was yeah. You were talking about your dialogue changing potentially depending on the secrets that you know, and then yeah, we just shifted. I
Oh,
think.
right. That was it. So yeah, years and years ago,
All
before I
right.
met Crane, I released
The
a demo
demo.
that went up
Yes.
to Airbuster. Loads of people played it, loads of people enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Looking back at it now, it was
Compared to what
awful
you've got now. Yeah.
compared to what we've got now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I created a system in that demo that I named the UTS, which stood for Unlock Tracking System.
Okay.
And it was kind of like a tablet that Cloud had that he could access at save points. And I transformed one of the debug rooms into my own debug room.
Yeah.
And it would track your quests. So you could go around, depending on how far through the game you were, you would randomly pick up quests without even noticing. You would open your UTS and it'd be like, yeah, you picked up a quest at some point. Here is what you've got to do. And there was also NPCs that would ask you to do things.
Yeah.
Like, for example, one of the NPCs in Sector 7 would say, the train graveyard's getting really dangerous. Can you go over there and kill 10 enemies for me? You would kill 10 enemies, you'd come back, you'd complete that quest.
So it's kind of like a journal then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what it tied into was my Tetra project mod, where I replaced the 3D models with the remake models. Back then, they weren't the remake models because they didn't exist, but I
Yeah.
did have much higher quality 3D
Yeah, I think
models.
I've seen the ones from previously. Yeah.
Yeah, they were from like Dissidia, NT,
Yeah.
Mobius, Final Fantasy, and just other places that I could find them. And if you used that mod in conjunction with EchoS, you could unlock Cloud's Advent Children outfit to wear permanently. And you
Ooh,
could swap between the two at any time. That is something I still plan to do.
nice.
I want to have, like, the more secrets you manage to pick up, you'll unlock new outfits. And it'll work with the vanilla game too. So let's say Sailor Barrett. You want to stay Sailor
Come
Barrett for the
on.
entire game?
Yes.
And
Oh, you're
Cloud in
promising
his
me too
war
much now, Suna. You're promising me too. You're making me dream.
let's say Cloud in his War Market dress. Stay as Cloud in the War Market dress the entire game. It's there are actually,
Yes.
when you think about it, there are so many outfits in FF7. They all have Shinra Soldier outfits
Is
for the
Red
most part.
13 is Red 13 in a Shinra outfit going to be
Yeah,
a
Red 13
possibility? Oh,
Shinra
yes.
could do it. Yeah,
Yes.
Vincent in his Turk outfit. You have the War
Yes.
Market dresses for the date, like the. But yeah, you could have them in the War Market dresses for the
That's
date scene.
amazing though, because it could be like a little achievement system in game.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly. Oh,
And it's totally optional too. So I'm not pissing anybody off by putting it in.
yeah. You don't have to use it.
Yeah, exactly. And then Barrett has his past. His past is a little different model. Like he's got a hand, like two hands, and
Yeah.
he's
Yeah. He wears a
Japanese.
slightly different outfit as well. I think, don't he?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of minor. Like
Yeah.
even Sid's flashback model is exactly the same, but he doesn't wear goggles.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
They
but yeah,
proper
I
pushed.
can.
They pushed the boat out on those variations, didn't they?
Yeah, but I can definitely like even with the chibi models, like you wouldn't have to use my Cetra project in order to do it. You might at first,
Yeah.
because those models already exist. But I can make chibi models of like the Advent Children outfits and other different things. Remake outfits are slightly different to the vanilla ones in the game, so I can
Yeah.
make remake variations and
Oh, there's a lot of possibility there for things that you could just sneak in there, just little
yeah.
fun tweaks.
Like I
It
can totally imagine fighting shirtless Sephiroth at the end of the game dressed as a woman. It'd be hilarious. The FMVs won't match
It
ever.
reminds
I'm
me of
not going to that extent,
It
but
reminds me of games from the 90s, though, where there was all the different modes, like Big Head mode and Mini. You know
yeah,
what I mean? You could unlock all these things, and you don't see it in games anymore, really. Or at least nowhere near as much as you used to.
yeah,
Nowhere near. So, yeah, that's.
but
Oh,
it's all about adding that replayability. I've got to give you guys a reason to play it more than once.
yeah.
Outside of, I hate Cait Sith. I'm not using Cait Sith. Cait Sith's voice actor is really good. I'm gonna play it a second time and keep Cait Sith in my party
Yes.
forever.
I will use Cait
But
Sith now.
get all the secrets, unlock all the outfits. Like I've considered plenty of different things. Like say in the future I release a merch store or something. Maybe in the game when you unlock achievements, a text box will pop up with a code. If you enter that in my merch store, you get 30% off or something. The incentive,
Oh, I like it. I like it. I like it.
So much incentive. I can do anything with it. So.
Literally, the scope of it just sounds insane. Like
Yeah.
what you are capable of doing with the game. Is it
Mm-hmm.
like Remake was unimaginable to me to a certain degree because it was like I can't believe we're actually getting this game from 20 odd years ago again.
Yeah.
This is even more unimaginable to me because you are actually taking that game from 20 years ago and bringing it forwards. Like modding just blows my mind in a lot of ways, but like with 7 it has that additional layer of difficulty because the whole world isn't 3D rendered. So it's not just a case of going in and updating the models for you. You have to go in and
Yeah.
use bloody AI upscaling to upscale all the images and everything like that because it was
Yeah, exactly.
all pre-rendered backgrounds. So
Mm-hmm.
oh, just the scale of it is just insane.
Yeah. At this point, outside of the world map stuff, I don't think there's anything we can't really do. Like, eventually, I plan to add a lot more to the story.
Yeah.
Like, not stuff that I've come up with off the top of my head,
Yeah, not
but
headcanon.
yeah, I'd like to make post-game content. Like, you
Mm.
beat Sephiroth, you get out of the crater, and we'll do the audiobook or the On the Way to a Smile books. I'll code them all. I'll make them playable. How
Because you've got the
fucking cool is
world,
that?
you've got the locations, you've got the
Yeah,
characters.
they all already exist. I can totally do it, and we can voice act it all too. We'll call it a DLC, but it's free.
Call it Ever Crisis. No, no. Then you will get in trouble.
Yeah.
But no, that is a possibility for you.
Yeah. Like I think I will actually make I'll code it so there is a post game,
Yeah,
but in such a way where you can't go do anything. But let's assume you didn't go get Leviathan from Yuffie's quest. You didn't
yeah.
get the dragon scale, whatever. You
Maybe
beat
Ruby
Sephiroth, you
Weapon's
get
still
out.
alive.
Yeah. You can just keep playing from the same save file.
That's nice because yeah, once you've gone into the finale, that's it. You can't go back and do anything. So yeah.
Yeah.
And if
Change
you
your
go
body.
into the Sephiroth finale at the point where you've been able to beat Emerald and Ruby Weapon, you are literally just walking in and giving Sephiroth a dry slap, and he's falling over dead
Yeah. Yeah,
because you are just
exactly.
overpowered at that point.
hmm Like, I think, honestly, the bit I would enjoy the most if I was to recreate the On the Way to a Smiles as playable content,
Yeah,
Yuffie's story in Wutai, because you learn that the geostigma came from people being touched by the live stream when it
yep,
came out to save them from Meteor. Wutai got destroyed
yep,
when the live stream came out, so I can edit the world map model a little bit, and I can sort of degrade Wutai,
yeah,
and then I can change the actual field screens to have like the buildings be broken. I can change the walk mesh so you can't go in the buildings. People are going to be complaining. They've got the makeshift hospital. There's
yeah,
Yuri, Yuffie's friend. They'll go and explore that materia cave, which actually exists in the game because it
yeah.
has like I don't remember what materia is in there, but it's there. It exists.
I can't
I
think
can make an
myself.
entire I can make an entire thing in there. Yeah, it'd be really cool. I don't know where Healing Lodge would be in FF7 original.
So I
I don't know where.
think it'd be kind of south and west of Midgar. So you know, like where you've got that little you've got the mountain range that kind of stops you going that way to Junon. I think it'd be somewhere around there, but that's just a guess. I actually know that FFTV did a video on it just recently,
Oh yeah.
so there might be an answer in there for you. I've not watched it
Okay.
myself, but my assumption is from reading On the Way to a Smile that it is kind of just in the southwest. I might be wrong.
Right.
I could easily be wrong on that one.
Yeah, like there's so much I could do. Like Barrett going on his journey.
Well, yeah, this is it.
So
You've got that whole story with him and Sid and Shearer, like going and finding oil, basically. You
yeah.
could work that in. Oh.
And technically, it'd be difficult. I'm not saying this is something I'm gonna do,
Yeah,
but technically, I could build Edge, like the town that they live in Advent Children, because you get to actually walk around and experience Edge in Dirge of Cerberus.
yeah.
So I could. There's probably a way that you can cheat Dirge of Cerberus to allow you to fly, go in spectator mode and look around,
Yeah, there's
or I could
definitely
just
got to
rip
be
the
a way.
town. You know,
Well, this is it. I'm sure you could just rip it out of the game and just load
yeah,
into it.
yeah. Get an idea of how it looks, get an artist, draw it up in FF7 field screen manner, and hot swap it in, and we have Edge. Return into Midgar after post Meteor, and we have Edge. You know,
This is
it'd be really
insane.
cool.
Like, seriously, this is insane. Like, I already thought it was like, this is crazy. This is before we even started chatting. I was like, yo, this is crazy. What are they doing? This is insane. And now I'm just like, what?
Yeah, I think if I was gonna do that, I know where I would stop,
Yeah,
and that being um, when you do Red 13's book, Case of Nanaki.
yeah,
He meets Vincent at one point, and they start discussing that. You know, he had I can't remember the name of it. The little tumor type thing that Nanaki has, Gilligan. He named it Gilligan.
yeah,
And what it was the thought he would get scared, he would get terrified, he'd start shivering in fear, and he would start to see the faces of his friends,
yeah.
and he came to the realization that he was terrified that his lifespan is so much longer than all his friends, and he's gonna one day be lonely. All humans will go extinct, whatever. He's gonna be on his own. And then he met Vincent, and Vincent sort of made him feel a bit better, and he was like, I don't age. I'm immortal. I
I'm with you,
literally
bro.
cannot die.
Yeah,
And the two of them planned that once a year they would meet in Midgar.
yeah.
And Nanaki says, why only once a year? Why not more than that? And Vincent says, because I think you're kind of annoying. And they laugh at each other. And that's canon. That's in the book.
Yeah.
Which is great. I think that's where I would kind of end it.
Yeah,
They
because
would
it
meet
is
in
like a nice
Midgar.
conclusion because it kind of hints towards what we know is the canon end of the
Yeah,
timeline at the
yeah.
current state, which is Nanakai on his own. Well,
Hmm.
sort of on his own, but humanity seems to be gone.
I
So
think what I would do, I'd have them, in Advent Children where Cloud sticks to the Buster Sword and it's all like mossed over and stuff on
yeah,
that cliff looking over Midgar.
make that the
I'd have
point.
I'd have Vincent and Anaki sat there talking about it, and they would go over their memories of the game,
Yeah,
and then maybe it pops up New Game Plus, and you could just play over the memories again. No, that'd be really cool. That'd be a great ending spot right there.
that would be pretty good.
Mm.
Oh well, we've got this. Is it? It's all planned out now. Oh my goodness, that is
And
insane.
I know to a degree most of that is achievable if I can put the time into it.
Yeah, this is it. It's time reliant, isn't it? It's whether or not you're going to be able to, and not only you, but the team as well,
Yeah,
getting the time in. But it is just
just
insane
so.
to me that it's possible. Like, genuinely insane to me.
Mhm. Like my mind never stops coming up with ideas ever. It's insane. But I love it. I love it.
And when
I
you
can't
finished, when
wait.
you finished with all this, you have to make your own game. Give it a crack.
We've been talking about it,
This is why
actually.
not? So we are back from a brief intermission. Sneaking the name of the DLC in there. But yeah, that's everything about EchoS that you're going to need to know at this point in time. The only way to know more about EchoS and all the secrets that are in it, go and play it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's
Play it,
because
feel it for yourself.
yeah, this is it. When you're watching it now, the demo will be available. The link is in the description. If you own Final Fantasy VII on the PC, why not?
Hmm. Hmm.
Why not? Have some fun. Check it
If
out.
playing it isn't enough, because obviously it's a demo, it does end at some point or another.
Yes.
Like, you can keep up with it just by finding me anywhere.
Yeah, this is it. All the links are there. They're on screen. They're in the description. You can keep track of everything and like the progress with the EchoS mod and where it's all going. Because I mean, you're pretty active. Your Discord's probably the best place to get all the information. I'm guessing.
Yeah, Discord for general updates, but
Yeah.
if you want to watch me create it live, then Twitch.
Yes.
Mm.
Absolutely love that. You're actually making it on stream and people are watching.
Yeah,
It's
I like it
brilliant.
that way anyway. It's like things can take hours, an hour, like so long. Like my
Yeah.
last stream that I did, we were working on the flashback a little bit,
Yeah.
and it was funny because it was the very last scene of the flashback where Cloud and Sephiroth's on the pipe looking down,
Yeah.
Cloud's looking up at him, he's got his sword out, and he screams Sephiroth, and then the camera goes all like it flashes white between the two of them
Yeah.
and causes seizures. And funnily
Yes.
enough, our voice acting for that scene was too good for the game. Because, Crane voicing Cloud, he screamed Sephiroth, he was in anger, he was in sorrow, he had all these emotions. And then Cloud just stands there like this and does absolutely nothing. And Sephiroth just looks back at him and it flicks between the two. And then he's like, well, that's where my story ended. We were like, nah, that wasn't good
Yeah.
enough. So I recreated that scene entirely so that he screams Sephiroth, he runs up the pipe, leaps into the air with his sword, screams at Sephiroth, and then it goes black. And he's like,
Yes.
that's where my story ends. And he says, I don't remember anymore. And it's so much more impactful.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to think our voice acting was too good for the game. And I needed to do that.
But this
And
is it.
it took me like 6 hours. Chat
Yeah.
was watching for 6 hours, watching me fail over and over again, and they kept giving me different ideas. And if I was to do that in my own time with a YouTube video on that monitor and coding it on this one, I'd have done it for 45 minutes, got bored, and watched anime. But if I'm streaming it, I've got my chat there. They're talking to me. They're influencing me. They're
Yes.
like, "Keep going. You're doing a great job." And I end up getting more work done because
Yeah.
people are actually there to support.
Yeah, because you feed off that energy as well, don't you? Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
exactly.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. So yeah, Twitch, Discord, Twitter, make sure that you're hitting all of them up just to keep up to date on when EchoS is going to drop. I mean, do you have a speculative timeline, or is that just something you're not even entertaining?
Not exactly,
Yeah,
if I'm honest. I
yeah,
would like it done by February if I can. I know that, earlier I said it took us a year to do Midgar effectively,
yeah,
but believe it or not, Midgar is like maybe 50% of the dialogue in the game.
yeah.
It's crazy how big Midgar is. But at the same time, as of this week, actually, I think it was like 4 days ago, we had our first team meeting with a new system that we're implementing.
Okay.
Because previously, Crane edited all the lines and sent the map files to me, and I put them in the game.
Yeah.
And it's pretty slow going because Crane is not, he has a job to go to, and
Yes.
he doesn't always want to stream work content, so he streams his own content. So there wasn't that much work getting done all the time as expected. So we brought somebody else in, the voice of Vincent, who is Farron, and he's now a team leader, and he assigned 5 different teams, or 4 different teams, and every team has an audio editor of their own and a line
Right.
injector slash coder of their own. So by rights, the game should get done 3 times faster
Yeah, because
than it
everything's
was.
streamlined now. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're looking for we all have different areas in the game too. So like Farron and Strife, for example, they're doing Costa del Sol, they're doing the boat, they're doing Gongaga and some other places, and then another team is doing Icicle Inn and the Gaia Cliffs and wherever
Right.
else, and we're split the workload up between us to find all the NPCs, put the lines in, and do all that stuff. So it'd be much faster for us,
Oh, I love
which I'm
it.
excited for.
So you
If
should
I could get
be,
it done by February, I'd be over the
at the
moon.
very least, you're going to beat Remake Part 2.
Oh, God, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
you'll be beating
Definitely.
them, definitely. Love that.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Now,
Yeah.
one of the things that we spoke about quite a bit then was the music in Final
Mhm.
Fantasy VII and the work that you've done with the music for EchoS. So I'm going
Yeah.
to guess that you've got quite an intimate knowledge of a lot of the music. Is there a track that stands out to you the most that's your favourite, or have you is it all just become a bit of an amorphous
Do.
blur at the minute?
I do actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Here we go.
So I don't necessarily have like loads of knowledge with music. I have a team, so I have people that do things for
Yeah,
me
not the
in a sense.
technical side of it. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't understand music and its
yeah.
scripture in any way, but the song that stands out to me the most is the one that plays when you're in the City of the Ancients. The do 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 do.
Oh, what's it called now?
Couldn't I
Oh,
couldn't tell you why, but I just love that song. I I don't know. It's easily
it's
my
got
favorite song.
it's got a really it's weird as well. It fits where you are at that point really
Yeah,
well because it's
it's
got that
so
eerie
mystical.
ambience. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely
I
got that
I
going
love
on.
it. It's a shame it doesn't play anywhere else. It wouldn't fit anywhere else, but it's a shame it doesn't play anywhere else. And
Which
the
track
same with FF9, funnily enough. My
is
3
it? That
favorite
one?
songs in FF9 only play like twice.
I think it's "Listen to the Cries of the Planet," but I could be
Yeah,
wrong
yeah,
on that one. Yeah, I think
I
it's
think
that
that's
one.
the one. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, weirdly enough, like it's a shame that that's the only place in the game where that plays because I really like that song.
yeah,
And
it
as I
is.
said, It's the same with like my music taste for FF9. I've got three favorite songs in FF9.
Yeah,
One is, I'm pretty sure everybody agreed, like "You're Not Alone." It's like one of the best songs in the game.
yeah.
Plays once. It plays once, and it's not fair. And you can spam through that scene, and it lasts
Oh.
about 2 minutes. You know. My other favorite one, which I think a lot of people just skim over. I have to specifically tell you the scene here, otherwise you won't know what I'm
Go
talking
on.
about. But you know when you go into Ibsen's castle,
Yeah,
the upside down
the
place,
upside
you
down
do all
one.
that
Yeah,
stuff. Yep. You beat the boss. You're going to leave. Armorant's not there, so you go back in. You get Armorant. You come back out,
yeah,
and then Zidane starts telling you about the mirrors. The theme that plays right there. It's the main theme of FF9, the one that plays when you're on the new game screen.
yeah.
But it's all like Celtic, and it's really really cool sounding.
Ooh.
It plays for about 2 minutes, and then you never hear it again, and it sucks.
They do that a lot though, don't they? They like switch up a track that's already in there and kind of.
Yeah,
I think the
yeah,
first example that I can think of him doing it was in Final Fantasy VI with Locke and Celes's theme. They
right.
kind
I
of
haven't actually played
mingle.
six,
Well,
but
they
yeah.
mingle those two themes. They kind of become like love interest by the end of the
Mhm.
game, and they kind of symbolize that by merging their two themes into one. And
Right,
it's a
right.
really cool thing. But yeah, it's something that they do a lot, and you literally
Mhm.
get to hear them for a minute, 2 minutes tops, and then it's gone forever.
Yeah,
It's like
I think it was
Sid's.
one of the
Do you know the more acoustic version of Sid's theme?
yes.
That one, I love that. That is possibly
Yeah,
my
that
favorite
is
bit of music in Seven. But it
mhm.
plays for what, a minute?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. It
bastards.
sucks. But I think something they did really well with FF9's music is that like I think maybe 8 or 9 of the tracks are the exact same song,
Yeah,
but in different styles. And like I don't know, I love that for some reason.
yeah.
It just you notice it, and then you're like, oh, that's really cool.
It kind of
And
connects
then
the world in a lot of ways as well, doesn't it? It kind of brings everything together without
it does.
kind of shoving it in your face because you've got that
Yeah.
familiar feel from the music.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, I definitely like the Planet Cries song.
yes,
It's really good.
yeah, it's a
I
nice one.
think a lot of the others, to me, they feel quite standard. Granted, it could just be because I've played the game 1,000 times, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I like the mystical, questiony effect on that song. And then Sid's like acoustic theme is really powerful because it is signifying that something really important
yeah,
is happening, something really emotional. It's like with Aerith's theme only really plays when something really good's happening.
yeah,
But what's weird about it too, even though the song doesn't change, the best time Aerith's theme plays for me is during in Aerith's house when you tell the mom
when you
that she
go
got
back to
kidnapped.
Elmira, yeah,
The content you're watching while listening to it helps the song be more impactful.
yes,
Like it's gonna hurt as well when you get to fighting Jenova right after she's died. That's gonna hurt. I haven't heard our version play
yeah.
whilst doing that yet. I could well change for that to be a really good one for me.
It's the way, like in
But
the original game, it just kind of there's nothing else. It's just that playing throughout the entire
yeah,
battle, and it really hits. Like it
hmm
absolutely hits. You can hear the
I think
sound effects. It's almost like the sound effects got bumped up a notch volume wise just for that fight. So they
yeah,
cut through everything. It's just
yeah.
weird, weird.
I think that it hits so hard there because I believe it's the only time that a non-battle song plays in a battle, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken. Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Maybe the Yuffie fight. Where you first find Yuffie when you meet her, and you have to. I'm
Actually,
not sure if the battle music plays then
yeah,
or
it
not.
definitely isn't the normal battle music, but I don't think it's Yuffie's theme
Yeah,
either.
it's possibly like just a variant on the battle music, possibly. I'm not 100% on that one. In a while.
Maybe. Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Mhm.
no, I can't remember. I'm not sure.
The
But yeah,
music, like
it's
the
at the
chance
very
music could
least.
even play,
y-
maybe in that fight.
It's at the very least one of the only times that a non-battle theme plays that. I can't honestly think of any other. Maybe I mean there's the Sephiroth fight at the end, but that doesn't count. The
Yeah,
very, very, very last one in.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's no music in it at all.
yeah, that one doesn't count. Yeah, I think literally the only other time might be a slight difference in the music when you meet Yuffie for the first time.
Mhm.
But then again, I might be remembering that wrong, and that might just be in the cutscene afterwards. Because
It is. I
you
mean,
get the do do
there is a
do
song in
do
the
do
cutscene.
do 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 do.
Yeah.
You get that
I
one,
don't
don't
think
you?
that song plays in the fight
No.
though.
Yeah, it probably is the battle music. So yeah, it potentially is the only time that something that isn't a battle music plays.
Yeah. And that just makes it so much more powerful. Like that
Yeah.
was something that New Threat did that I thought was really good. They
Yeah.
allowed the option to have field music in your battles, which
Ooh,
I really liked.
that's nice. So you could just flick that on and it would just play the normal music for the area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
We were looking into utilizing that as well as our timed music and the danger value in the game
Yeah.
to do kind of what the remake did, where we had two versions of the same song
And when you reach a
playing at the
certain
same time.
stage, yeah.
Whenever you get into a fight, it would hype up
Yes.
and then go back down. But the game only lets you play one track at a time. If we could have the two playing simultaneously and then turn the volume of one off when you get into a fight and the other
Yeah.
one up, and it would swap seamlessly because they were made identically, but with different hype levels.
But it's
You
only
can't
got
do
the
it.
one. Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, sound effects have 4 channels, but music only has one.
I mean, I
It's not
suppose
fair.
it's all they needed, so they probably thought, yes, we'll save that.
Yeah,
We
it's
will save that
unfortunate.
energy.
Yeah, but we did change up some stuff with the music.
Yeah.
For example, the Gold Saucer theme. We have a different variation of the Gold Saucer theme for every different square that you're in. So Chocobo Square, Event Square, Battle Square, etc.
Yeah, see, that makes sense as well because, like in the original, it's just the same music on a loop all the way around, and while it is good, it does get a bit
Mm-hmm.
after a
Yeah,
while. I think
yeah, for sure.
I think the only one that was different was the hotel, the ghost hotel on it.
Yeah,
I
that one
think
was
I
different.
think that was different, and that's it. Everything else is just exactly the same.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
maybe Chocobo. If you go into
oh
the
yeah,
room
yeah. When you go in
specifically.
there,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do with Joe in Echo SA? Is he could up
We
his
have
chocobo speed?
no, we're not going to touch his AI, but his voices was interesting. We kind of went very Irvine-esque with him,
Yeah,
actually.
makes
Not so
sense.
much. We haven't gone like very southern with him. He's got a bit of
A
it,
bit of a twang,
but
yeah,
the personality we put behind him, like,
yeah.
"Hey there, Esther, what are you doing later?" kind of guy.
Now that you say it
Yeah,
like that, it is very much Irvine.
yeah, I thought it was a good reference. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's brilliant. Right, so we're getting into the last two questions now, and these are going to be remake. So the
Hmm.
first thing is, like, we went over where you were at with remake and what your thoughts are on it. Like, some positivity, some negativity, a little bit of both to a certain
Yeah.
degree. What is it that you're hoping from the rest of remake now going forwards? So, like, what do they need to do to keep you
Right. Right.
interested and happy and that sort of thing? Or alternatively, what could they do to absolutely shit the bed and ruin it for you?
Honestly, I mean, I mentioned before, I hope they change a lot.
Yes.
I don't want them to change FF7, but I want them to tell the story in a different way, kind
Yes.
of thing. I want them to add stuff because I have plans for things that I want to add in Echo S. For example, the Temple of the Ancients, as we know, the Turks went in there before we did.
Yep.
I want to see that. Yeah, and I in Echo S I have total plan to play as the Turks, go in and do all that stuff, and then flash back out, play as Cloud again. Like you'll actually play as the Turks, and you'll get into fights as the Turks. The Final Mix Plus mod did that, and I have permission from the owner to sort of nab ideas from that.
Integrate that. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see them expand on that stuff. I want to know what the hell Rufus was doing the whole time we were traveling the world because we don't see
Yes.
him all that often. Like he gets onto that helicopter when you get off of the boat at Junon. He gets onto that
Gone.
helicopter. You don't see him for ages. You get to the northern the
Yeah.
cave, and then you see him again. But it's like, what
Yeah,
were
it
you
is
doing all
literally
this
the North
time?
Crater, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, what were you doing all this time? What were the plans? I want to see them move the sister ray from Junon to Midgar.
Yeah.
I want to see how much hassle that was. How many people died because it dropped on them.
Well, yeah, because we get a lot of that in on the way to a smile as well. We get details of what went down in Midgar with the Sister Ray and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, exactly. I do want to see the whole, like, after Diamond Weapon attacks and Rufus surviving. I want to see all of that. Um, I want Yuffie's story a little
Yes.
bit more. Like going to Wutai, her actually like confronting her dad and all that stuff. I think that scene could be quite heavy, when as in the
Yes.
original it was quite basic. I would like to see a
Yeah.
war between Wutai and Midgar. I
Yes.
think that's necessary because they
Yeah.
are they're bigging it up.
Yeah.
There's a lot in the
Yeah,
remake.
because in the original game, it was pretty much dead. Avalanche was just Barrett.
Yeah, yeah,
Wutai was
exactly.
done. Like, Wutai were done completely. They'd
Mhm.
been beaten to submission. That was it. It was
Yeah,
over. Now it's looking like Wutai's still pulling strings in the background. It looks like Avalanche is a massive organization in comparison to what it was back then. So
yeah.
there's a lot of room. There's a lot of
Mhm.
room.
I'd like to see a lot more of the Turks too, like the ones from
Yes.
before Crisis, because they're not all gone. Like Veld is still around.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is Veld is Elf's dad, right?
I'm not
Elf
sure.
created Avalanche
I
and
will
Veld
take your
created
word for that.
Turks. I'm fairly certain,
Doesn't
and he
Fajito
is.
survive as well?
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd love to see a bit of them. They're probably in these other cells of Avalanche.
yeah.
Like, why
Well,
wouldn't they
yeah, this
be?
is it because you've got the whole Rufus Avalanche thing as well that needs to be fleshed out. Like it
Yeah.
desperately needs to be fleshed out because it's the potential for it is massive. And if they're going to go in there and change a fair bit of stuff about the game, these natural angles are the perfect spot for them to work those changes in because it is
Yeah.
natural for that storyline to be expanded. 100%,
Hmm.
100%.
Absolutely. I want to see Vincent go on some missions when he was a Turk. I think that'd be cool. And then how it led up to him getting experimented. I want to see the whole argument between him and Lucrezia as she chose Hojo,
Even if it is
going through
just
all that
the
stuff.
expand that scene in the cave. Like,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
if it is, it could literally be as simple as that. Just give us more in that scene,
Hmm.
and then yeah, it stops like it does in the original. Because in the original, you get the scenes, you go away, you come back, you get another little bit, and then that's it. It's done.
Yeah, yeah.
Just expand that and give. Oh,
I would love, okay, despite everything else I've said so far,
oh,
I would love to see Cisne because we don't know where she is.
yeah,
And her last line, if I'm not mistaken, when Zach was like, she was walking away, and Zach was like, "Wait, Cisne," and she's like, "Not my real name," and we're like,
yes,
"Who are you?" You know, I don't know if she has a sister.
yeah.
She's in Before Crisis. She is also a shuriken user, I believe, or she's martial arts or something, or gun. I don't know.
I can't remember on that one.
I'm not
Yeah,
entirely sure. Like, she has a sister. Like, I'd like to see some of the expansion on that stuff.
yeah.
It's
But this is it. There's a lot
uh,
of things. There's a lot of threads that are just up in the air, and it would be nice. I mean, I don't. I'd like them to, but I don't expect them to give us closure on everything. Like they're definitely going to leave some things hanging, but
it's always a good idea for a conversational topic to keep
yeah,
us talking about it for years after. They've got to leave mysteries. They have to.
yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
look how much it worked with Seven.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
conversation has literally. I mean,
And
it's as big as it's ever been now, but it never stopped.
oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
Fraser.
Another thing I would love to see a bit of an expansion on.
Yes.
Not that I think it would add to the game really, but I just want to fucking know Cait Sith and the sort of the origins around Cait Sith a little bit because we know that Reeve controls Cait Sith,
Yeah.
but everybody's like, is he sat in a chair? Does he have a remote control? Is he wearing a
VR
freaking
headset or
VR
something. Yeah.
headset? What's going on? But in Dirge of Cerberus, there's one scene that doesn't make sense. I can't pinpoint the area of the game that it's in, but
Yeah.
Reeve is walking down a corridor, a corridor, talking to Cait Sith, who is also walking down the same corridor next to him.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
you control Cait Sith, but you're talking to it, having a conversation with it. It is a sentient being. It has its own thoughts.
Unless maybe
What?
he's got someone else operating it. I don't know.
I
I
have
don't
no
remember that
idea.
much about that, but yeah, I do remember the scene.
I do know that there's loads of Cait Siths, like they're fucking everywhere. There's
Yeah,
hundreds of them. Because I know a lot got destroyed, and then in Dirge of Cerberus they said
not
that
enough.
they were on like a high number or something. But
Yeah,
I don't think it would benefit the game at all. But I just want to know.
it would be interesting, like how he came up with this. Like, this is what I'm going to do now. Like,
Yeah,
this is what
yeah,
I'm
that'd
in
be cool.
control of. Yeah, how has this happened? Like,
Mhm. I want to see a flashback of Sato fighting off the Gi tribe. I want to see that war,
yes,
and then watch him turn to
turn.
stone.
Yes,
Yeah, so
Oh,
I feel the way they should do that, we get to the cave, Bugenhagen starts telling the story, the camera pans up, we see him, it fades out like a dream, we witness the war, it fades back to him crying on Nanaki's head. It's perfect.
yeah, because he
It's
tells Guggenhagen tells us the story as we're going through the cave, doesn't he? So you could keep going into it and come back, and then go
yeah,
into it and then
yeah,
come back. Oh,
it'd be so unreal.
that would be good.
Gongaga has to be more fleshed out with Zack's parents.
Well, I mean, I've got a bit of a belief that in the same way that they've kind of added the facility under Sector 7, I kind of feel
Yeah,
like there's going
yeah.
to be something like that at Gongaga because there's nothing there really. There's literally
Well,
nothing there. So it feels like a really natural spot for them to add something for me,
mhm.
100%. So yeah, I think at the very least we've got to get more from Zach's parents, but I think we'll
Yeah,
get a bit more than that because
yeah.
I don't know if there's any explanation of what happens to the Gongaga reactor. I know it blows up because of a malfunction, but we don't actually ever get an explanation as to what that malfunction was, I don't think. So it'd be interesting if we find out that there's like some sort of Shinra facility or something like that underneath it. I think you've frozen again. Beep. Right, we're doing
Um,
your hopes for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Technical issues, we're back. Nope, he's gone again. He's gone again. So yeah, that was your hopes for Final Fantasy VII remakes going forwards. Then, like just expansion of the story, and yeah,
yeah, I just want more.
yeah,
Yeah.
it very much falls in with what I want because they've already committed to changing things. So let's go. Well,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
change as much as you can. If you want to keep the original story, keep the original story, but change all the possibilities around it. Like, I think Fort Condor would be a really good place to expand and have like an avalanche point
It
of
could be, yeah.
contact, something like.
You know, I would be
Excuse me.
curious if the Fort Condor minigame is going to just be the Fort Condor minigame, or is it going to be different?
So my theory
I
is
assume it's different.
it's going to be the mini game that we've played in intermission, but I do think eventually, like probably at the point of the huge materia, you're going to have to do it once for real. I think that's what it's going to do because
Right.
I can't see him removing the huge materia mission there.
Oh,
And
no, no way. No way.
yeah, I can't see it. And like one of the big things of that game is it's Chadley who's trying to work out strategic, strategies basically for a combat situation like this. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's got to come to fruition at some point. I
Oh, it would have to.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do think Chadley's going to turn out to be a bad guy eventually.
yeah. I've got issues with Chadley.
Maybe not by his own free will, though.
Yeah, I think he's like a little Hojo baby. Like I think
Mm,
his
uh,
personality is going to have been built from Hojo's personality. That's my
yeah, it could be.
rough, vague assessment at the minute, and I think he could end up being more dangerous than Hojo because
Oh,
Hojo's
yeah, yeah.
Hojo's legit crazy. Like Hojo is straight up crazy. He's a genius, obviously, and he knows what he's doing, but he is
Mhm.
fucking insane. Whereas
Yeah,
Chadley's
whereas
more
Chadley's an
measured.
AI.
Yeah, he's got that
He can learn
control.
everything.
Exactly.
Mhm.
He could be real dangerous at some
Yeah,
point. And especially with the whole thing from Dirge Cerberus with Vice and Hojo uploading his consciousness to Vice and things like that. There's going to
yeah.
be something that happens in that area. I'm not sure what, but yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Gonna have to watch that Chadley kid. Definitely.
Yeah, I think he'll be your friend for most of the game.
Yeah.
And then maybe, like, even unintentionally, or he gets a virus, I don't know, it could be whatever,
Hojo
he'll turn
uploads
against you
himself
and
fully, like
yeah.
maybe it's something that Hojo's already thinking of doing, like the whole Vice thing, and maybe his first plan was Chadley. We're
Mhm.
kind of straying into prediction territory here, so this is the one. This is the big one. So,
Mhm.
do you have any predictions for Final Fantasy VII Remake going forwards? Like something that you're reasonably confident is going to happen, or like something
Right.
that will change, anything like that?
Um, so a lot of what I probably think is recycled information from Pez's stuff.
There.
Because Pez's theories are just so good that I can't not believe them. The idea of Rufus being an ancient that they found in the crater, I love that idea.
Yeah.
And it goes with the scene at the end of the remake only people that have
A
an
critical,
interference with
yeah,
destiny of some kind can see the whispers. Rufus could see them,
yep.
but he couldn't at one point. He became able to see them after a certain point in time. I don't know what caused that
Yeah, it's a bit of a
exactly,
weird one.
but Rufus is going to play a big part in
Yeah,
this, way bigger than normal. I do think he's going to be either an ancient, a descendant, an agent, whatever. He's going to turn out to not be Rufus Shin or President Shinra's son or
yeah.
something. I don't know. I like that idea. I hope that
I mean,
happens. I also believe.
one thing that I think on the Rufus one would be that maybe, I don't know, maybe it was that he wasn't going to interfere with the planet's destiny until he interacted with Cloud. Like, that interaction
Could
on the
be.
roof with Cloud is what
Yeah.
triggered it. Yeah, I think that could be it.
Yeah.
And then, because of that, you can see the whispers. That'd be my guess, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense.
It's a vague one, though, because it is a change. Because he doesn't react to him at all initially. And then afterwards, he's like, oh, oh.
And this is new. Yeah. I'm a firm believer that Marlene is an ancient.
There.
Like, I can't really even counter argue myself when I try. When you look at the scene where Aerith gets her at the bar,
Yeah.
everybody seems to look at that scene as if Aerith gave her the visuals to calm her down because she was upset. But if you watch that scene closely enough, you'll find that I'm fairly confident Marlene pulls them out of Aerith.
Possibly. See, my thinking on this is that, see, I think this power to communicate memories and visions is kind of one of the main powers of the Cetra. I feel like that is hopefully it's something we get fleshed out. I don't know if it is, but I think that ability is definitely something that's there because we see Ifalna do it in Trace of Two Pasts, the Aerith light novel, where
Right.
when we find out that Elmira's husband's dead, the scene is that Ifalna's kind of showing Aerith a vision, and she can see that Clay, Elmira's husband's, at the door, and he's shouting to Elmira, but she can't hear him. And you kind of realise that he's dead, so he's passing into the live stream at this point, and he's come back to his familiar space, which is home and
Yeah.
Elmira and
Yeah.
everything like that. So my vibe with that is that Ifalna, because she's a pure-blooded ancient, she can control this ability, so she can show Aerith what she needs to be shown. I don't think Aerith's got control over it. And this is
Right.
where I think Marlene potentially either is able to pull the memory from Aerith, or almost it just kind of seeps out, like some kind of vision or some calming influence or something like that.
Yeah, because
But it,
Aerith looked surprised. She had a very
yeah,
surprised look on her
yeah,
face, and then she was like, "Oh, okay, I've realized what's happened.
exactly.
Shush!
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone." Yeah.
No,
We don't know what she showed her, do we?
nothing.
That's gonna be interesting.
It could be anything
It cheered
ranging
her up,
from,
though.
yeah,
It
it,
cheered her up. So
it could
it's
be anything from a
Barrett
positive
alive.
vibe. Yeah, it could be anything from a positive vibe to, I know that he survives this, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What else?
It's an
So the
interesting
dog
one.
tags. The
Yeah.
dog tags are a pretty heavy influence. Something's up
He
there.
would know. He would know her date of birth roughly at the
Hmm.
very least.
Yeah.
At the very
There's also
least.
at the end, like during the ending FMV, she's sat at her desk. She's got the flower there. The drip falls, and she's like, "Dad."
Yeah.
Same thing happened in original to a
Yep.
degree. She's in calm in the tower.
This
She's
is
like the
right at
flower,
the
like,
very end, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like something special there. And what's interesting is if there is something special there, they planned it back in '97,
Yeah. This is it,
which is
because
awesome.
there are breadcrumbs, definitely.
Yeah,
If they wanted to do something, it wouldn't be like outside. It wouldn't be, where's this come from? This has come out of
yeah.
nowhere. Yeah, there's
But
definitely hints.
what will be really cool about it, and if they do, they'll expand upon this because they have to. They'll have no choice.
Yeah.
Elmira raising Aerith as a Cetra, learning about all these powers. It's been really weird for her. Like, I've just raised this kid. She's got superpowers. She's my daughter. Aerith been kidnapped. She gone. We leave Midgar.
Yeah.
She has Marlene. Marlene child gets Cetra
And we
powers. She's
see,
now raising a second Cetra. She's been through it all before. That would be fucking awesome.
that would be an interesting little plot twist.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
raising a
lie.
second Cetra, it would remind her of Aerith, and she'd treat her like her daughter.
And this
Then
is
maybe her and Barrett get married. I don't know.
and this is it though. We have practically no information on Eleanor, which is Marlene's mother, isn't it?
Yeah,
We have practically no
nothing at
information.
all.
So
I think
the
one thing that I
possibility is
thought,
there.
yeah, one thing that I thought was quite sus, that I was talking to somebody about, in like Barrett's own words to Dine during the scene where the town was on fire.
Yeah,
He says, "I went back to the town. I was searching everywhere,
I was
and I
certain
found."
everyone would be dead. Yeah,
Yeah, certain everyone would be dead, but I found Marlene. So first of all, Marlene was an actual baby. How she survived that, I'll never
yeah,
know. But Marlene is also affiliated with water. Water protects from fire.
yeah.
She protected the fire somehow. But also, and I'm gonna stereotype a little bit here based on the past and the way things used to be.
Go for
Coal
it.
miners. Normally, coal miners, big burly man, went to work. Wife was stay-at-home wife, didn't go anywhere,
Yep,
didn't do anything, looked after baby, right?
that was yeah.
If Yeah, Barrett and Dine were out at work, they come home. Eleanor is nowhere to be found. Eleanor, realistically, if the house was on fire, the town was burning, and Marlene was there, Eleanor would be dead next to her
Yeah,
with Marlene in her arms as doting mother protecting her child.
that's what you'd
Nowhere to be
expect.
found.
Yeah.
Nowhere to be found. She just upped and fucked off. She could
Peace.
still be alive. She could still be alive somewhere. She could be an ancient. She knows that Shinra came to Corel to attack the town.
Yep.
Maybe they're looking for Eleanor because she's an ancient. It's not unheard of. And she fled. And she left Marlene on her own. And that's why only Marlene was found, because Eleanor is hiding somewhere, because she's secretly an ancient.
See, it does open up a lot of possibilities. I don't know if they'll give us any legit ancients. I don't think we'll get a full ancient, like a pure blood ancient. I think that's done now. But I definitely think there's the possibility that they'll be, at the very least, similar to Aerith, like half ancient, something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, you could have it that like the ancient DNA is just kind of because I mean, you hear about it in the world now. Like, what is it? Something like 60% of Europe has got some kind of Mongolian DNA, just due to the fact
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
invaded so far into Europe that the DNA was just passed down through the generations. And yeah, I think it's something like 60% of us have got something within us from that empire. So what's to say that the ancient DNA didn't in a similar manner? Because
Yeah,
I'm sure
exactly.
humans and ancients existed at the same time. I'm pretty,
Yeah.
we know that they're physiologically compatible because of Gast and Ifalna. Like, we
Mhm.
know that. So what's
And
to
at the
say?
same time, I'd like to think, ancients have become very rare and they're aware that the powerhouse of the planet is searching for them.
I'm going to
They're
keep
not just
quiet.
gonna,
Yeah.
yeah, there could be ancients everywhere living amongst us
And
and
we
just
just
keeping
don't
it
know.
secret. Yeah. Which brings me on to a funny fact, well,
Oh,
fact point, whatever, that I found this very entertaining. But in the original game, you go into the Temple of the Ancients. There's what, three creatures in there that you find? The Nook Nook people,
3 or 4. Yeah, yeah, something like that. There's the one in the
and
little.
they.
There's the one in the little puzzly room. There's the one in the roly room. I hate
Mhm.
the fact that I'm describing them in such dismal ways.
Yeah, there's
There's,
one before you even get to the Rolly room.
yeah, there's the one that runs away from you, isn't there?
Yeah, when you first get in, and then there's the Time Guardian in there too, which
Yeah,
is
technically, he
I
counts.
don't know what the fuck that is, but yeah.
Yeah, because you've
So
got
yeah,
that
there's
for.
a
Yeah, there's
few.
3 or 4.
Yeah, they are also
Technically
Cetra.
ancient. Yeah.
Yeah, and we just kill them. We don't care at all. We just
Squish.
Yep. We had not even the thought didn't even cross our mind. Cait Sith comes out, says, this place is a big puzzle, and whoever's in it gets squished. They're all like, oh well, okay, we better leave then. Cait Sith's like, no, I'll do the puzzles. You get out. It's crucial that you get out and you're safe. Fuck those.
Oh, I've lost you again. Come on,
Oh god damn
Discord.
it, Discord.
Yeah, it's been very funny. We have had some technical difficulties this evening, I will tell you that.
Yeah, it's trying to stop us, man.
It is. It's Square Enix. I've told you, they know that we're sussing them out. That we're getting in there now.
Yeah.
We know about the ancient conspiracy. We're
Hmm.
disappointed in the treatment of the nice purple Cetra.
Yeah.
I feel like you were about to go into a really good rant then as well. Like, genuinely.
Maybe. I don't know. I was talking just, Cait Sith was concerned. Everybody get out. I'll stay in here. I'll
Yeah,
sacrifice myself. They're all like, yeah, look quickly, let's get out, and didn't even put a second thought
but
into
those
his
guys, yeah.
intentions. Yeah, did
No,
not matter.
there's a lot
What's
of us.
interesting, another thing that I don't really have an explanation for
Ooh,
whatsoever, um, which kind of plays into the remake quite a lot here, actually.
yeah,
This could be a big thing, in fact. Whenever you get into the temple, you do the Rolly Room, you go
yeah,
look through the pool,
yeah.
and you're
This is
looking
where
at
you
the
see
past.
Sephiroth floating down in there. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
gone again.
So right, as I was saying, when you look into that pool,
Yeah,
you're seeing the past
yeah,
because you watch Sung be in there and he gets attacked by Sephiroth.
yes,
What's interesting about that scene is that, you can see your characters stood in the foreground and they're semi-transparent to
yeah,
show, you can see through, you're looking through their eyes looking at the
yeah,
past. Sephiroth, also semi-transparent, walks behind you.
yeah.
So you know he's in the same area, time frame as Cloud is at that point in time. But then he sort of
Goes
manifests
in.
and goes into the past, which is kind of timeline-ish and remake style.
The I think it definitely feeds into the memories thing as well in a big way. Like Sephiroth showing that ability to maybe distort memories to a certain degree.
Mm.
Because yeah, it is a weird one. I've never actually thought about that, but yeah, he does, doesn't he? He's kind of there in that reference with you and the party,
He directly time travels
and then he
right
just
there in front
steps
of
into
you.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So technically it's Jenova, right?
Well,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but yeah, like it's interesting because that so many people before the whole. I mean, we got to the idea of sequel with FF7 Remake being a sequel, but
yeah,
at first everyone was like time travel. Like Aerith and Sephiroth have come back in time,
yeah.
which technically is still a valid. It's still a very viable thing
I don't think
to
Aerith
happen.
has for
But
me. I think if we go in that route, I think Sephiroth's found a way to maybe send his consciousness back via the live stream's memory function or
right,
something like that. That's kind of
but
where I'm at with it.
Aerith can show Red 13 the future,
See, I think
so
these,
she's
I
seen
think,
it.
see, it's a big one, but I think Sephiroth, when he's done what he's done, when he sent his consciousness back, he has either inadvertently sent additional memories back with himself, just kind of tag along memories that have just he's not been able to shake, that sort of thing. Or when he's done it, he's kind of broke the live stream to a certain degree, and now those future memories are seeping through, and that's why we're getting them gradually becoming
Right.
more and more. Because once you get to the end of the game, the memories are just coming thick and fast at you at that point.
Yeah.
And I think it's just
Mhm.
gradually, as the live streams become more unstable, this has become a perpetual cycle. Although we do have a developer comment that says the Aerith that we see in the resolution scene is a
Mhm.
future Aerith. They have flat
That
out
makes
said that.
sense.
They
Yeah,
flat out
that
said that in an Ultimania. And it kind of ties into what I was saying a minute ago about Aerith not really having control of the power that well. A future Aerith
right.
would have more control and would be able to
Okay.
project herself like this.
So
So yeah,
that's the one that tells Cloud not to fall in love with her, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And that is
It's
apparently a
interesting
future
because
Aerith.
like I had the whole theory of like traveling back in time and whatnot.
Yeah,
And she could touch Red 13, give him the future memories that
yeah,
made him befriend them because he's seen they're good people. But then in that same scene, the whispers like fly around her and she says, every time they touch me, I
Steel.
lose a part of
Yeah,
myself. Because they're trying to put everything back to the way it was. She
yeah.
has memories that she shouldn't have.
So they're
They're
taking.
taking the memories from her, so
Yeah,
she can't. That's why I think she gave all of the memories to Red 13 as a backup. He's like an external hard drive for her right now.
that would make
I give you
sense.
everything, and then if they fuck it up and take it from me, you still know it all.
That would make sense as well, to be fair, because he does go from being
Hmm.
extremely hostile to,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
oh, in that
And she also
moment.
knows that he's gonna live fucking ages
Yeah,
too. So like he's a great candidate. Because if the reason being was just I need a second person to know this stuff,
we just told anyone.
Cloud,
Yeah,
anyone, literally anyone. Yeah,
yeah.
but she chose Red, which I think is quite interesting. So.
Bugenhagen as well. Like Red's
Hmm.
got that connection to Bugenhagen, so she's guaranteeing that the information reaches him as well, potentially, because she must
Yeah.
know how important he could be.
Hmm.
Oh, that is like seriously,
Like she also
Cosmo
showed
Canyon.
Cloud. She showed Cloud her death
Yeah,
too.
only
Don't know
briefly.
why, but yeah.
See, I think that was one of those lack of control moments, similar to the Marlene one. Like, I don't think she intended to show
It
him
could
that.
be.
I think the
Yeah.
connection between the two of them just made him drag that memory out in the same way that potentially Marlene, because even if Marlene isn't an ancient, there's a connection there because they've both been raised for at least a time by the same woman. You know what I mean? There
Yeah.
is a connection
Yeah.
there to a degree. So yeah, there's a lot. It is definitely boiling down to memories are going to be a massive part of this remake. It's looking like, and
Yeah.
it's the accuracy of those memories. I think that's going to be like a critical point of like
Hmm.
where things go. Because I mean, we've obviously got unreliable narrator Cloud who hasn't got a fucking clue
Yeah.
what's going on. But if Aerith becomes semi-unreliable as well because of her memories and they kind of colour what she wants to do in the moment, it, it opens up a lot of stuff. And then
And
you've
you
got
know,
this Sephiroth with future knowledge as well. Like, what's his end game? Is it still the same
yeah.
old script, or is it something
See,
new now?
it's got to be something to do with the live stream. Like
Yeah,
the only two things, the only thing that Aerith and Sephiroth have in common is that they both died.
yeah. He,
Like, and
my
the
guess
live
is that he
stream,
wants to use Omega. That's my guess.
probably,
Yeah,
probably.
but you never know. There might be something else going on. Who knows?
Yeah,
Like,
just
they've
don't
been,
know at all.
it's such a vague setup with the end of Remake because it does literally leave. It's almost like they tried to work the entire compilation into Remake, and now it's something else going from here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's interesting now as well. So I haven't read that the remake book thing yet.
yeah.
I do plan to though because I think we're gonna voice act it all.
Oh, nice.
Um, and now that you've said to me that they confirmed uh the dead father of
Yeah,
Aerith, that is something that we were able to witness. Somebody was able to witness somebody being dead and doing things,
and
going
trying
places.
to communicate. Yeah,
That to me tell like that Zach, like that's what we're seeing. Like at first I was like alternate universe, Zach's alive somewhere, maybe some other weird crap, but now we've got confirmation that we can witness dead people's events.
is that what's happening there?
Zach is dead. Yeah, Zach is
See,
absolutely dead.
I've got a weird, like one of my weirdest theories is it's probably one of the biggest ones that I've done as well, to be honest with you. But is that Zack is kind of going to become a replacement for the Whispers almost. Like we're not going to see him zipping around in a cloak or anything like that. I
Mhm.
feel like the reason he survived that battle was because the planet knew that things were about to go real bad. And
Yeah, yeah,
if you look at the entire story of Final Fantasy VII, there is no one who is as pure a hero character as Zack. He is it
yeah. No way.
110%.
Sure,
So
Zach is supposed to be like Stamp, right?
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
So I kind of feel like the live stream, I think he is dead, but I think he's still going to exist in the live stream, in the same way that Sephiroth and Aerith can keep their consciousnesses separate. I think he's
Hmm.
going to be the same, and it's going to be kind of like him trying to repair the damage to the live stream potentially. So I think we'll kind of,
Yeah.
I almost want to liken it to Laguna. I kind of feel like he's going to be going through
Mm,
Laguna type scenes where
it
we'll
could
cut
be.
away and we'll see what's going on with Zack. So
It
we'll get,
actually it kind of makes sense
yeah,
even with Vanilla and Advent Children because at the end of the Vanilla game,
yeah,
Cloud is going through, he goes through his consciousness, he beats Sephiroth, and then he sees Aerith's hand go to
yeah,
grab him. Obviously she's dead,
yeah,
so that can't be a thing. And then in Advent Children, we have Zack that appears behind him and he gives him the strength and stuff,
yeah.
which signifies that sure he's dead, but he's still around.
Yes.
You know, maybe he can pull you out of real life into dead for briefly to talk to you and then
Maybe
send
not the
back
part
again.
head, but Aerith probably. I think if he's going to be able to do that with anyone, it's more like oh, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even if we do reach the point where things pan out as they did in the original and Aerith does die,
Mm.
she's then going to be in that space as well. So I mean, we could end up with a
Yeah.
side story going on with like Zack and Aerith trying to repair the live stream potentially.
And Biggs Wedge and Jesse too, probably.
Well, yeah, this is it. It shows us them at the end of the game, but it doesn't actually confirm where and when they are because it is all up in the air. Like, it is
Mhm.
so up in the air. They could have died, and this is just them kind of living out some sort of purgatory existence or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Because they've not broken down to the point where they can just dissolve into the live stream yet. Because I mean, I think it states in one of the books or something like that that people with a strong will and with a strong personal motivation in the world are
yeah.
more likely to be able to keep coherent and together for a much longer period of time in the live
Mhm.
stream. That's why Sephiroth's able to kind of put that plan together to make Cloud his core. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think
So
they're going to
what
lean
would be
into it.
really interesting is like we know from Advent Children that if your will is strong enough when you're in the live stream, you can put your own personality traits into like a clone of
Yep,
kinds and create life on in the living world
yep.
that is you to a degree. Aerith should be able to do that too.
That'd be insane.
And like, who's to say that, we can't legitimately reanimate the dead people, bring
If
them back.
Marlene's an ancient though, Aerith
Yeah,
could body snatch for a little bit and then piss off when she's done
she
what she
could.
needs to do.
She absolutely could, yeah. Like the dead Aerith that is from the
To
future
take
or
over this
whatever in
Aerith.
that scene. Yeah. So that could be the Aerith from the original that's already died.
Yeah.
And that was her coming back and be like, don't fall in love with me. She's like, well, she's gonna die. Like, don't do it.
Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Save yourself the pain, boy. Save yourself the pain.
Well, I think, a lot of people are worried, like, is Aerith actually gonna die? Is she not gonna die? Are they gonna change it? I do think that memories and stuff are gonna get in the way,
Yeah,
and they're gonna change the events, and Sephiroth's gonna do all he can to keep Sephiroth alive, or Aerith alive as well.
yeah.
What's gonna be interesting is I think Aerith, dead Aerith, is going to try and kill living Aerith, or at least influence it.
Convince her that she needs to rejoin the
Yeah.
live stream, so to speak.
Or even if she's invisible and she can affect objects around, or like like if Sephiroth does go to slash cloud and then she moves him so she hits Aerith and so he hits Aerith and anything because she knows she has to die.
Yeah,
But present Aerith or living Aerith is going to do whatever she can to fight dying, and
as you
Cloud's
would.
not going to let it
Yeah,
happen.
as you would. Like
Sephiroth's going to do his best to
natural.
stop.
Yeah, your natural
Yeah,
instincts will kick in and stop you from like, no, I think I'll survive today. Thank you very much. But I mean,
I
like
think
what I said earlier about the conflict between the two Sephiroths, what if we get a moment where Jenova Sephiroth tries to kill Aerith? Sephiroth stops Jenova Sephiroth, and then future Aerith tries to stop.
yeah, it'll be confusing as hell.
Oh shit, I kind of want to see that now. Just two Aeriths and two Sephiroths just arguing in a room.
Mm, yeah.
Oh, I
Right,
love it.
there's too many paths they can
There
take.
is.
They've planned it. They've planned it really well.
Yeah,
They really
because
have.
we're all talking about it. We've all got different ideas about where it could go,
Yeah.
and they're all valid. Because
Yeah.
you might be able to say that's not very likely, but you can't flat out say that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You just can't
I
do it.
think I think the worst possible outcome, and I don't mean worst as in bad storytelling. I mean worst as in we're going to be pissed about it.
Yeah.
Is if we're given a choice to save Aerith or kill Aerith, and no matter what we choose, she'll die anyway.
Oh, it
But
can't be like this.
it'll make you feel really bad because the game will tell you stop trying to change
Mm,
fate. Like you're gonna fuck up everything.
yeah.
By the way, would you like Aerith to survive? Just and you're gonna be like,
Just dangle the
yes, and then she
carrot.
dies anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But who's to say how many games where you make a decision and it vastly impacts the rest of the game?
Yeah.
I'd love FF7 to do that.
Yeah, because there's not that many moments like that in Seven. Like the only real mechanic for it is the dating mechanic, the character affinity mechanic. That's about it.
Mhm.
That,
Yeah.
that is pretty much it. There isn't much choice because got me thinking now.
The decisions you make will influence the timeline that you're in or
Could we
something.
get a Final Fantasy VII with multiple endings without the community having an absolute shit fit?
I would love that. I think it'd be great.
Like there would be literally Twitter would burn. Like, it would actually catch fire because everyone would just pick whichever ending they preferred,
Yeah,
obviously. And
but in their own way, everyone's happy. So
well, yeah, this
yeah.
is it. I suppose in their own way, everyone's happy. The shipping community would literally catch fire. Like,
As long as Jesse's dateable in the gold saucer somehow, everyone will
I
be fine.
don't. There's already a crazy guy going around stalking Blitz about Jesse thumbnails and stuff
Oh
like that.
God. Yeah, I've seen that guy.
Everyone's seen that guy, unfortunately.
I do think that there's a good chance that Teeth or Aerith will not be the only main character that dies.
Yeah,
Like properly dies.
yeah. I think they've sowed the seeds for that with the Barrett thing. It was kind of, oh, look what we could do if we
Yeah,
wanted to. Oh.
yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, when they introduce multiverse, you're allowed to do whatever.
Yeah, because
We
there's
can have
another one.
all the party die, and
Yeah,
the game can have all the party die, and like we could swap universes at any point in time and just not know that it happened. People die. That was the bad ending. Oh wait, it never happened. Okay, sigh and move on.
definitely
It
the Rick and
it
Morty.
could happen.
Yes,
Hmm.
I'm looking forward. Oh no. Because it would probably fall to Zach to be the person that's trying to repair it as well. That's the thing. Because he would
Yeah.
almost become the constant thread in the live stream. Him
Hmm.
and, well, potentially Aerith as well, and Sephiroth, because they would be the constants.
Yeah, and like who's to say there's like Sonon was a brand new character. We're gonna get more brand new characters.
Yes.
It's gonna happen. I mean, everybody in the Yuffie DLC was a brand new character.
Well, yeah.
Really. So yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get a lot more characters. I don't think it's the last time we'll see Sonon as well. I definitely think he's going to pop up at some point to mess with
Yeah.
Yuffie. That's what I think it's going to be. Probably,
Uh-huh. I
I think
agree.
it was Sleep Easy who said it. Probably when we go back to Midgard the second time,
Mhm. Yeah.
because he's going to be there anyway, and Deep Ground's there, so Nero's going to be there.
Yeah.
It'd
And
be,
even if that isn't the case, he's just going to be on the dead team. He'll be a character on the dead team. He's
yeah,
already playable and
yeah.
has his systems worked out. Why
Oh
waste
yeah,
that? They've already coded it.
yeah. So they could mechanically just work him in, no problem.
Oh, yeah. Playable character for the dead team. It will be interesting that we just swap between live team and dead team. Shit happens on both sides. They have
Yeah.
to hold each other accountable and hold balance between the two.
Yeah, something that happens in like the Zack side of things directly affects the world
Yeah.
and therefore
Like,
affects the party.
Sephiroth's new goal could be I've realized there is a dead universe, and I want the dead universe to become the living universe. And they try to merge, kind of like Terra and Gaia in FF9,
Well,
just.
yeah, this is it. And I mean, if you look at Sephiroth's universe from the original timeline, it is dead. Omega's dead, destroyed, gone. So that live stream is now stranded. Like Gaia is
Yeah.
just stuck. So there's no route for him. The black materia has been used, so I mean I don't know how that works. I assume the black materia loses its potency after it's been used, maybe. I'm not too sure on that one.
Makes sense. I
Yeah,
mean, the
maybe
Black
it's got a
Materia
time
was.
limit on it or something like that. And, it's got a
Mhm.
recharge or something, but
I would say the Black Materia was definitely created in a way where
one
you
shot.
can't use it. Like, you don't need to use it
Yeah,
twice.
it's a one shot.
You know?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. So yeah, it
The
is a
White
dead
Materia is
universe.
definitely going to play more into this too. I
Yeah,
think if future Aerith or dead Aerith is going to do anything to actually change the present, it's going to be the White Materia,
yeah,
where she's not going to let it just fall into the water and go forgotten for all eternity. It's not going to happen.
yeah. It's definitely interesting because so many avenues they could go with it. See, this is the thing. Like we were saying earlier, once we've got part two, we'll have a lot of answers. We'll have a lot more questions, obviously, but we'll at least have some answers to the general direction that things are starting to work towards. Whereas right now, it's just so open and vague as to what is actually happening.
I kind of think of it actually. Whenever you meet Aerith
Hmm.
in the remake, and she says, like, it's the same conversation as in the original. I've got materia, but it's totally useless.
Yeah.
She makes it a point in the remake to be like, look, there's nothing there.
And then that triggers Cloud. That's the moment when Cloud has that flash of the materia
Right.
bouncing.
So, if the white materia is not there, Okay, I don't know if anybody's already said this on the internet with Theoryverse and whatnot,
Hmm.
but what if we're already in the dead universe? She's already used the white materia. It's gone. She's already dropped it. That's why it's not there. She has her memories because she has a more prevalent will. She's holding her being in the live stream. Cloud and everyone else is just fleeting. They're just
Yeah.
living their dead life.
Yeah.
We could already be in the dead world.
Well, we could have been in the dead world, whereas now we're probably in the real world. See, this is one theory that I've been working on, that this was kind of something that was being played out in the live stream. So part one of Remake possibly exists within the live stream entirely, constructed by memories from the original timeline, and it's been done because Sephiroth has tried to come back, but the live stream's gone, whoa, 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 hold up. We're just going to wrap you up in this neat little bubble, like you think you're running around in Midgar playing with all your old friends from back in the day, and you just stay there. But then Sephiroth's got smart to that, took over, and busted out. And that's why we see the singularity, and I think that could potentially be why all the party have to step into that portal at the end, because they are now in that in-between realities kind of situation.
Yeah.
And once they break out of that, now they're in the real world.
What'll
There's
be
a,
interesting though
yeah,
is, and this isn't going to happen. There's no way they'd get away with
yeah,
it. But if we've gone from dead world to real world, what if there's two of everybody?
yeah.
If we bump into the other group now.
Or what if we've switched places with them? So now they've gone into that
Yeah.
dead world, and that is also where Zack
If
has gone
if
into.
they're yeah, if they're gonna make us actually think Zack's alive, that's what they'll do.
Yep.
We'll swap to the dead world, and Zack will be alive in the dead world
Yeah,
with us all in the
exactly.
dead
And
world.
to them, to each of them, their realities will be real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it, I mean,
That could make it really interesting. We'll only find out if we're in the dead world when we start encountering people we know are dead, like
yeah.
Aerith's mom.
As soon as that happens, I think the one's going to be Jesse at the Gold Saucer. That's going to be the one, I think.
Yeah.
You'll see
Well, what
Jesse at the Gold
else
Saucer
is
and you'll be like, what?
like? Well, maybe because the game's letting us believe that she might be alive to
Yeah,
begin with.
it's
We're gonna
dangling
have to
that
see
carrot.
someone we know is dead. So like Cloud. Well, I'm curious about Cloud's dad. There's no confirmation he's dead,
Yeah.
but I'm curious about him. But we might see like Barrett's wife. We could see Eleanor. We could.
See, there is the possibility, though, that what we see of Biggs and the gloves on the table at the end, what if that is in this live stream or dead world, and
Yeah,
Wedge is the one who survived?
I want one of them
Somehow.
to survive. I do want one of them to
Yeah.
survive.
Well,
I do.
I think it's definitely set up for at least one of them to survive. It's either Wedge or it's Biggs, and then Jesse could fall on either side, I think. Because it's possible
Yeah.
that he just took those gloves as like a keepsake or something like that.
Mhm.
But it's
The,
also
the big
possible.
difference. The big difference between the three of them is we witnessed Jesse and Biggs die.
Yes,
Granted, we didn't take their pulse, but it's assumed they're dead. Cloud wouldn't have just fucking left them there.
exactly.
Wedge,
Whereas
on the other
he just
hand,
gets dragged off.
he died off screen.
Yeah,
People that die off screen are never fucking dead. The Whispers
exactly.
grabbed him, they took him out of the building because the building's in trouble, and they just flew him to safety.
Potentially.
Really.
Or maybe they
Could have
dropped
just,
him and he landed on something.
yeah, they could have just pushed him into the elevator and
Yeah.
sent the elevator down. We don't know. I
It's
want Wedge to be alive, though. I really do.
it's going to go one way or the other, I think. I mean, we did get some revelations about Biggs in the Tracer 2 Pass novel. I mean, it's just that he owns the orphanage. So that orphanage, growing up, like, apparently the
Oh,
previous owners of the orphanage, they were doing some dodgy shit. So, like, selling kids to people and stuff like that.
it makes perfect sense that
Yeah.
the place he would awaken upon death
It's a place that he
is,
owns.
yeah, the place that he adores.
It
Put his
kind of
whole
links back to the
soul
whole thing that
into.
happens with Elmira's husband. He dies and he comes back to the place that he's connected to.
Yeah, yeah. So Jessie would probably, she's either going to be at home or in the Gold Saucer, for sure.
Yeah,
Because her first thought might be dad, well, mom and dad,
yeah.
or she could go to her wants. Her dad's also an interesting character, because he's stuck in between, supposedly.
He could be the
He
thing
could
that confirms things to us. Like we could see him
he
potentially
could
and be
be the
like,
break in time.
"Yep,
Like he could be the gateway to get from the dead world to the living world because he's the one stuck in limbo. He's the one connecting the two worlds together.
Oh,
He's the only thing that's capable of traveling to both that we're aware of.
it is interesting. Oh, I'm gonna have to have some think about that. I'm gonna have to have a big think about that because that would be interesting.
He has an ID card in his room that you can optionally read,
Yeah.
right? I'm gonna have to look at that and see if there's anything.
I think I had a brief look around, but I didn't like blow any images up or anything like that. Just kind of, oh, I love the lighter skills that you've got going there. I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
Two bad lighters make one good lighter.
Yes, always. Oh, I love it. Right.
Desperate
Well,
times.
we have been going now for 5 hours.
Yeah, I
This
told you I can talk
this is
forever.
ludicrous, but I love it because it's all been good. That's the thing. It has
Yeah,
all been good. So,
yeah,
I mean,
great.
I think we could probably go for another few hours, but
More than likely.
it's 10 to
Save it
2.
for next episode.
It's 10 to 2. This is it. We'll line up another episode for sure. But,
Mhm.
like, that's the end of the question. So, how was it?
It was good, man. I really enjoyed, like, I know podcasts in their own way. Podcast is another word for interview, realistically,
Yeah,
but it doesn't feel like an interview at all. Like
that's what
that's the
I'm.
best. Every podcast I ever go on, I said the best type of podcast is the one where you don't feel like you're interviewed. You know, I could sit here with a beer, you could sit there with a beer, and honestly, it would feel like we were sat next to each other in the bar,
Just chatting.
chatting like we've known each other for 10 years. You know,
Yes. Oh, I love
that
that.
that's the way to be. I love
Oh,
it.
I love that. Thank you.
And
No, I
you know,
appreciate that.
you're not like I have my 7 questions. We're gonna answer this question. No, I ask you, you give me an answer. We move on. You know,
Yeah,
I love that we can just banter for ages
yeah.
about anything. You know,
That's where it's at
You're
because
also-
it's got to be a fluid conversation. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to
yeah,
be
yeah,
because then everybody has fun. You know what I mean? Rather
yeah,
than just like, yeah, like you were saying,
totally.
robotically just going through the script.
Yeah, yeah, and it's great that like even though you set the goal like it'd be nice if this was about a 2 hour episode, but it doesn't matter if we go further. We're not going to hit two
Yeah.
hours. I'm going to be like, right, that's the end of the episode. Sorry, we didn't get through all the questions. We're cutting it here. Like I hate that.
Oh, if
I
I did
don't want
that, the
that
last
at all.
4 episodes wouldn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
As long as the
exactly.
conversation's good, I think people will be interested, and I think that was a phenomenal conversation.
Yeah, agreed. Like there was no like awkward silence. There was no thinking about what was next. You know, we
Except for
just
when,
bounce off each other.
except for when Discord forced it.
Well, yeah, yeah. But even then, we jump right back in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the last thing that I want to ask you is where can people where can people find you? Where do you want to direct people to? I mean, we've got the links on screen, we've got the links in the description and
Yeah, yeah.
everything, but where do you want them to come to? What have you got coming in the
So
near future as well?
by the time this episode comes out, we will have announced our website, and
Yes.
our official website will contain links to everything regarding me.
Oh,
But if I was to advise people to go anywhere, of course, all creators are like, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Patreon, give me money, do all that. Okay, whatever.
do the
Do what you want to
things.
do. Do what you want to do. But like, if you're in FF7 mods, you want to keep up to date with that stuff, my Discord's the way to be.
Cool.
Because I don't have a typical Discord like people do. The Discord isn't about me. It's a collection community of loads
Yes.
of different creators together. So you're not just joining because it's me and you like me, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm in there. I
Um,
think Cosmo Canyon Observatory are in there as well. I think they've got a bit of a portion.
Yeah, they have a little section. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
we're partnered up with the CCO, which is pretty cool.
Big fan. Big fan of the CCO as well. Big fan.
Yeah, awesome
Shout
people.
out to
Like
Viz.
definitely, yeah, check out Viz and the CCO guys. Like they're
Yes.
incredible as well. And like by all means, if you're bored some afternoon or you're interested in how mods are like created, or if you want to be a part of the mod, maybe you want to learn how to make mods, or just come and talk to me and keep me company while I slave away making this stuff for you guys for free, you know. Come
Come
by the
say
Twitch
hi.
channel, like I
Entertain
like
me.
to get to know my audience a
Yeah.
little bit, and the audience has an impact on what happens. They give me
Yes.
ideas, they become the NPCs. It's fun.
It's like you've got a
And
think
like
tank just there, ready to go.
yeah, yeah, like this project is a community project. Like it's not my project.
Yes.
Everybody's in the credits. Like literally
Yeah,
everybody.
there's so many of you that have worked on it as well. And I mean, that's probably even before you include the voice actors. Once you start including all the voice
Yeah,
actors, the number just explodes, I'm guessing.
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh no, big fan of it. And like by this point, by the time everyone sees this, I'll have played it, so I'm sure I'll be loving it by now. The demo
Yeah.
at the very least. And yeah, I've got to find some of those secrets. I'm going to be digging for those secrets that you've told me
Mhm,
about.
mhm.
See what's going on
Oh,
there.
and one thing I was going to mention earlier, but I forgot about it. When I
Oh,
was talking about the outtakes and stuff,
yeah.
which I've got to remember, I've got to send you that Rufus one after this. But
Yes.
one of the other ones that we were doing popped up totally by accident when
Yeah.
I said that this guy are sick, staying in the game. Obviously, we've worded
Standard.
it into a proper conversation, so it makes sense, but still is there. But when we were doing the outtake stuff, like Crane came out of nowhere with this. When we were voicing the flashback, Crane decided, well, I may as well voice the actual Nibelheim lines while I'm here because
Yeah.
we're already in the code for Nibelheim.
Why not?
You've got all the black cloaked figured people, tons of them walking around Nibelheim
Right.
in the present Nibelheim.
Yeah, yeah.
And when he spoke to one, he was like, "Huh, this guy also are sick." And he started getting worse and worse and worse. He was like, if you can code it so it can tell how many of these you've spoken to, I will get worse. Like this guy are also sick. This guy are sick too. This guy are more sick than last are sick guy.
This guy our
Just
sickest.
and then yeah, and it got worse. He started turning it into jokes. He was like, "What is with the drip in this town?" It was just so funny. I love it.
Oh,
But there's another reason to come by the streams because you get these live recording sessions. Like if if you have got a little spare time when you've watched this, I know
yeah.
it's self promo, but I'm
Get
doing it for
over
you.
there.
Like I don't care about the views at this point. I want you to see the good shit. On my channel, we've got two videos. One where there's a live recording of Barrett and Dine.
Yeah.
They do the scene live on Crane's stream. They voice act it together with cameras on the spot in front of an audience. It's phenomenal. And we also have one
That
where
takes
Aerith dying.
confidence, that takes a lot of
Oh yeah.
confidence. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And the guy that played Dine, that was his first time ever voice acting properly, actually.
Fucking hell.
It goes to show how good of a director Crane
He's got
is.
a
Like
pair on
it's
him, hasn't he? Fucking
yeah, for sure. And the second video we have is Aerith's death scene.
hell.
And you only get to see Crane voicing Cloud in that one, but both are still live.
Yeah.
And like the emotion coming from Cloud's voice when he does that is just
Is
ridiculous.
this
Sephiroth's
the
laughing and
yeah, is this the whole my skin is tingling, all that
yes,
sort of
yeah, that exact speech.
yes.
But I actually hate that video for one particular reason,
Oh,
where it ends. So the whole scene plays through as normal. Sephiroth's last line in that video, or the last line in that video, is because Cloud, all you are, and then it ends. The video dies right there because the next line is Jenova, not Sephiroth or Cloud.
yep.
And everybody that watches that video waits to hear that line. They say it out loud with the video. But by the time you've finished,
I
like,
just said it in
the
my head.
autoplay, yeah, like YouTube's already autoplaying your next video, and you're like, what? You scammed me. Like, where's the line?
Give me the finish. Give me the finish.
But definitely, like, watch those videos. They will hit you. And
Well,
they're the exact lines that will get used in the demo too.
oh, I
So
love that. And I think one of
also,
the big
second
things.
demo.
Oh,
First demo, Midgar. We are releasing a second demo, which will be the entirety of Disc 1. And then you have to wait for the full thing. So yeah, second demo at some point.
the entirety of this one, that is a big demo. That is a
Yeah.
real big demo. Like one thing that I picked up on from what you were saying, and from everything that you've said throughout this episode, it's just how much fun you're all having while you're doing this. And I think
Yeah,
that's going to show in the final product
for
100%.
sure. For sure. There's
100%.
always been the saying, like, if you do something you love and turn it into your job, you'll stop liking it.
Yeah,
But for me, that just didn't
not
happen.
happened. Love that.
Like the more people that come into my stream, like typical streamers, they don't watch their viewer count.
Yeah,
They get afraid of their viewer count. They get nervous. They start to shut down when they see more than they're normally used to.
yeah.
When my viewer count goes above average, my energy levels skyrocket. I start yapping. I start progressing through the work. I'm thinking ideas and everything. I love
Yes.
it. And like, I don't know. Like, I haven't streamed for the last week because I've been working on stuff in secret that I don't want the public to see, and even the
Ooh.
patrons. I said to the patrons specifically, I have a Discord chat that only the patrons are in,
Yeah,
and they see things and get to play things way before the public do.
yeah.
But I said to the patrons last week, I'm like, I love you all, and you are paying to get this shit early, but I want you to have surprises too, because I feel like if you have no surprises, then it's just not as fun.
Yeah,
And they're all like, yeah, I don't care. Like, keep going. Like, just keep going.
love that.
It's so good. Like everything about what I do, I love it. This is actually my dream job, and it's insane. Like, I started doing this, sat in my living room on the ground at my coffee table with my mouse and keyboard. I didn't have a desk, I didn't have monitors. I used the TV in my living room. And then, streaming started kicking off and we saved up money, we moved house, and now I have an office.
Oh, I love that.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Everything about my job is just incredible.
Gives me hope.
And this is just 7.
Yeah,
Like, I don't like 8 all that much, but I'm still gonna put my all into 8 and
yeah.
I'll enjoy making 8. And then 9 when we get to it. That's my baby right there.
That's the big one. That's the real big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I get what you're saying there, 100%. And yeah, I mean, it's good that you don't, because I mean, I definitely found it when, like, the first time I went on SEAL Team 7, I was so nervous. Like, the first couple of episodes of this that I recorded, so nervous. Like, even the first few videos, like, you can hear in the first minute or two of the videos sometimes that I'm really nervous. And then after a few minutes of talking, I get comfortable and just go for it.
Yeah.
And it's really good that you just kind of rise to that. Like, that's meant. That's where I'll get there eventually. I'll get there.
I've learned things. Like
Yeah.
being a Twitch streamer in general, it does teach you stuff.
Yeah.
Like it helps you with being able to talk to strangers and not be uncomfortable in scenes. Like, for example, if we would have started this podcast and for whatever reason you would have been nervous to talk to me, I would have been able to talk back to you in a way that killed your nerves immediately. You'd have been relaxed around me.
Yeah.
And it's just a skill you pick up as a streamer, and it's
Definitely.
really good. And that helps engage with the viewers too. If you
Yeah.
have that personality, the stream notices and they stay and they watch, and you get consistent viewers.
And it just grows.
I recommend everybody at least attempt to be a streamer
Give it a go.
at some point. It teaches you things that you'll keep with you forever.
Yeah.
Even if you're stuck at 2 viewers forever and don't make any money, like if you don't expect to make it, you won't be disappointed if you do.
Yeah, I think this is it. A lot of people put too much expectations on themselves, and then that's when the pressure kind of gets to them. I think if you go in with reasonable, or if not reasonable, like at least measured expectations. You know what I mean? Just know that you're not gonna get 1,000 viewers in your first week or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Just I think people put too much pressure on themselves in some situations. I've definitely done it. Definitely.
Yeah. But they're definitely helpful skills to have. Like,
Yeah.
go into streaming wanting to get partner and be successful and do your best to do it, but just don't be like, this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then feel like it's a waste of time when it didn't.
Yeah. You've just got to try, see if it works, and just have fun with it. I think that's the main thing. People can tell when you're having fun. I genuinely,
absolutely.
yeah, it comes across. And if you're having fun, they're more likely to have fun because it's contagious. It is contagious.
It is, yeah. Like I've got friends with, I can't think of the actual name of it, but like social disorders where
Yeah.
in a group of people they can't communicate, they can't process whatsoever. They shut down, they'll sit in the corner and do nothing.
Yeah.
I have plenty of friends like that are streamers and they can sit with 20 viewers and chat away. Like it cures them to a degree. It still doesn't fix their real life, but I mean most of real life is on the internet now.
Yeah, real life is the internet these days, let's be fair.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't go outside
mean,
anymore.
You get to meet cool people all the time.
Yeah. Like this has been one of the best things for this series for me, has just been meeting all of you guys. It's just been absolutely mint.
Well, my prime example of that is hopefully I'm getting married next year, assuming COVID doesn't come back and ruin that. And my friends from America that I've never met in real life ever are going to be coming over to my wedding, and they're going to be my groomsmen.
I love that.
And that would have never happened if it wasn't for like streaming and just.
Can you imagine that in the 90s? Like it just
no way.
wouldn't have happened. Not even in the 90s, just wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, not a hope.
Oh no, it is
it's
crazy.
So awesome.
Oh, I love it. And no, I'm so thankful for you coming on today. It has been absolutely brilliant. Don't forget, drop a like on the video, subscribe for more, because like, I'm not done with the Big Seven. There's loads of content creators out there that I'm going to get on here. But at the same time, make sure that you go over. So we want the Discord, we want the Twitch, we want everything. Just go and like everything that Suna does, all of it. And if you've got Final Fantasy VII on PC, there's a demo for you to go and download. I think
Yeah.
that you should probably go and download it and give it a go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a good idea for people to do. I think they all need to go and play the Echo S mod because a lot of hard work's gone into it, a lot of passion's gone into it, and maybe you're one of the people that isn't the biggest fan of Remake. This could be the remake for you.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised too. Like you think Midgar, you can run Midgar in what, an hour and a half, 2 hours. When you play it with Echo S, it's about 5 hours long.
Oh,
Assuming you're going around talking to everyone, you're
yeah,
letting the dialogue play out, it expands gameplay so much.
I love that.
It's fantastic.
Make sure that
And
you
then
get on it.
you'll struggle to play without it ever again.
Yes, there we go.
That's when you come over to my Twitch channel and you're like, keep going, like the next bit.
Work faster.
Yep.
Oh no, but that's going to be the end of the episode. So thank you very much for watching, and yeah, take it easy. Have a great day.
Yeah. See you later, guys.
Peace.